This is the time. The time when dreams come true and legends are born.
Oh my word!
This is the place.
Some seriously spicy stuff. An absolute masterclass!
The place where teams from across the globe come to battle it out for their shot at glory.
Oh, you're kidding!
And a piece of up to $2 million in prizing.
No pressure, guys. No pressure.
This is the feeling.
It's beautiful!
The once-in-a-lifetime feeling of lifting the trophy at the Brawl Stars World Finals.
Here comes the push. Here's the damage. This is now the crunch time.
This is the game.
Immediately taken down. Still not going to fall. He refuses to die.
The game you love. This is the Brawl Stars Championship. Let's get ready to brawl.
What a month it has been so far in the Brawl Stars Championship, powered by the Snapdragon Pro Series, and in North America, the race for a world final spot is hotter than ever. I'm Mitch Leslie here, joined by Ready, Set, and Ark. Welcome everybody, and g'day Ready. Ark, how are we feeling? Guys, we are hung out on the APAC stream, got a little bit loopy, as we often do. Now we turn our attention to North America, where some of these players' entire years are on the line, Ready.
Pretty much, and some of it even comes down to just one match. Everyone's fates are intertwined as we now narrow things down to the last couple of months.
Yeah, look, we've talked about it a lot, Ark, in the months sort of leading up to this, but North America, obviously a very competitive region, one in which we've seen a changing of the guard. It's young talent that has now risen up, and some of the household names of yesteryear are lagging behind.
It's been a joy to watch. Honestly, NA has always been my favorite region. I've said it many a time. Just the technicalities of all the players that we see coming to light. And I mean, in this region in particular, 3 different monthly final champions, organizations coming into the scene very frequently. So the level of competition has never been higher, in my opinion. And thus, the leaderboards are so stacked and very, very closely knit together.
And we're going to get onto that in just a moment. First, though, if this is your first monthly finals with us, welcome. The format is the power match format. It's like your ranked games, except without the modifiers. We have 8 teams that have fought their way through a grueling, not only championship challenge, but also a qualifier to get here. So it will be single elimination bracket. That means if you win, you advance to the next round. If you lose, that's it. No more second chances. You're heading home with only as many circuit points as you've been able to accrue. Every single match from quarterfinals to grand finals will be best of 5. So first to 3 will win the series. And tell you what, if this month is anything to go by, we've been needing every single one of those sets to decide our victory in many of the matches. Let's throw it back here to last month, Ready, Set, where North America again was turned on its head.
This one was insane. We saw Stamina and Tribe Gaming go head-to-head in one of our quarterfinals, and Stamina actually 3-0'd them. What a dominant victory here for STMN. Not only that, but they only dropped a couple of games along the way. Could have gone further, I really think. This has been quite challenging for Tribe Gaming, though. We then saw them face Luminosity as well, which is where the Dreams were utterly crushed in set number 5. All came down to that last round. Charles making a huge play, Patchy, complete jubilation over here in the room in utter defeat. Yeah, that's a real reaction there from Bobby. We also saw Motomami's and Luminosity go head-to-head. This is a reverse sweep, by the way, for Motomami's FA. Luminosity got those first couple of sets, and Motomami's absolutely came from behind to win the whole thing.
Yeah, insane stuff, and that has allowed Motomamis, or Elevate as they are now known, to advance, to ascend to the top of our leaderboards here in North America. Tribe Gaming, despite being knocked out in quarterfinals in consecutive monthly finals, are still well and truly there, and only 1 point behind the Kansas City Pioneers, and Luminosity, after, well, letting it slip there in that reverse sweep, are sitting at 200 points. That is just how close the race is, and we've even gotten further down the list, right? We talk about STMN, who basically have to win it all here. They need to win the grand final, and that won't even guarantee them a spot in the World Finals or even LCQ. So there's a lot to ask for from them. West Coast FA failed to qualify for our top 8. So as far as we're concerned, they're going to be having to sit back until next month and hope to at least play spoiler to some of these teams, all fighting for that top spot. There's a lot on the line here. Not only prize money, of course, and that's always on offer in our monthly finals, but those very important circuit points. So here's our schedule for today on the A stream. We'll be starting with Tribe Gaming versus Ninjas FA, making a very courteous name change for us, as the previous one was a bit of a mouthful. Over on the B stream, I think it's Sunny and Semantic will be covering Pioneers and Mystic Esports and Luminosity versus Rival Esports NA. We have about 4 teams here that have renamed or sort of gained a sponsor or an organization. So we'll talk you through each of those ones as we come to them, as a fair bit has changed since the qualifiers themselves. Now, you're here on our stream. You maybe want to watch Tribe versus Ninjas FA. On the B stream, simultaneously, Pioneers versus Mystic will be going on. Event.brawlstars.com. That's where you can head to find all of your streams in one place. At the top left corner, you can find the drop-down menu. You can select the main stream here or the B stream, which is Sunny's stream, and see what they're up to over there. But now we need to start to talk about our predictions, because we've made ours over at event.brawlstars.com in order to get ourselves some fantastic in-game loot. And now all right, guys, we're putting our money, air quotes, where our mouths are here. So we've all predicted Pioneers over Mystic. We say Tribe over Ninjas FA, reasonable. Luminosity over Rival, fair. We think STMN, all of us, are going to beat last month's champions in Elevate. Guys, are we all just praying for the storyline here?
Me personally, 100%. Like, I want to see it. There's nothing more exciting for me in North America than those final grinds towards the World Finals qualifications and LCQ qualification times. And for STMN, it's been a really tough year. It really has been so far. And I feel like it wouldn't be the same without them qualifying for LCQ or Worlds. I want to see it. Do I think it's going to happen? I think it's going to be a tough ask. I think Motormums, or now, of course, Elevate, are in a substantial position, with RBM coming in as well, being that final cog in the system. It just has brought the team a whole new lease of life. It's not going to be an easy win, but I think SCMN are that team that can dig deep when they have to.
Brady, you're praying with your heart here as well, surely, because I think that objectively, that's a terrible prediction from all of us. We should be predicting Elevate.
Not
really.
Predictions, are they?
No.
This is what they say. The toughest soldiers get the hardest battles. This is what Stamina have said basically on...
This is what Bobby tweeted.
This is what they have always said. It's like kind of like a broken record, but I hope, at least for their case, that it rings true for them coming up here, because this is really their final stand. If they lose this quarterfinal, that's everything on the line. That's LCQ, that's Worlds. It would be kind of strange to not see them representing NA at a World Finals, or at least an LCQ.
Yeah, and a lot of teams are kind of hoping that STMN actually don't get past the quarterfinals, because that would essentially secure their spots. There are a number of clinching scenarios, but Tribe and Pioneers both need STMN to lose in the quarterfinals, and they themselves need to win it all. All right, we're going to let Reddy take a break. We're going to join back up with him after this game. It's Tribe Gaming going up against Ninjas, and Tribe need a grand final victory. They need to be champions this month, and they need STMN to lose in the quarterfinals. This team, they're the classics of North America. The first monthly finals, they were dominant. It was near flawless. Since then, they got absolutely rolled by STMN last month in the quarterfinals, just dominated. They continue to qualify pretty comfortably, but when they get to these monthly finals, they've fallen apart recently.
It hasn't been great, has it? We were saying just off camera, or at least I was, that I feel like it's been Tribe's worst year, actually. When you look back to March, thank God for them to have won that monthly final, because had they not, I mean, I'm still surprised that the leaderboards are how they are in their favor, a little bit more so than they should be, actually, because, that loss in April in the quarterfinals to Pioneers, loss again in May, the quarterfinals to SCMN, and they weren't convincing scorers, they weren't close, they weren't 2 threes, they were 0-3 and 1-3. We need to see more from Tribe. They've got to come together, and Zoo is clearly in his zen state right now, because having that is maybe something which is going to help them pull through and get back to where they belong. And it's a very unusual thing to not see them hit those grand finals consistently. So
Dulan keeping it pretty low energy so far today, but let's hope he's got plenty in reserve to get over this Ninjas FA roster. Who, again, are a team that upset CT Esports, who represented last month in the monthly finals, in that lower bracket of the qualifiers at a 2-1 victory. So, 2 relatively new players, right? Tatia and Elvis, of course. Rolladoo's been around for a fair while, coached by Sebas as well, who's been around in this region, no doubt about it. It's a big ask to go up against Tribe Gaming, but these Tribe guys are looking a little slow, a little rusty around the joints. They're primed for an upset.
Nice jersey there from Roll. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the qualifiers as well for Ninjas, losing to STMN, I think that's kind of fair to say that most teams would do. But beating CT Esports was the big one, really. It was a close affair as well in round 13. They did get the win. They did make now into the June monthly finals for the first time this year. So, I mean, we've got sort of narrowed expectations, I think it's fair to say, of this team. But they're fully capable of doing some great things. We just haven't really kind of seen too much from them yet. The qualifiers have been pretty tough for the most part. Running into Elevate last month didn't really help things either, as well as Rival Esports. So they have had some tough times, but hey, they've made it this far. And we've seen this across the regions as well. When teams make their mark on a monthly final, they can do wondrous things.
We talked about the circuit points at the start of the show. It's something I want to bring us back to a fair bit, because right now Tribe are in second place at 268 circuit points. Now that accounts for a minimum of 35 here in June's monthly final, were they to exit in quarters. Were that to happen, they're almost guaranteed to fall at least down to 4th place in these regional standings, with Pioneers, Luminosity and Elevate, the other players in the top 4, all still fighting in this tournament. They can't afford to do that. Their year is basically on the line in every single match. Yes, there's another monthly final next month, right? A chance to make that back. But if you can't, again, if you're like 75 points behind the winner here, all of a sudden that second place that you really worked hard for starts to slip away. Winners in March, knocked out in quarters in April, knocked out in quarters in May. That's just not good enough for a household name in North American Brawl like Tribe Gaming. They know it. We know it. They're here to prove that they're better than that. We're going to be jumping onto Hot Zone to start us off with. Dueling Beatles will be there. And many of you over at event.brawlstars.com absolutely have your chips in for Tribe Gaming. Let's hope and the bottom doesn't fall out of this boat.
Well, 91% in favor of Tribe is a strong statistic poll on event.brawlstars.com, but I don't think it's unwarranted, to be completely honest. I mean, when you look at Tribe as a team that historically go back in Brawl Esports and just had that much consistency over the years, that much experience over the years, I don't think it's too far-fetched, to be completely honest. But let's be reserved a little bit and see how Ninjas come out of the gates. They're batting out the Pam, the Angelo, and the Draco, as well as the Draco on the side of Tribe, as well as the Surge and the Jesse. A first pick, Amber. It's an interesting one. Wouldn't be my first kind of go-to pick on this particular map, to be completely honest, but no doubt the oil can get a lot of value by just burning down the grass, and it's definitely a Tribe pick, that's to say the least. I mean, someone like Tyrant is an absolute beast on this brawler. I mean, it's so joyful to watch what he's able to achieve. That's a dangerous comeback now with the kit on the side of Ninjas, and paired with the right tank, or we saw earlier today in South America, even combined with brawlers like Surge. Obviously Surge is banned, but it is able to sort of immobilize your opposition to allow another brawler to gain a lot of ability, a lot of utility off the back of that moment. Poker to combine with it. That's going to be a very hill heavy comp here.
Amber was actually the first brawler picked in the first game of APAC on this very map, so they also had that sort of similar idea about having a very strong side laner here, but this is scary. We haven't seen what Ninjas are looking around at their composition with, but you best believe it's going to be a kit delivery system, something potentially super tanky, something very hard to drag down. So Tribe have to draft around this without knowing what it would be.
I wonder as well whether they were looking for something along the lines of that kind of Rosa TP idea, and that's what they're going with. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. It'd be a tough thing to break down. I wouldn't even mind going with a Shelly here. It's amazing though, to be honest, that Sandy's escaped the ban and the picks rather so far, considering that 70% ban rate is so high, and that brawler can do okay.
Yes.
Okay, guys. Look,
a kit delivery system, what better?
Look, Frank's not been buffed yet. Can we just, highlight that? We haven't got the rework for him yet. He is still the worst brawler in the game. And
No.
I played Frank Mastery recently, and trust me, there is. I mean, this is why.
No.
This is why I love you, though.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, Grom is surely worse than Frey. I mean, come on. I mean, again, so we do get what we expected to see. Maybe the Rosa was taken away from Ninjas here. Oh, okay, unfriendly bushes. Yeah, the play here. So Tadia already going to get stunned up as his role. But this is getting spammed out by Zulan.
Quite like it, though. Get that early control. Gadget popped by Elvis, but he's got to find a connection with it to find the value, and he's already been showing the card. Beautifully done, actually. Fantastic. I wasn't sure he was going to be able to pull that off. Walking came from Tyrant, but the control is all lost, and now Ninjas are able to gain back some control here.
I'm sorry.
They're going to town.
Zulan just ceased to exist twice in a row. consecutively. Elvis flattens him there on 2 separate occasions, and now that Super's up, and Elvis is behind a breakable wall, so can throw this out just to destroy some more of the terrain. Zulan jumps in, though, amidst these swings coming in from Frank. Strong start popped. Zulan's not able to get out, though. Roll is able to catch him with a ball of yarn, and this Frank is an absolute nightmare with Kit in the back pocket.
I'm loving what I'm seeing. I really am. Ninjas keep on cooking. I'm a fan already. Zulan, though, has something to say about things, and that is a full team wipe from Tribe. They got back that control, and now it's going to be very difficult for Ninjas to push back in. They've got to get the kit back attached to the Frank, and Elvis has broken already a lot of the map open, and that's a bit of a concern for me now.
Zulan is not going to get out of this one unscathed, that's for sure. Had to pop the super there, but the Ninjas have been on the point for so long here. They've got a massive lead. Away, the Grey has to walk in. Tyrant might be able to jump back in with a dimensional door at some point, but that kick is still a problem. Roll able to walk away here as the hypercharge again used by Zulan. He's taken down despite it. Oh no. Oh no. This is not a good start for Triumph.
I'm such a fan. I get it now. Like, that is just disgusting. I mean, it's very little that you can realistically do when you bring in the Rose Room with the portals from the Grey, when you've got a Frank ready to stun you upon entry. I mean, it's fantastic. The timing didn't quite pay off when they tried it, but nonetheless, the strategy is there, and let's see how Tribe respond now. They've had a bit of time. Nice, great gadget there from Tyrant, immediately so, as Livy burning down as well. Lovely stuff from Tribe. A great opening hand. Much better than we saw previously.
I mean, this is where you can beat Frank, right? As long as he's not out on the point in front of you, you use the unfriendly bushes to take this control. The Tribe have been able to move up now, force away the Poco. Walked in, came there, yanks Frank. He barely feels that he's got ridiculous amounts of health as Livy eventually goes down to a ball of yarn. Now, they're deceptive. They don't look very scary, but they hit extremely hard. Eventually, that kid super does expire. Nice crescendo there from Tadia, though, to keep Elvis up for long enough. Zulan is going to get jumped on. Roll's able to get the finish there with the offensive version of Kid Super. And here are Ninjas once more, setting up for a long haul.
It's really tough to be Tyrant right now, honestly. It's like tickling this Frank. I mean, this Frank won't die. 50,000 HP above his head. I mean, what can he really do? They're tied up in terms of the scoreline, but I just feel like Ninjas have so far been able to cycle and stay spectacularly well.
He's just unkillable. DeCapo obviously very important here. When the Poco is off the map, it's a little harder to keep Frank standing. Eventually Tribe, using the entire resources of a city-state complex to bring the Frank down. And he's back. And there's another crescendo up here for the Poco, so Elvis is going to be hard to pick off. Roll does need to build super, though. That's where this gets really scary. Well, they've done that. So here we go. Zulan once more. Strong stuff used. Elvis down to 7k HP. It's like a bloody boss fight. And Elvis is the one standing as the smoke clears. Now 82 and counting for Ninjas. They hit the lead.
I think it can be hard to shake off this zone now. Zulan coming in, just getting behind the hypercharge was a lovely time thing as well, to be honest. Now Roll will fall as well. Tatia just below it, and now Tribe just managed to clutch it up in the nick of time. Right in the set. Oh my word.
Oh man, they are getting pans from Ninja's FA right now. Tribe do figure it out though. Really getting the Poco off the map, so important. Otherwise, the Frank is literally unkillable. It's scary to deal with this comp, and we've known about it. Obviously, Poco plus any kind of tank is, been commonly abused. I won't say used, I'll say abused in the past. But Tribe have really high damage here and great mobility to rely on with that Grey. Plus, Zulan is tanky in his own right, but 15k player HP is no laughing matter.
Well, what this tells me as well is that Ninjas have come prepared. They've got a game plan. They're not just kind of like sporadically picking brawlers in the draft and panicking. Like, this was calculated in this form. And when you think about it, Frank's to be getting a rework and they'd be getting a hypercharge with those things in mind. Imagine next month when we see that brawler come into the mix. I think it's going to shake things up massively so. Good start from Tribe, 30% on the zone, but now this is where things get a little bit worrying because Elvis has super. There's a nice cancellation there from the Poco, and Tribe still struggling to get back into the mix.
Zulan needs to zone away the Poco here. Look what he's doing, pushing back Tatia so he can't get those DeCapo heals on top of Elvis. Nice. From there, you can actually start to bring the Frank down when you outrange him with the Grey and Amber. That's the strategy. Get rid of the Poco, and you're home free.
I'm loving these hypercharges from Zulan, just getting behind those Frank hammer smashes when he matters most, because that's going to provide a lot over if he just connects and just keep that distance now from Elvis. They know that he is a real threat to be taken seriously. As Livy as well got the gadget to hand to be able to whistle him down. The Walking Cane misses, however, just keeping him low. They can just keep him there, actually.
Yeah,
not even have to the kill.
They split the Frank up. That's huge. And then the gadget from as Livy catches Frank out behind the wall. I think Ninjas are in deep trouble now. They needed to get Poco close to Frank. But instead, Frank walks and tries to flank solo. Oh dear, I think the strategy was fine for Ninjas, but the execution there was lacking as Tribe Gaming take dueling Beetles.
Gotta hand it to Tribe. You know, the adaptations were there, the learnings were there in real time, and I gotta say that I feel like Ninjas could have deserved that set just simply from the draft and the strategy alone, because, you know, we've seen a lot of combinations with kit over time, normally with a Buster, or, you know, again in South America today we saw it combined with a Surge for the first time, which was very, very interesting to see. But first time seeing it with a Frank, and you got to ask yourself, why have we not seen that before? Because Frank's so tanky anyway, combined with Kit. Surely it's disgusting, right? With Draco too, very hard to shake. But I mean, Tribe handled it really well. They realized they had a big problem to solve because that first game was really convincing. And they did just that. They worked around the problem. Those hypercharges, like I say, from Zulan were really instrumental for me.
And look, and the draft is pretty telegraphed. We saw Poco and Kit both picked up by Ninjas. So we kind of know, okay, they're going to try and play around something, a centerpiece brawler. And I think Tribe take away the Rosa. They realize if they don't do that, they're going to lose anyway. And Zulan loves to play Rosa on this map in general. So happy to pick her up there as they are beginning before the last pick of Ninjas. Then they see the Frank and they go, huh, well, this could be difficult because Frank has like over 20k effective health and the Poco's just spamming its auto fire on them. You can see here that how important the carpet was. Look here, Zulan pushes the Poco away. He's figured out that is obviously the linchpin of this whole composition, and then they can poke the Frank down while using the bulk of the Rosa to stay on the point and match them at least in capture progress. A cruel 634 DPS from Ezlivi, one of the highest numbers I've ever seen, and is only the kind of thing you'd see in a Frank matchup like this.
Genuinely, I think that's a new record. I mean, that is unbelievable, but it makes a lot of sense when you think about it, right? I mean, you know, utilizing that gadget, you know, the Wild Flames to really kind of whistle down the opposition with the Kit heals and the Frank HP and just the Poker heals behind all of that, just keeping everyone alive. If he was able to keep burning, then I think the only thing stopping him from getting even more than that was just simply the cooldown. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. I think there are only a couple of conditions that can really account for that. But Ezlivi is like blowing up a Brawl. By that DPS, they're blowing up a Brawl like every, 5 seconds or so. In general, if you use like 5k HP is about the average benchmark. So that is astonishing. And again, that's something that Amber does extremely well. The gadget also allowing you to hit people behind those walls, because Elvis was trying to flank, use the unbreakable terrain to set up a flank, which I think was an extremely ill-advised decision, but that's the way it played out. We can head over to Hard Rock Mine here. It's time for a little bit of gem grab. We've seen this map a lot, obviously. It's a mainstay. It's an absolute classic here, with a lot of those strong side laners heavily prioritized through the draft.
Wow, it's my favorite map for Gem Grab, no doubt about it. I'm sure many of the pros will also agree, and I'm just really impressed so far with Ninjas. They took the loss, but I mean, the draft was really quite smart, and I think that's why Tribe have got to be cautious going into this next one and taking this very, very seriously, because despite Ninjas being like a lesser-known team, one that have not really had any opportunity yet in monthly finals, they're already demonstrating that they can hang with the big boys. Right, we got a Gene ban, a Buzz ban, and a Ruffs as well. And so first pick from Tribe, very strong, very, very good first pick.
Sandy's open. There's so many good brawlers available here still, Ark.
Yeah, Rico's banned, Ruffs as well as the Max, but certainly Sandy here can just do so much. I mean, it's one of the best hypercharges in the game currently. We know that Sandy's getting a nerf soon. Now, Draco's going to be very good here, but it's very early in the draft. They can shape the map, they can burn down some bush. I think that Tri wouldn't be hesitant to bring in an Amber yet again. I mean, it's not necessarily the best brawler on this map. It can get some great results, right? But you got to prepare around what's coming at you. And this is going to be very tough. Draco can be very unstoppable. We're still having pretty low success rate this weekend, though, because a lot of teams are bringing it in the wrong places. That's the thing with Draco. It's going to be the right map at the right time, and this could be it.
This team is, I think they have a framed photo of RBM in their hallway, you know what I mean? Like, they really are going by the school of, tank and healer, of course. So, Poco and, all right, we are going to have the Draco locked in here for Ninjas. For a first pick, that's pretty audacious here. Now Tribe can see most of the draft and can start to play around it. Nita, very powerful, very heavily contested in an APAC especially. And the Colette here, which is a pretty unique pick. And Tribe might be expecting Poco double tank here if they're trying to take a Colette at this stage.
Yeah, Colette, well, you know, he's going to do the job. I mean, there's going to be a lot of HP going their way, and Draco's very hard to shake. We've seen some very interesting kind of ideas across the regions, actually, as to how best to handle Draco. Players are still learning the best strategies. We've seen Lou, we've seen Daryl, of all things, in the EMEA just the other day. I mean, it's definitely one of those unknown territories at present, so I don't mind the Colette pick, but like I said, I wouldn't necessarily have expected to see it on Hard Rock Mine. Larry and Laurie going to be coming in now to finalize the comp for Ninjas. Going to be bringing a lot of control with it, and of course Laurie can seek out in those bushes, but that's the thing, those bushes are going to stay, and that's a bit of a concern for me on the side of Tribe, because Draco can seek up and push forwards, and once, you know, he's able to lock you back in spawn, it's a very difficult thing to shake.
Yeah, it becomes very oppressive, right, when that dragon is attained by Draco, and all of a sudden you're like an amber that fires in a shorter range, wider cone. Still, you know, obviously Hypercharge for Nita, very powerful. Bruce is going to be extremely oppressive, and obviously Poco being a relatively safe mid laner, but is quite short range, and as Livy is already lining up some of these shots, that Angelo is already having an impact.
Zulan doing well on the left as well. Oh, Livy is on fire today. I love it. Absolutely going to town. There's nothing really that Ninjas are able to touch on them so far. And now already having super down, Roll's appearance is going to be visible for the entire time. Nice connection as well from Zulan, and Tyrant just keeping that right-hand side under control. It's looking like a reformed Tribe, isn't it?
No, they look very, very good. Especially I think as Livy was the player that probably received the most criticism for Tribe after their early exit from the World Championship last year, right? There were doubts about whether, you know, he was the player they were looking for going forward. All right, Elvis. You can see why Draco's so frightening under super, but as Livy's able just to jockey back comfortably, play around the healing field of his super, and leave Zulan, again, free to deal with this Draco. Such a good matchup for the Colette, of course, and Zulan's very happy to, you know, to get the tank in his lane. Hypercharge there used, and well, we didn't see it. No, I don't see it. My eyes were closed. Don't worry about Zulan.
I did see it. That was a fumble and a half, mate. But, I mean, as Livy's keeping everything together, he's landing some of these amazing angles so far. Oh, very important takedown. There was the one prior to that as well on the right-hand side, where he was able to ensure that the gems were going to be able to get onto countdown. He's just all over this game, and after that insane DPS in the first set, I mean, if he keeps this up, I mean, he's just the MVP all round.
I mean, I'm really impressed in general by Tribe. You know, Tyrant there as well, getting involved, hitting basically every Nita shot possible. And Zulan doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to reinvent the wheel arc. He just needs to keep this Draco quiet. Of course, hitting for, you know, a percentage of your opponent's maximum health makes Colette so well suited to dealing with tanks. And man, we really saw the Draco get shut out of that game.
It's one of those brawlers that, you know, ladder, yeah, it looks absolutely unstoppable, but, you know, these pros are scrimming these brawlers every single day for a reason. Nice. That's one that connected from Zulan. More of that, please, mate. But, you know, he was very zen coming into this game, maybe a bit too relaxed as that last game seemed to show, but better, much, much better, because Elvis is the real threat here, obviously. If he pushes forwards and Roll can get a connection with the heal as well, then he can cause a real problem. So it's very important to try to keep up this long-range suppression all the way to the end of this game.
I mean, again, this Colette super, very important, not only in just the damage that it does, but it forces your opponents back. That's the star power that Zulan's working with here. So Elvis just gets shoved away when he's trying to engage. Both Poco and Draco are extremely short-range brawlers. Even the Larry and Laurie isn't exactly the longest-range thrower here. So, you know, you're dealing with Angelo, Colette, who can super you away or just blow you up, and you're already in for a tough time.
Well, no cigar there from the Dragon solo of Elvis. Gonna have to try that one again, and time is ticking. The 9th gem there on the floor, and as Livy finds another super again, and that's gonna be a troublesome thing. Look how just quickly they're able to eradicate Elvis. I think that his stats might be quite abysmal by the end of this one, but there's one more gem still for Tribe to maintain here. Hypercharge from Zulan as well, and that's a great time. Cycle to perfection down as well. Almost finds the third as well. He will pick it up regardless, and that is what you want to see. Tribe going the aggressive and looking far, far more comfortable this set.
Absolutely bloody dominated arc. No other way to put it here. Elvis having one last crack at it here, but as Livy is already headed for the kills with all of the gems that Tribe needed. Smiles on the faces there, and so they should be. There are a lot of teams that were hoping that Tribe, you know, don't sort of advance too deep in this bracket, much like they're hoping STM doesn't get out of quarters here, but I'm sorry, that's not happening. And looking at the rest of the bracket here for Tribe, it looks decent for a grand finals showing. A lot of the really nasty teams are actually sitting on the lower half of the bracket here. Not to say there are plenty of things that could trip this Tribe Gaming team up, because they are a far cry from the undisputed #1 team of old. But this drafting, this gameplay here, especially on Hard Rock Mine, should be starting to fill their fans with a bit more confidence, Ark. And hey, it ain't so bad to ease yourself into a monthly final with a bit of a mismatch in terms of, you know, experience and ability.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, if you were to look at the bracket, I think the upper half is more favorable if I was to choose where I'd like to be sitting myself. I think that at the same time, they Tribe have just got a lot to shake off in terms of their prior performances. You know, the last 2 months have been pretty abysmal, and a lot of mistakes creeping through that just wouldn't necessarily have been there in the past. So I think that, you know, this is the best way to start. But, you know, at the same time, it does tend to be sometimes the case that when you get to those semifinals, if you're able to get through the quarters, then, you know, the question has to be asked, you know, were you tested enough along that way? I think they certainly were in that first set. This set looked a lot more convincing, and I just felt like the draft was a much better place for Tribe. They felt very much in the hands of that Angelo pick. But, you know, gotta be careful still in this top side of the bracket. Pioneers and top side as well. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Exactly. Donuts all round. And
oh, man.
It's kind of tough to see. I mean, it makes, honestly, Draco look like he's one of the worst brawlers in the game right now, because the win rates are so shoddy for him this weekend. But again, it's about playing him in the right places, and I think choosing him in the right stage of the draft to ensure that you've got, you know, very little in terms of a response. And I think teams have got to be, you know, sort of careful as to drafting him and where they ban him, because yeah, that's like the lowest statistic in the day so far.
We've seen I've seen like the highest DPS I've ever seen here, and right now I'm looking at more goose eggs than a breakfast soiree at Downton Abbey. It is that bad. And again, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, they bring the poker in again because it's really supposed to facilitate for the tank. But as a mid, it's super short range. Fine, that's okay. If your side laners are oppressively winning their matchups, the Poco moves into the space that they create and takes the gems. But first of all, you're laning against an Angelo who can outrange you from the next postcode over. Not a problem. And you're winning none of your side lane matchups. I like Tyrant, obviously, like low on the DPS. Tyrant's just not getting hit by this Larry and Laurie. Like, they're just not doing anything to the Nita. And Zulan is actually pounding Elvis like some dough that's about to be turned into a mile-long line of croissants. It's that bad. Like, every time Elvis steps up, he's getting triple tapped, and Zulan has super on every single time he returns to lane here. So, you know, we know what the plan is for Ninjas. It's pretty straightforward. Even I can figure it out. But if their side lanes don't actually do what they're supposed to do and don't, don't start to oppress their opponents, mate, you can just sit in spawn. Honestly, just sit in spawn.
You know, honestly, we hadn't have seen a DPS in the last set of 634, then that 567 would look nearly as impressive. I mean, that is still astounding DPS there from Zulan. I mean, you know, if he'd hit that other super, then it'd be even more, right? But he hit the wall, one of them. But that is still very strong stuff. I mean, that Colette pick really proved its worth. I think that, you know, for me, again, like, sometimes you have to shape the draft around what you're seeing before you. And as far as, you know, Colette goes, not really the place that you'd expect to see her in Hard Rock Mine, but Tribe are making the adaptations around what Ninjas are bringing in. And I think Ninjas need to start to be doing more of that themselves. They're bringing Poco in a lot, you know, and with teams that have kind of not necessarily been that present in monthly finals, I do ask the question when they seem to have like a safe brawler pick. You know, we saw it in South America earlier today as well. We're seeing it again. Poco coming back around every single time, and it's not necessarily always the best brawler to bring in. I think it made a lot more sense in dueling beetles in that circumstance. It didn't really give me much in that last set on Hard Rock Mine, I'll be honest. I kind of want to see a little bit more adaptations from Ninjas and trying to find those weak moments in Tribe. They found that in the first set, you know. They landed that Frank. Tribe weren't really ready for it. They had to really adapt on the fly, and they just about managed to get through that first set as a result of all those changes. But I mean, you know, I think this draft now, especially when you look at how the sets are forming, it's got to be bang on now for Ninjas.
Absolutely. They cannot afford to make any mistakes. And even frankly, if they don't, they still might struggle, because Tribe have been flawless so far in this matchup, and they have had some complicated problems to unravel. We're going to be straight into the game here. You can see we are going to have Angelo, Grom, and Sandy, and it'll be Jean, of course, Meg, and the Tick for Ninjas FA.
Wow, that's already a very swift takedown of the Meg, and that's kind of exactly what you want to see when you Tribe, and now they can just really take their time with this. I'm surprised that Angelo scaped through this draft. I mean, it's probably his best map, or one of them. I mean, you know, other than that, Safe Zone, it comes to mind for Heist, but I mean, you got to ban that brawler. You really, really do. And I mean, Tick, not sure whether it's really my cup of tea at the moment. I've seen it being played a lot more recently, but I mean, this is not the start the Ninjas wanted. Already the first round goes the way of Tribe very, very quickly as well.
Okay. Not what Ninjas are looking for there. They do have a very robust composition, but Tick needs a little bit of time and space, honestly. Zulan now with the Angelo in hand. It's going to be a problem. And as Livy can scout out these bushes pretty comfortably, it's such free poke damage here. Pretty effective, quite a long-range thrower just on virtue of how these bombs tend to explode. And yeah, okay, well, Elva's got de-suited there. Tyron, yep. Firing down there with the gadget, obviously that gives you that increase in range at roll, and Tadia is in deep trouble. This one might be over pretty quick now. Head first up, available for the Tick, but they've been backed right into a corner, and Tribe are circling like vultures.
Yeah, this one, I mean, maybe, who knows, Tick 3v1, potentially 19 HP though for Tadia. It's going to be a tough one, yeah, and that is going to be 2 rounds consecutively slow for Tribe. Match point now, as quickly as that. Tribe are cooking right now.
Absolutely. That was dominant. There were quick rounds. The pressure from the Grom was immense, such that the Meg was essentially de-mech'd before she could even get any damage done. Instantly, Ninjas forced back into the back right corner of the map, excuse me, couldn't do much about it. Zulan here again, happy to step up and look at that shot. It accounts for over half of the Mech's HP. How do you fight against that?
You ban it. That's all it is. You ban it. And you think that they would have done, considering how Tribe dominated with it in Hard Rock Mine, coming out that second set. Already a big, heavy hit from Tyrant, followed up as well there by Livy. Great teamwork from Tribe. Looking far better than we've seen in previous months. It's still early days, of course, but look at that. That round's gone. I mean, the Ninjas have got to put up a fight. It's now or never. They are going to be going home empty-handed very quickly if they don't pull themselves together.
This is it. This is their last opportunity to make a stand. Somehow this Meg needs to find someone to be oppressive towards, but Tyrant doesn't seem to care. We know Zulan doesn't mind. Elvis went for a swing there and got knocked out of Mech, and this is the drubbing. I think on a fundamental level, Tribe are just a better team. Zulan here. Not normally where you'd see Angelo position, but that's because they know this goose is cooked. Eggs and all, folks. Tribe Gaming secure their spot into the semi-finals.
I think Tribe took that first set very personally. Like they know they had a close call and they wanted to prove a point. And prove a point they did, because honestly, that was just dominant. They were just throwing around Ninjas like a rag doll in that second and third set. I mean, blink and you miss it for knockout. Unbelievable stuff. Back in the semifinals where Tribe belong, where they've not been, since March. So I think they needed to get them back on track, get their mental reset. I think everyone's doing their bit today, and that has not been present in the previous months.
Yeah, look, I think looking at the bracket, they probably have one of the easier matchups here in the quarterfinals, which is great, but they're far from done. They've got some serious challenges awaiting them. Obviously, the winner of Pioneers and Mystic Esports NA, which is probably more likely Juan Carlos' team at this point, will be waiting for them in that semifinals, and that's a team that has given Tribe trouble already this year. So nothing is secure, nothing is certain. I would say that getting 50 points on virtue of getting into the semi-finals is pretty good based on where they are, but it's not the kind of thing that's going to guarantee them a World Finals berth just yet. And it just wouldn't be the World Finals without Tribe Gaming. They know it, we know it. They're here to show us that they absolutely deserve to be there on their own merits. I think this game is a great showcase of that. I do want to see Tribe tested a little bit more. But man, even just regardless of who they were playing against, they could have folded the ping pong table up and had a go at it. They looked very, very good. As Livy over the entire series has just been outstanding.
You've got to remember as well with these stats that over the course of 2 sets, Ninjas had 1 kill, 1 takedown in that second and third set. I mean, that's just not good enough. It's just not up to scratch for the monthly finals. You got to come a bit more prepared. And I had such great hopes, actually, of that first set. I was Ninja's biggest fan with that Frank pick. Honestly, I really do love seeing a Frank, seeing something that's just out of the norm that we tend to see in terms of the esports meta come in and really cause a problem, for teams. And, it just wasn't quite the same after that. As Livy, though, 100% agree with this. I mean, absolutely on fire, quite literally with that Amber in that first set, 637 DPS, I think it was, and absolutely tapping on the Angelo as well. I mean, that boy's on fire today, and I want to see it continue forwards today as well.
A lot of game still to play here, but Livy is voted your MVP over at event.brawlstars.com, and for a very good reason. Really got to shine as the mid there, mid-Angelo on Hard Rock Mine especially, and then obviously that was handed over to Zulan. He played it very effectively on that last knockout map. So this is Tribe, basically where we wanted to see them, but where we need to see them. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we've got more semi-finals coming at you. Don't go too far, folks. We do have Elevate versus STMN coming up next. It's a huge game. So many implications. We'll talk about them on the other side.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Welcome back, folks. Quick break, and we are here once more. The Brawl Stars Championship, powered by the Snapdragon Pro Series. Ready, set. We've had you over checking out what's going on the B stream, seeing what is going down, because we're curious to see who else advances to that semi-final to take on Tribe Gaming. And Pioneers and Mystic Esports are still tangled up in a battle.
It honestly could have already have wrapped up by now. Pioneers took those first couple of sets, though they didn't look super tilted in Pioneers' favor. In my opinion, Mystic Esports have had draft every single set so far. It earned them a victory in set number 3, so that match is still ongoing. But on the flip side, we do have another A-Stream quarterfinal to cover, which is Elevate versus Stamina. This one has such huge implications for who goes to LCQ, who can go to Worlds even.
There are a bunch of teams, oddly enough, hoping that STMN don't make it through this game because it makes the math much simpler for them. A couple, I think Tribe being one of them, if they sort of can win the monthly finals here and STMN are knocked out in this very game, they will automatically clinch their spot in LCQ. I think Pioneers are also hoping, for the same thing. Who do you think is going to win, folks? Event.brawlstars.com. Get your predictions in there as well. And don't forget, the B stream is over on that site. You can head over and check that out because we've got the other games going, as well as a combination of that Pioneers and Mystic game. But we need to start talking about this next matchup now in earnest because it's a new name for Elevate. But Ark, before we let you go, these guys are the real deal. Luffy, RBM, Zeus, previous monthly champions. They're astonishing.
Yeah, it was an amazing run last month in May, going through the semi-finals and the grand finals to a very close scoreline of 3-2 all the way, but they were declared the champions after taking down Luminosity Gaming in spectacular fashion. That reverse sweep honestly took a lot to pull off, but pull it off they did, and they've been growing so well with the competition. That's what I love about this, and now bringing in RBM with those roster changes along the way. This is the remaining 7 former Motomamas FA roster now with Elevate, and with that support behind them as well, I'm expecting greatness from them. Our predictions were all with Stamina, but I'll be honest, I am voting with my heart today when it comes to my predictions. So I think that I want to see STMN at least make LCQ, but Elevate, they are such a dangerous team. There's a reason why they're number 1 on the leaderboard.
All right, we'll let you step aside, take a break here as we dive into this one a little bit further. Elevate have that 30-point lead ready set at the top of the North American region here. It's a great place to be right now. It's pretty comfortable for them, and they can actually clinch a World Finals berth by winning the Grand Finals. Actually, no, they can't anymore. With Tribe winning their quarterfinal, I think there's still a chance Tribe could leapfrog them here. But again, they make Grand Finals, they'll clinch LCQ at the very least here. So that's what's on the table for them today. They're in the same practice facility, I think, as actually STMN are. So I'm sure they've had a chance to exchange some pleasantries and chat some nonsense here, as this is your STMN roster. And by God, this is it. This is their last chance. Bobby, Zar, and Sands, your 2023 World Runners-Up, STMN Esports. These guys are still well and truly behind in the race for LCQ or Worlds. Losing to Luminosity in last month's semifinals really hurt them, and that's after they just stomped Tribe out of the competition in quarters here. Now they have to, again, take on a pretty strong team, I think, in Monomamas FA, literally last month's champions. It just never gets any easier for these guys.
We discussed outcomes for Elevate over here, former Moto Mommies, right? If they make well, of course, we also discussed that is bygone. However, they can actually still guarantee themselves an LCQ spot, make themselves insurpassable for Stamina by winning this quarterfinal and by qualifying for the monthly finals next month, which is basically just an everyday occurrence here for teams of this caliber, especially for Elevate, who are currently at number 1 on the leaderboard. So they stand to sort of technically make LCQ just by winning this match. For Stamina, this is absolutely do or die. They will be 1 point behind Elevate, even in the best possible scenario for themselves, if they lose this match. The other case also is if they lose this, then really the only team that they can catch up to is either Luminosity, should they not win the Grand Finals this month, or the loser of Tribe versus the Pioneers. So this is remarkably difficult for Stamina. It's been a tough year for them. them. It's not easy being number 5 and facing number 4 on the leaderboards every single month in the qualifiers. In fact, we saw them have to do that in the last qualifiers, where they faced Luminosity in the upper bracket, and then they had to qualify through the lower bracket. That is why we see Stamina, a team of this caliber, facing Elevate in the quarterfinals rather than a semifinal.
Then, I mean, if let's say STMN were to win this, they might have to take on Luminosity, and then they might have to take on Tribe or Pioneers. So this is it. The hardest road has been reserved for STMN, and a lot of people are behind them. A lot of people cheering for them here. You guys at home on event.brawlstars.com feel like this is STMN's game to take, but that is, frankly, and I admitted it, when we all predicted STMN, we're a little crazy. We're a little bit caught up, I think, in the story. We want to see them win, but that doesn't mean that they will, folks. Safe Zone up first, and already, of course, Chuck banned away. We have Lou, Colt, and Crow removed by Elevate.
Yeah, this is quite interesting, a bit unorthodox with that Lou there, but I have seen it a bit in scrims. Melody first selection is completely wide open. Now, this was deliberately left open by Stamina. Note that Angelo isn't banned either, and you can see also that this is a top ban, Amber, now selected by Stamina. When I look at these two teams' draft, I think that Stamina has some of the greatest drafting minds. They have Ace, the analyst on their team, doing much work in the backlines. Angelo, kind of an obvious selection here for Stamina, though you wouldn't be wrong for scratching your head given that it wasn't banned by either team. When I look at the drafting strategy for Elevate, though, I want to bring some light to how they really operate. What I've heard is that they sit down and they sort of lab out every single possible draft. And so anytime something comes up in the draft, like Draco, complete curveball for Stamina here, they will be prepared.
Draco last pick. RBM, obviously consummate tank player, loves to try and play these hefty brawlers when possible. If he gets on the safe, obviously that thing is going to explode. We know Draco absolutely filthy at close range here, but STMN have managed to lock in 3 solid, powerful, mid to long range brawlers here, hopefully to answer the threat, but of course that jump pad means Elevate get into the middle part of the map for free.
I forget who I saw run this in a scrim, but I have seen this before, with the Gale jump pad being utilized with Draco to get towards that safe. Melody is also going to generate some all-out aggression. So you have Stamina playing more of a comp that relies on control, because the area of the map that they need to be positioned in is way further up in order to generate damage. For Elevate, they can rely on movement alone to get themselves up there. Luffy especially, having 3 dashes to move himself from spawn all the way to the enemy safe and get some of the best DPS on the safe in the game, is absolutely instrumental to the success of this comp, and it also makes it vastly different from what Stamina is trying here. So far, it is getting them pretty close in percentage, but that could very well change with the placement of this boosted booster and Bobby looking to fire away on the safe.
Yeah, they've really moved up here in STMN. Get some decent damage on Elevate safe, but now they have to defend well, and RBM with the gadgets able to stay alive with 1 HP, eventually going to be brought down. But Luffy now with the music note spinning, that safe is getting smacked around. Melody just needs to stand near it, and it takes a ton of damage from those notes. Zeus steps up, gets a bit of free damage here, and STMN had defended well until they finally chose to go aggressive, and they leave a massive opening.
RBM on the left side falls, but the damage on Stamina's safe remains. They're only at 43% now. Zeus, all alone on the left side, still has gadgets ready to go.
Oh no.
It's going to remain on the right side for RBM. We'll see Luffy break through. That's huge. If he can walk around this safe counterclockwise, that's how you get the most DPS as Melody. RBM now chimes in on the safe as well, keeping himself alive by using another super and popping the gadget. We're down to 8,000 health, just 10% left for Elevate to get a Game 1 win.
Luffy steps up here and it's over. They don't have super right now, but they can poke for it pretty quickly. Nice shot from Bobby. Had to shut Luffy down. It's still on the table here for STMN, but they've got to go for it. The Draco's a problem, but he's already used his gadget. Only 1 hit on the safe. STMN have to go forward now, but they lose 1 instantly to Luffy coming back off respawn. The booster's still standing. Bobby needs to change shots. It's 2% separating these two teams. It could not be any closer, but Bobby's going to get brought down. RBM's in the way. I think Zar was trying to finish the game, but he can't get it done. Luffy through the wall, damages him up. Zeus has a shot. It's blocked. It's about as close as it gets, fam. And Luffy just needs to hit this safe 1 time. They're going to block it. In they go. Luffy blown up before he can touch it. And we have a draw. They're rare indeed on Heist. We got 1 in APAC also this month. That is about as close as it gets. No result. We'll be running it back once more.
It looked so much like Elevate had this one, but they kept running it down. They thought to themselves, we have the Melody, we have the method. All we have to do is connect some damage on the safe. And we see Melody run it down. Thing is, though, Stamina's coming at this with so much firepower. You have Amber, who is the antithesis to anything that needs to, quote, run it down. You have 8-Bit, who's a remarkable defensive brawler, and Bobby, who's ready to fire an arrow that does 4,400 damage in a single shot. We almost saw the pinch on RBM, but one crucial thing was forgotten, that RBM can survive on 0 health with the tap of a green button. Now Stamina had the chance to move forward, a big pinch on the left side that RBM has survived for, I think, longer than he should have. Kind of overstayed his welcome there. Nonetheless, Stamina did get the kill, but they did not get the retake of mid and generate it into any kind of offense.
Luffy there, absolutely busted. Having to run down the 8-Bit and survive with just a little bit of health. RBM, though, is the real issue. As long as Zard can keep him at arm's length, STMN safe isn't going to take too much damage. Sansi, though, needs to reassert some control towards the middle part of the map as Bobby chimes in to find RBM. That's that Draco off the map here. But Zara is too low to fight this Melody up front, and he goes down to the second shot. Luffy now moves up, can be able to get some damage onto the damage booster as well. Bobby getting taken down. He's actually taking some shots at that safe. Gets one. But he's really having to split his attention between offense and defense. And frankly, the latter is taking most of his time.
Is feeling that way as well, though now that he has this damage booster up, he can get some pretty meaty shots there on Zeus. Look at that. That was pretty gruesome. Bobby's going to look to do the same on RBM. He's only left with 4,400 health remaining, but as long as he's alive, then he's doing this job. He can pocket himself in the back right where he's tough to get rid of. Sands, however, is on the case to shut him down. Now Stamina had the chance to fire on the safe. They do boast a lead for now, but if Luffy punches through, that could very well change. Sands with massive shots there around the right side, even popping the extra credits to get even more. He knows that he's basically a dead man over here. He's still going to give it his best effort. 1v2 versus RBM, and Zeus actually looks good for Sands here. He generates the kill. Stays alive just for long enough for Luffy to punch through.
Oh no!
Start to get the damage on the safe as well.
Luffy moves up, able to break through the lineup of STMN. They are taken down, but Dark can't really match that damage output on the safe. And Zara striking with Zeus because every shot from the Gale slows you down. It's so frustrating to fight through, but Sands gets a full clip laid out onto the safe here. This puts STMN in the lead, but only just here. RBM finally brought down. Elevate have that lead. The Draco really hit them where it hurt. Now Bobby needs to back up. He's going to get pressured away by the Gale. Does find the kill, and Luffy's going to come in. 3 seconds left. It's so close. 1%? Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. STMN just get there. This is taking everything they've got and some. A draw and then a 1% game. This might be a series to go down in the history books.
If you ask me, this is also a quite different strategy from what we saw in Game 1 that generated such a similar result. At least when you look at the scoreline, when you look at 6% versus 7%, only a 1% differential. No, the difference that I saw for Stamina was we saw Sands actually getting good damage on that safe and playing much more of an aggressive role, which is typically where we see 8-Bit succeed on this map. I anticipated more to see the synergy between Bobby and Sands on these two brawlers be the thing that gave them the damage. Now Sands and Zara practically alone, Zeus respawning to try and block some of this damage. Luffy and RBM now following in suit. But the damage comes through nonetheless. A one-shot potential here for Bobby. He's still going to drop RBM quite low on health, get one on the left and possibly another on the right versus RBM. Once again, though, this is the second time that RBM has diffed this Angelo matchup because he has that gadget.
Tez is dead. If he doesn't get out of here quickly, he's in trouble. Zeus doesn't quite catch him. Luffy doesn't have any interest in diving on the 8-Bit. Another damage booster thrown up, and Bobby here playing now on the right-hand side of the map to answer this flank route that is set up by the jump pad. They can come forward now. Luffy, though, couple shots in. Those music notes already on the spin. And now the dash is available. Melody is going to have to heal up a little bit, but RBM can run up on Bobby here. Straight into that super form, but took a huge hit. 6,000 damage per boosted arrow. Angelo, terrifying. Able to bring RBM down before we can hit that safe, and STMN have a slim lead.
May have gotten the kill, but it doesn't stop me from counting. That's the third time we've seen Draco get that takedown simply because he has that gadget. He's got to be running low by now. It doesn't even matter. He's all the way on offense. Meanwhile, Stamina get to fire away on this safe. They just have to punch through the Gale somehow. Sands pops the extra credits around the right side. We'll see RBM on safe duty. Look at also the star power that he's brought, where he can do additional damage on the second side. Sands, Bobby, Zar all rain down hellfire upon this safe to drop it to 0 and secure set number 1.
What? They see a Draco without the mount, without super available, and they say, you know what, fine. We'll run down the safe ourselves. We've got a boosted booster and an Angelo to stand inside of it, and they peppered that Elevate safe down. What composure from STMN. After 2 incredible rounds to start us off, one was a draw, one was very, very close. They get there in the end. That's That's the first step for STMN. One of many, by the way. It is a veritable mountain that they have to climb today. And that's not an overstatement at all. They've got the work cut out for them here, but getting a crucial set win against last month's champions, Elevate, is a great way to start.
When we look back at that last set as well, I begin to wonder, like, what went wrong for Elevate? What went so right for Stamina? Because those first couple of games were so close. The first game was so close that it didn't even count as a point. It was a total draw. It didn't even go up on the scoreboard. Though I looked at game number 3, falling in Stamina's favor vastly there at the end, where we saw Draco punch through and start to lock in some damage on that save. For most of the game, I believe he acted as sort of a taunt card, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, and attracting the attention of Stamina, constantly keeping them on the defensive. It was those moments where Stamina had the DPS to punch through those defenses, like here for Sands with the extra credits, massive there. And even then, it only got them a 1% victory. That's how close this was. I think that final play where RBM was told to get on that safe, get extra damage, was simply not the play. But what Elevate had tried so far had not given them a win, so I can't really blame them for trying something new.
The Draco definitely very threatening. We see the Gale in there, sending them into the middle part of the map, allowing... What? 23 kills for Bobby. 537 DPS. And let's be clear, Angelo, is a very deadly single-shot brawler, but doesn't exactly have the fire rate to keep up these massive numbers all the time. But Bobby is standing inside that damage booster. Each of those arrows are coming in for 6,000 or so health. RBM gets chunked down to about 4k every time he gets hit by one of them. Bobby had to defend really, really well. Really had to be patient. He wanted to go forward, I'm sure, to pressure the enemy safe down, but RBM kept the pressure on. So did Luffy. That is incredible showing from STMN. This has been a sick game, and it's just begun.
I will praise this draft from Stamina, from Elevate. When I look at their stuff, this is something that I've seen in scrims already, okay? I've seen the Draco and Gale combo in scrims. It didn't work when I watched it. I think also it was quite telling that they were going to go for this when they put that Lu ban down, because Lu would be so effective into this. Stamina, I think, got exactly the draft that they wanted. They made it look like they were going to be weak to being run down, and in the end, they actually had some of the best brawlers into the, quote, run it down stuff. I know we use that term a lot, but it is sort of, I would almost say, the accepted terminology, at least for the players. We move in the Shooting Star, where it's not going to be as effective of a strategy. It takes much more of a draft diff to make that possible. A first selection of Carlin here that gives them the Blue Star for free. It also prevents a thrower pick for Stamina, at least one that is quite bulletproof.
Yeah, again, you don't really want to get run up on by this Carl. He can close the gap on you a little too easily. Pearl getting picked up here for STMN. Okay, it's been a little while since we've seen her picked.
It has, but the reasons that she's good are all the same. Also note that Elevate banned Bell here, and Bell is one of the best brawlers into Pearl. I'm not entirely sure why the Bell was banned. Maybe it's that they actually wanted to get the Pearl for themselves. Look what Stamina are going for here. So you
Such
have
a Bobby pick. Oh my
first,
God.
this one is remarkable from Stamina. Yes, it is a very characteristic pick of him, but let's dive into what exactly makes this such a good defensive composition. You have Pearl, who will get her shield simply by existing. She'll be very passive, and she craps out damage once you eventually push her. Then you have Mandy, who will sit on the backlines most of the time, can fire blindly. I don't necessarily expect that at this level of play. However, it's still an option, and you can get a free kill onto a thrower if Elevate want to go for that, because generally they have much less health.
RT locked in here, though, by Elevate, so also a decent defensive option, especially if they have a star lead and they are at risk of getting dove on by STMN, who don't have the best comp to do that. And the Kit here, I mean, Kit incredible at sort of isolating individuals, locking them out of the game for a time, and also maybe setting up on the Carl here just to make him virtually unkillable.
I think the strat here is going to have to be RBM dives on someone, then Luffy gets a kill on a stunned opponent. So Stamina are going to have to be very cautious about what they go for here, not going something too vulnerable into the Kit. A thrower is not necessarily out of the question. It would be good into the RT. We'll see Max as the selection over here. So they're hoping to utilize the Max plus the Pearl, I believe. Max might be able to contest for that Blue Star, but nowhere nearly as effective as Carl is able to. Max is always going to be good, though. Pretty much always good, unless there is a counter for it, which there is not for Elevate. This is inventive from Stamina. At first it looked like they were going to go super defensive. Now they have the offensive capability before it. Now there is such a thing as mixing two things together that are both great and making something worse overall. And I will confess, I'm not entirely certain where this is going to go for Stamina.
Okay. So something that's less than the sum of its parts, you mean? Mm-hmm. Okay. Luffy's able to get up here and get the blue star, as you'd expect. I wanted to threaten. Not the lion friend skin. I don't need a laughing fit right now. There we go. Zeus caught out in the open. So, again, you know, Kit, until that super is available, little vulnerable. Doesn't really have anywhere to be, considering they're, for all intents and purposes, a close quarters brawler until they have that super.
Oh, RBM's getting fired down upon Czar. His aggression is punished. Sands also comes in with the super.
God!
What? How do they both stay alive? Whenever a Pearl uses her super, she is not necessarily guaranteed to die, but it leaves her the most vulnerable she will ever be at any stage of the game because she has no heat left. She doesn't have that shield anymore. Excellent kill for Zeus on the left side. Looks like he caught Bobby lacking. Now the stun as well into Czar, and this is sort of what we expected. RBM coming in for the damage, but Luffy wasn't in position to actually get a kill. So Stamina are quite far in the lead at the moment.
Every time this kid's super doesn't work out, though, it's 2 free stars handed over to STMN. You saw that Bobby, rather, it was the max that was jumped on of Czar. Sands moved up to body block the damage incoming, and they also were able to fight the kid. This is a bit scary here. Yeah, that damage is nasty. RT also splitting up, so Bobby can't get too close. This is really dangerous for Bobby, but he's able to get himself out. Zeus chasing, though. The claws eventually connect. Zeus knows he's going to go down there no matter what. 16 plays 11 star-wise. Elevator picks such an aggressive strategy here. It means they're always going to be brawling.
So this was the secret sauce, it seemed, is that they put RBM on the sharpshooter. He's a good sharpshooter. He's more well known for being a tank, but he's a good bell player. And RT seems to also be within his wheelhouse. But he went aggressive, basically becoming Jackie over there on the right. We'll see Sam get jumped on, but no kill. Still, reliably, the kit is not getting them the combo that they needed. Luffy's still going to go for it. No kill on a Bobby. 20-star win for Stamina. That is dominance.
I mean, yeah, we don't often see our bounty matches go to star capacity there, but the composition for Elevate requires them to go aggressive. They have to come forward. And eventually, especially when STMN are at 18 stars, you can't afford to dive on them as kit anymore. You will lose your team the game. So, interesting strategy here for Elevate. The problem is that STMN, ready, set, can play defensively quite comfortably here. They're trying to dive Czar, and someone always comes to the rescue.
I think Czar can still do his job as a max without doing any damage. Undoubtedly running the star power that gives you your super for free, because in Brawl Stars, anything that you can get for free is insane. No way! Bobby didn't expect that one! Zeus, invisible in the box, grabs the kill. But flashing forward to the present, Elevate have that 3-star advantage. RBM is still trying to chunk down Sands. And Sands, what does he do? He goes for the lane swap. There's just not much that he can do in that matchup versus RT, whose passive ability is to do additional damage on a follow-up shot, which is sort of the antithesis of what that Pearl Shield is supposed to do.
They're going to be forced back here, Elevate. They're probably not too upset about it. They're a pretty good all-in team when they have to be, and they're ahead by 3 stars. Diving on Sands here, they go. Phase shift used by Czar to get away, but no one was there for the trade on Luffy or Zeus. They get it eventually, STMN. So it ends up being a +1 star exchange for STMN. Still behind.
Still the interaction that we needed to see for Elevate. We need to see Zeus get this kind of stuff. Let's see Bobby, though. He has his super. He can get RBM low. He's going to go for it. There's the kill. Zeus wanted to jump forward, but there was no one to combo with. RBM wasn't there on the lane. We'll see him forward in this cardboard box, but his position is kind of obvious. Doesn't mind revealing himself afterwards. It's also drive time. 30 seconds remain. Czar has the hypercharge in the super. He's going to give a free super to Bobby, who can now use it to confirm a kill. Luffy has to get out of here versus Sands, who has so much damage on his side as he's on maximum heat. An attempt at slowing RBM. The super, the kill for Stamina. 15 seconds remain, but Elevate still have the blue star advantage.
Yeah, that's been Luffy unkilled so far over the course of this game. STMN have to come forward here. They can't afford to just exchange at the moment, and they dive on in. What a play! Czar was not in a position where anyone for STMN could follow up on that damage. He was on the other side of a wall from his teammates, and that's a big slip up. There was a 1-star lead for STMN. They traded negatively to end up falling behind.
I just want to know why things were so different in Game 2 from Game 1. What changed on the Kit mindset, because Kit was diving that Pearl reliably, game number 1, not getting kills. This time though, something I saw twice was that Luffy had the super ready. Luffy's actually going to die with that blue star. So this will also be a much different setting coming into game number 2, where now Stamina boasts that early game advantage.
A little bit awkward here for Elevate. The Kit's going to get caught out now as well. As soon as STMN can start to take that map control, there's not really a safe place for the Kit to be. Zeus has returned. Dust has super available, so Sans that's carrying all the stars right now, which is probably the last target you're really wanting to try and focus down, given the shield and Pearl just being a little healthier than the rest of STMN's lineup. Gadget pop by Bobby, threatening a super follow-up potentially. Luffy's able to get away, but only just. Zar came forward there very aggressively. There it is, Luffy picked off. Man, those cookies hit hard.
They might have been a little bit overcooked, burnt for sure, and end up taking Luffy down. We'll see how RBM can fare on this top right side versus Bobby. Look for the free kill. Ooh, baited super, and the kill as well. More focus fire as well, and Luffy goes forward in the protective pirouette to tank for Zeus so that Sans couldn't get the kill. That is good teamwork, and that is what I think propelled Elevate to victory in game number 2. We're in game number 3 now, and they still do not have the advantage. They're 1 star behind. All they have to really worry about here is, first of all, Sans, who has all of his heat at his disposal, and Zara over here on the right side, who can pop a speed to counter a big push in from Elevate. We're counting down the seconds now. It is just about time to move for Elevate if they want to actually get the kills in time before the round ends.
Hypercharge up here for Zar. Some of that heat being expended by Sans to pressure Luffy away. The Carl is so low, they're going to have to go for it anyway. Luffy now at 2k, has to get up there. It's a 1-star lead to STMN though. Luffy falls, and they've done it. STMN are going to get away with absolute murder. RBM falls, and that's another set for the team that has to go all the way today.
Holy double kill for Bobby there. No, that Kit jump in was kind of winnable, but it wasn't that winnable. Nonetheless, they had to go for it. They didn't have an option whether Kit was going to go in. It was unfortunate that they got to that stage. I will attribute that win right there to Sans on that left lane with the Pearl. Got Carl so low that he could not make a play anymore. And as we saw in game number 2, anytime that Kit was getting a kill, it was assisted by Carl in his super or swinging his pickaxe in some way and contributing to that kill. It took focus fire to actually utilize the Kit and get him out alive. So in the end here, kudos to Sans there for that game-winning play. And also, this was a little challenging off the beginning. I think we saw Zar and Sans combined for a pinch around the left side in game number 3 to get that blue star off rip.
I mean, that was a very awkward situation we saw there. Sans, of course, spends much of the round building that heat up, so obviously Pearl hits much harder the less they fire. Figure that one out. That dive there, that focus fire, Sans and Bobby just shrug. They can't get involved there at all. Great timing there by Zeus. Here's that last set. So Zar hypercharging. Here's the Kit dive, but look how low the Carl is. They throw 1 pickaxe in and go, okay, that's all I could do. Bobby just went absolutely nuclear on them.
Love the selections here from Stamina. Definitely happy, but cannot call it too early. Positive reactions on the player cams here for Stamina, knowing that they are just 1 set away from maintaining the ability to control their fate here as they still race for LCQ. Elevate, on the other hand, they haven't been doing a bad job. In fact, they've been phenomenal so far. They nearly got a game win there in set number 1. Come set number 2, they had a dominant game number 2. Game number 3 simply did not go their way. Stamina figured out how they were going to play defensively. They also managed to swing things off the bat by punishing that early aggression from Luffy. It's sort of known that when Carl is on the field here in Bounty, he's going to go for that blue star. How Sans and Zara managed to get that kill in game 3, but not game 1 and 2, I couldn't really tell you, but it is a thing of excellence.
Again, doesn't matter when it happened, the fact that they were able to punish that early Carl play, which is, I think most teams just have an agreement that Carl is going to take the blue star if he's picked, but STMN found a way to get an early lead, and being, getting to, get that lead early, forcing your opponents to be the aggressor, you said it on the cast. It sets the tone for the entire round. STMN were able to back up, not give up too much space, but really allow Bobby to take some cleaner shots here, and they waited. They waited for the Kit engage. They knew it would come. They knew they had the durability and the return fire to trade positively in terms of stars when those fights completely broke down. Bobby, getting a sick double kill there, I think with that super was a big turnaround in that game, and it was never really a sure thing here. So STMN, again, walking a tightrope between victory and defeat in that set now, go up 2-0.
When I look at these drafts, I see unconventionality. Okay, Elevate and Stamina have cooked up their absolute best for this match because of what is on the line. Despite it being a quarterfinal, this is practically for LCQ. Elevate can lock in LCQ for all practical purposes by beating Stamina here. Now they need to win 3 sets in a row in order to do it here and now. Now they could still just make it to the monthly finals next month and do all of that jazz and do usual Elevate things. But if they get unlucky, if they have to face a tough team in the qualifiers, depending on how points may shift around, then they could be in for a rough ride with a quarterfinals match. So nothing is certain here in North American BSC. With that, though, we'll put a pin in it and head to parallel plays for set number 3. Stamina up 2-0.
Having last month's champions pretty much on match point here, it's got to feel pretty good for STMN. But you know what? They've done this. They always do this. They look very good in their first game. And they did that, of course, against Tribe in last month's finals, and then couldn't quite go much further, looking a little bit listless when they got into those semis. So here, yes, this is huge. This will be a massive result for STMN, but they have to keep this work rate up the entire day. Here's your bans, of course. Melody's taken away. Sandy's again been left open, but not actually picked by both of these teams when it has been available. Kit for Elevate, they really enjoy this kind of strategy, and here on Hot Zone, it's just as viable.
Kit is such a versatile brawler, honestly. When I say versatile, I guess there are technically 3 different ways you can play it. One of them is Showdown, so it doesn't really have a place in competitive Brawl Stars. But the other 2 is you can play him as a backpack that latches onto a tank. And the other deal is you can select Kit to become sort of a way to get extended CC on an enemy, get that stun on them. So Stamina responded this with the Draco. They've been essentially forced to pick Draco here. Whether they wanted to or not is debatable, but now they're forced to because Kit was selected on the side of Elevate, and Kit Draco is practically unbeatable.
RT going to be picked here for STMN, which is going to be applicable both at longer range poke scenarios and up close and personal fighting on these points. Draco for STMN, though, still gives them something to work with. You can play defensively with it. It depends if you want to send the Draco to the home base to start with and, brawl out there a little bit here. Lou was actually banned on Heist in this series by Elevate. They're going to pick it up here. This has been a pretty common pick for Luffy, actually.
And I think, oh yeah, Luffy on the Lu, tell me about it. That has history right there. And this is a signature brawler of his, which means that we can expect a high level of comfortability on it. He's probably going to be here primarily for that Draco, since Draco usually just leverages his health to get in range, as with other tank brawlers, of course, but other tank brawlers at least have some kind of mobility, at least. Like Daryl has a roll, Bull has a charge that he can use. Draco has a dragon, and he can run at you. Angelo, final selection here from Stamina. So they're boasting 2-fold long-range pressure, and they have Draco probably for defensive options. He could run it up the left side and get the aggression from there, but the risk, of course, is that you end up feeding Elevate, and I worry for what this Kit-Sandy combo could look like if Sandy's constantly receiving heals.
Yeah, that's going to be frightening. Getting Sandy up close and personal. Stun gadget available. Also, Root Sands when thrown down is a very powerful tool for map control. I'm curious to see if Elevate, they don't invest too heavily on the away zone to start with. They will set Luffy up here, capture their own zone. And Sands is going to bide his time, of course. And remember, Draco builds super by taking damage, so it's fine for him to, eat some poke here and there. That's going to allow him to do what he needs to do, but it will be awkward dodging some of this poke damage. But Bobby has Sandy outranged by a huge margin.
Whoa.
Oh dear. Ready. I think Elevate are in trouble. This comp seems very powerful against them. I think the Angelo is going to be a problem.
That said, look at Zara actually falls in the Jackie form. Oh, stun onto Bobby, and this is what they plan to do. They plan to have Zeus get a stun within Luffy's sightline so that Luffy can get his super. Now, we were already well aware of just how well Lu can cycle the super. All that holds Lu back is that his shot is quite difficult to hit. It's a barrage of 3 projectiles. Bobby even jumps away from this one. He does not want the smoke from Luffy on this Lu. Now, Luffy also has a hypercharge, which gives him basically a free stun.
Insta-stun.
As long as he has a super available. They're going to start going for offense now. Here's the hypercharge in. Luffy plans on getting the super, but Sans has the dodges on lock. Looks like that almost runs out. In fact, it does. Luffy didn't block super at all, thanks to the dodges from Sans.
Sans was cut out of that fight for so much of it, he couldn't get involved. That's brutal. Zar here going to be stunned up. Still playing away from the leg, so we'll ward Luffy away. And now Sans, this is pretty crucial, getting some capture percentage here for STMN on the away base. Pretty healthy, has the time to pop the gadget here, so it really just amounts to some extra percentage, but that doesn't matter. That's not negligible. RBM with a hypercharge here. Being able to give speed boost to anybody on his team inside that sandstorm is pretty powerful. Bobby trades here with Zeus. Zar trying to push RBM off here with this RT, but does not want to get stunned up. This is very good for Elevate here. Stan's trying to reciprocate by getting pressure on the away base now. Luffy's low, but still having to stay alive. Sans, gadget pop, yes, some more time, but will be stunned up midway through. And that's a dive onto Zar with the kid, an insta-kill here with Luffy's hypercharge.
Okay, Elevator still not in the lead just yet, but they are quickly approaching. Bobby's going to look to get this pinch with Sans. We also see Zar approaching from the top side. Stun on a Sans. No kill because he has the gadget, but he now falls.
Here we go.
Zar on just a shred of health, looking for any kill he can possibly get. And RBM just in range. Manages to sneak around thanks to the invisibility and looks for the kill on the base. He's counting up the percentage now up to 97. A jump in from Zeus onto RBM, secures it. That's the game. What a play. Zeus getting these stuns reliably, but check out the stuns from Luffy not even appearing on the field.
Look at RBM.
Thanks to these crazy dodges from Sans.
Look at RBM.
Don't commit with a hypercharge there if you know you're going to get your super.
That is absurd. The Sandy stays alive there. That was, for me, quite an incredible moment. I thought they were all dead to the Draco. A very close round here as Elevator fighting for their tournament life. They are the current #1 team in this region. The #1. And STMN are what, 5th, 6th, trying to fight their way in. Astonishing results so far, and RBM audaciously stepping up to get some percentage now. STMN want to surge across the map, and they need to be careful. Zeus has super up, and no one's following up on this. So Zar can just take some shots, and Bobby can jump away. Goes maybe in the wrong direction as Zeus just follows him and gets out of Zar's range of retaliatory fire.
I'll also be a critic of that one. Bobby wanted that save percentage. He could not have seen that RBM was respawning on the right lane. That said, though, he'll still approach. Here comes yet another super cycled up by Luffy. RBM also has the method to stun, and he did on a Sans, but Luffy was not able to get around there. We saw him fall in the same breath. Sans now has the positioning that he wants. Takedown from Bobby to seemingly an unwise Luffy. He did not know that there would be an enemy there on the left side. RBM also taken down, and this is the Draco cycle.
This is huge.
This is one of the crucial cycles of life, maybe up there with photosynthesis, is Sans reliably getting the super cycled out and staying alive with the healing star power.
Sans going to be pressured down now, but he got a good lead at least, and was actually able to survive and deal with Zeus. Great result. Zar has been pivotal so far in this map, intervening in some of these 1 versus 1 engagements, third-partying them and allowing STMN to prevail. Still, though, they've got to work on this away zone a little more. RBM's going to step up now. The speed boost allows Elevate to move through the Sandy super quite quickly, but Sans has that dragon up. Caught inside a Lu super, but now STMN have no reason to defend. They're ahead. They're going to put all their chips now on that away base. Bobby gets jumped on again, but he's actually able to avoid the dive from Zeus. Has to back away from behind the super, but wins it out. And Sans is on the way to reinforce. STMN have a power play now at 93% and counting. The super for RBM's a problem for Bobby. He needs to try and stay out of it, but he does bide his time long enough to let STMN come on in and take a round back. And this is the true match point, the true last straw for Elevate.
Ridiculously close here for Elevate. They had such a strong composition, but then we saw sort of micro plays. We saw Bobby also anticipating that jump from the kit, or perhaps just having lightning fast reactions to get out of the way, and even then we almost saw Kit get the kill in the end. I think honestly he may have overcommitted, but a kill on a Bobby would have been crucial since he anticipated an enemy coming from the top side going in to pinch him, so he needed to kill one enemy instead of just staying on that point to preserve the control. Though Zeus is in a dangerous position, low on health and only 1 tap from death, there's the confirmation from Bobby. On the left side now Bobby gets to refocus his attention on RBM.
Dan steps up. Zar misses the jump ball, blown to smithereens by Zar, who then, of course, gadgets to return to his feet. Elevate are stumbling, crumbling here, and they're falling apart at the seams. RBM, there's no guarantee that we're not against a Draco. Sen says, I'm not wasting a gadget here. We already have Bobby getting us some percentage. Nice little deft jump away from Bobby. Just RBM and Luffy both very low because there's pressure from Zar. He hasn't been in the spotlight, but he's been massive so far this round. And he doesn't win out against Zeus, though. It takes a ton of damage from that kid up close, but guess who's back? It's Sands, getting that capture percentage once more.
Gotta mean nerves. I mean, Zeus, that's a couple of supers in a row that Zeus has actually missed, which it's not the biggest deal in the world. He can get it back pretty quickly, and especially on Bobby, who doesn't even use a gadget. He still locks in the kill on Zeus, thanks to the use of his super. Now RBM and Luffy get to pivot their attention to the top right, with Zar being quite low on health. It's a kill for RBM here with the hypercharge. Now Sans approaches on the left. There's no one really to help him out here, though. It's a kill for Sans 100%. But Elevate are in the lead. What they really need to do is capture this zone over here. But it wouldn't hurt if Zeus helps out on that left side. Looks like he's not even going to consider it. Just going to go for the heals on Luffy. Maybe RBM would have been more ideal. And a miss on a Bobby. He's just guessing at this point, anticipating where the enemy's going to be, but he's not calibrated properly.
Bobby and Zar need to get rid of Luffy, though. They do, finally. Okay, that was getting pretty dangerous. They need to keep RBM off. Sans can just return and get the job done for STMN. They've done it. What great defense on the home base for STMN. Under so much pressure. Lou came up, hypercharged super thrown down. Sandy was there, hypercharged, no super, but the raw stats made it very, very hard to break through. And so Sans across the map just trundles down and captures the away base for STMN. Man, this is really high-level stuff. Over the whole course of the series, STMN have shown us why they are a team that still demands respect, and they've definitely gained it now from Elevate.
This is also a scoreline eerily reminiscent of their 1 versus Tribe in the quarterfinals last month, where they only conceded a couple of games, okay, along the way, but they still managed to 3-0 in the end. I think this is just evident of the sort of energy that Stamina brings to these quarterfinals battles, where they can win in the preparation. Though I was actually ready to award that medal to Elevate here for this combination of Kit and Lou. What I think, though, you know, is it really fair for me to have disappointment or expectations? I expected to see more from Zeus in game number 3. I saw Zeus missing numerous Kit supers. It has to be the nerves. How can you, as Elevate, be #1 in the region, and the biggest underdog of all, Stamina, at number 5, threatens to prevent you from going to LCQ? You're now at match point. You risk being swept. Game number 2 here, man, or excuse me, game number 3. That was a really, really rough one for the Kit. That was not how that should have gone at all.
Yeah, that Bakersfield energy from Sands. I'm really feeling it right now. My God. Yeah, I actually flew back with him from Jönköping last year. We're obviously both California-based, and yeah, we had a good time. He's a great bloke. Good energy from Sands, no doubt about it. Bobby, that was incredible. There was a couple of Zeus supers, though, where Bobby just hits the gadget just in time to fly away, cancel Zeus's super, and then get the space that he needs. There were a lot of very small mechanical things that Bobby's able to pull off in that game, and that should remind us why he is considered not just one of the best sharpshooter players in North America, but in the whole world. This guy is so good. Zar doesn't get the spotlight because he's often like playing from across the map on a side lane, just making sure he gets these off-angle shots in, but he's been doing an incredible job, great DPS, and you saw it, really supporting Bobby, who again, you know, Angelo doesn't fight 1vX very well, 1v2, 1v3, it's not really what they do, and they don't necessarily feel comfortable playing up close like that, so Zar was there to help out. Sans, of course, doing Draco things, showing us exactly where that brawler is very relevant and very powerful.
It's funny also because we haven't seen Draco get a massive win rate either. Bobby here on the Angelo. Can we say Bobby D'Angelo at this point? I mean, this guy has racked up numbers on this brawler today. And I think Elevate have learned a lesson the hard way. You just cannot give this man a sharpshooter. He is apparently statistically, according to Stamina's own analyst, the best piper in the world. And it's provable by stats. So giving him something adjacent might not be the best idea in retrospect.
To be fair, you can't ban out all the sharpshooters, though. That's the problem, right? Not in this day and age, at least. And Angelo being left open in the pick ban on multiple occasions here, you know, was something that STMN could exploit. I think they didn't want to ban it because they thought, even if Elevate pick it, like, that's fine. We dare you to pick it, essentially. We know Elevate really prefer to play that tankier style, right? RBM is, you know, obviously imposed his will on this team in terms of their strategy. So Bobby gets to do what Bobby pleases. That was crazy. We're going to go to a break, folks. We've got our other quarterfinal finalizing on the B stream. We're going to return to jump into the semis.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Mike's soda.
My headshot. My headshot.
Mike's soda.
My headshot.
Mike's soda.
This is the time. The time when dreams come true and legends are born.
Oh my word!
This is the place.
Some seriously spicy stuff. An absolute masterclass.
The place where teams from across the globe come to battle it out for their shot at glory.
Oh, you're kidding.
And a piece of up to $2 million in prizing.
No pressure, guys. No pressure.
This is the feeling.
It's beautiful.
The once-in-a-lifetime feeling of lifting the trophy at the Brawl Stars World Finals.
Here comes the push. Here's the damage. This is now the crunch time.
This is the game.
Immediately taken down.
Still not going to fall. He refuses to die.
The game you love. This is the Brawl Stars Championship. Let's get ready to brawl.
Oh man, Death Taxes at NA Brawl Stars Championship monthly finals delivering, folks. That's right, things that you can count on. You can count on us to be here for all the action, take you through it. I'm Mitch Leslie here, joined by Ready, Set, and Arc. Guys, ridiculous stuff. The beat stream obviously popping off here. We've just seen Luminosity, I think, win out their match to advance to the semi-finals, but we need to take a breath, I think, and get our bearings once more, because we've had our quarterfinals now out of the way. Ready, Set, I want you to talk me through this bracket as it stands in a moment. We're going to get that up for you guys and give you guys an idea of what's happening. Again, event.brawlstars.com, by the way. That's where you should be to be watching these matches. But here is our table so far. Ready, Set, let's talk the top part of this bracket.
Sure, well, we already got to cover Tribe Gaming versus Ninjas FA as our first quarterfinal of the day. It was a total sweep by Tribe Gaming, but I didn't forget about the Frank and the Kid selection there on Dueling Beetles, I believe it was. Nonetheless, Pioneers versus Mystic Esports, we played that one off stream on the B stream with Sunny and Semantic if you wish to go catch up with them as they cover the rest of the stream. And this one was a bit closer. In my opinion, I shared it a bit earlier, Mystic Esports had draft every single time, but Pioneers still prevailed 3 versus 1. Now they have to face Tribe Gaming. This is number 2 and number 3 on the leaderboard facing in the semifinals. So obviously, as with basically anything happening today, but this time like times 2, it's going to have major implications for who can go to LCQ and who can go to Worlds. Whoever loses this match is the most realistic competitor to be eclipsed by Stamina if they can surpass them in circuit points. So I do not envy whichever team goes down in this first semifinal.
That is wild. We are truly at an inflection point in North America in that race for the World Finals. Only 2 spots for World Finals, 2 for LCQ. And don't forget, STMN competed in LCQ last year. They fought their way through all the way to a second place berth. Guys, we predicted with our hearts and they won. You love to see that. We are all flawless so far, which is a rare occurrence here at the BSC. But we differ when it comes to our semi-finals predictions. Myself and Ark have Tribe winning against Pioneers and STMN beating LG. Ready, Set, you're on a different wavelength. Tell me your thoughts here.
I've gone rogue, man. I have deviated from the hive mind. I'm a free-willed individual now. I've predicted Tribe to win in the past. In fact, last month I actually predicted them to win over Stamina. Unfortunately, they got 3-0'd in that first quarterfinal. I don't know what it is about Pioneers that has really grabbed my attention. I think that they both had some, like, early matches that were not necessarily the toughest competition that they could have had. They could have always gone up against Stamina as their quarterfinals match, like Elevate. Though my mentality is, I think Pioneers looked a little less prepared versus Mystic, which indicates to me that they have prepared instead for their match versus Tribe Gaming primarily. Luminosity also, I think much of the same. Stamina have 2 big opponents to prepare for just in the quarterfinals and semifinals. They had to face Elevate, number 1 seed in the region first. Now they have to face Luminosity, who's not that high up in seeding. However, they are really up there in terms of skill.
Ark, I feel like I need to give you a chance to talk because I have not addressed you since we came back from the break. I hope it's okay, man. I hope we're still friends.
It's not okay. I'm very offended, dude. I was very offended, mate.
I know. Listen, I know you're paid by the word, so let's pump the numbers up a little bit here. Let's talk a little bit about this next matchup, right? Because I think that there's a lot on the line. We've already sort of covered that. Pioneers going up against Tribe Gaming. These are 2 teams that any given month could be in a grand final matchup.
Absolutely so. You know, this is kind of going back to April, isn't it, when Pioneers did win the monthly final and faced Tribe in that quarterfinal stage. They did win a 3-1 scoreline, but that was the best that we've really seen Pioneers. And don't get me wrong, a fantastic team. I think they could well even go all the way here today, to be completely honest. But they got to get this one right. You know, last month was not it. Going out in the quarterfinals to Elevate and that 0-3 scoreline, you know, and Elevate obviously going on to win the whole thing. You know, you can look back at that and say, well, yeah, you lost to the people that won the whole thing, so it's not that bad. But but I mean, we kind of expected more. They just got signed up by Pioneers that month as well, remember? So we had big high hopes for them and kind of got sort of diminished very, very early on. And March as well wasn't a great month for them either, going out in the quarterfinals of Space Station. So we need to see them back in that April mindset, back on form, and very aggressive team, no doubt about it. Second best as well, like I said, has always been such a fantastic player and has never quite found the right roster. I believe this is the right roster. I think that when this team kind of really get moving, they can do fantastic, amazing things, but just have struggled to look like their former selves back in April at the moment. But maybe this month things will be different.
Yeah, and again, the April champions, of course, Pioneers, they got rolled by Motomamis FA, of course, in May, of course, in rather quarterfinals last month. So they weren't really a factor. We've seen so many teams rise, look so good. There's a curse here in NA right now, Reddy, where the team that wins the previous month goes out in straight sets in the quarters the next time around. We just saw that happen to Elevate. That is just how volatile this scene is. The Pioneers, now that we sort of haven't seen as much from them recently, they have a lot to prove here. Can they hang with Tribe Gaming, who looked super clean?
That's honestly such a great trend to point out. Now, Tribe Gaming also have found themselves subject to that curse. We're already familiar with Zulon, Aslivian, Tyrant, but let's refamiliarize ourselves with how the year has been going for them so far. I mean, they've made every single monthly final. They have a win as well. That has put them pretty securely in the top 3, but they're actually 1 point ahead Pioneers in terms of circuit points. Isn't that crazy that they're practically tied, but only the difference of qualifying through the upper bracket versus the lower bracket is keeping Tribe Gaming in the lead for now. So ultimately, what decides who surpasses who is going to be the outcome of this match.
I love that. I love that story. 1 point separates Tribe Gaming at 268 total points to Tribes. Well, actually, they've got a bit more now. They've both won their quarters. But yeah, it is extremely close between these two. And Tribe are by no means, or Pioneers, neither of these teams are by any means confirmed, right? Tribe are your March champions. Pioneers are your April champions. Of course, Elevate won in May. So we've always had different champions here in this region. If any of these two teams can win a second monthly final throughout the course of the year, that basically in and of itself is going to be enough to secure them, and it's going to lock them at the very least at an LCQ spot. I mean, Juan Carlos' team came out of the gates looking very, very strong. We definitely, we knew that we'd have quite a matchup on our hands in this game, and Tribe are here to prove that they've been a household name in North America, and they still have it. They can still do it. As Livy was someone who was a standout in their game already, someone who I think definitely was put under the microscope after their unsuccessful Worlds campaign. They lost to SK Gaming, that sort of knocked them out here. So Tribe Gaming, Arc, they really have to prove that they deserve to still stand at the top, because they've been eclipsed by the other NA team that came up through LCQ. STMN made both them and LG look like fools at Worlds.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've been keeping a close eye on his Livy this year as well. And there was a play last month that I wasn't a big fan of, where Sands was able to survive in Bounty. He should have maybe connected those shots, but he looked a lot better today, let's be honest. The question I have, the reservation I have, is that, were Ninjas that team that could really kind of push them at the earlier stage? 82% of people still feel, however, that Tribe are going to take this win. I don't think that's a crazy statistic to say.
All right, lads, take it away. Brawl Ball. It'll be Beach Ball to start things off. Ready, set, and Arc on the call for this first semi-final.
Let's make it happen. We'll get started with this draft in just a moment here as we get our P's and B's in. Okay, from Pioneers, they had their first selection. They've gotten rid of that Larry. Honestly, a valuable last pick here on Beach Ball. Any thrower is going to be quite good. Larry's going to find a lot of his value when there's not another thrower on the map, so he's going to be having a huge advantage there. Not even a consideration at the moment. Sandy, first selection, I think is honestly just a good way to go. It's one of the best brawlers in the game at the moment. I would say top 4 personal, actually probably top 5 now with the entrance of Draco. And here's another member of what I would crown the top 4, Amber, on the side of Tribe Gaming, that's going to be good at anything that just runs at you, so you can hold down the red button and deal damage.
Been reflecting that poll in my mind, and honestly I think it is a bit much in favor of Tribe. Pioneers can't be underestimated here, let's be honest. Surge is a really nice pick. A brawler that's been coming forwards in the meta recently, and in what is currently a very tank heavy meta, I think Surge has got a real place now, and certainly if Tribe can cycle that one well, then that could be a fantastic brawler to really make the mark. Sandy, though's first pick, that's a great one. Willow, I don't mind it. It's never really one that comes straight to mind for me as being one of those really out there brawlers brawlers that can make some good plays. But on this very map, last month in APAC, we saw some fantastic control from Stu, and I firmly believe that like Willa can just make those goals happen when you least expect them. Buzz as well. I mean, when is this brawler not fun to watch? In the hands of Pioneers too, that's dangerous stuff.
Okay, Draco has still not been picked or banned. So have to wonder if Tribe Gaming are going to go for it. I think that there is play for Pain here into the Draco. He's not very good into those stuns, but if he has enough time to pop his gadget, then he's able to survive that interaction. Though something also to note just for Brawl Ball in particular when it comes to Draco is that he cannot pick up that ball while he has the shield active. Once he has no longer that shield and is down to 1 HP, then he can go for it. So Draco has managed to completely escape this draft. Stu is the final selection from Tribe Gaming, and they might be able to break open some walls to deal with the Willow here. Maybe that's the math. I find myself a little bit concerned for the Buzz into the Surge until Buzz is chaining those torpedoes together, because actually what we have observed is that Buzz can quite reliably kill Surge if he has the mechanics down.
Pretty basic stuff from Tribe, but hey, you know, these sort of things can work out well. Like, sometimes you haven't got to overthink things. My big reservation is Zulan, and just making sure that he gets off those early marks quickly, gets that additional speed rolling in. And I hope that he's running the right gadget to do so, but let's see. The protesters are out, as we firmly expected from second. Some things will never change. Some things are absolutely certain in North America, and that's one of them.
Hey, look, if it's muscle memory at this point, don't disrupt it on game day. You got to be in your rhythm. Bit of a miscalculation there from Tyrant. Second best tries to take advantage, gets the double kill. Need to see a pass from Pain up to second best to get this alley-oop into the goal. Slow roll forward, and the Zeta spray on the ground from second best. That's the other constant when it comes to watching second best play. He's thrown down the Zeta spray, he's getting the Protestos, and he's been practicing this in scrims too, so it's all ready to go for game day.
Well, I'm liking that Pioneers are being very cautious around Zulan. Now, yeah, exactly, forcing that gadget out to be able to get something of some results, because currently he's really lacking in that regard. Second under a little bit of scrutiny, but I'm waiting for that pop-off moment. Can't really go for it now, and we'll get taken care of by Tyrant. Meanwhile, as Livy survives, that allows the pass to come through to Zulan, but maybe that's a bit of a misclick, not too sure, but Vankar still surviving on. Pain now in the middle, gonna burn down as well, even just second all alone here, but that was a pretty decent defense from Pioneers.
Okay, second best going to go for the stun on his Livy. Denied by the combo of Zulon and his Livy here with the Dancing Flames. It's a 2v3 as Tribe Gaming look to encircle and dominate their opposition. Juan Carlos from the top side also taken down, and second best approaches from the right, but needs to get this stun.
Making a little move forwards now. I mean, this is dangerous really for Tribe here. They're well aware to second's awareness, but let's see if he can survive on just a bit to get a pass through, or maybe a shot on goal. He's going to go for it. Zulan will gain it off the line, but I didn't know whether it was going to go in at all. Tyrant's still in a good spot for a shot here. Not going to go for it. Chose to heal up a little bit more. Keep the ball here. 30 seconds on the clock is still time to make a comeback.
Still defense from Pioneers is going to be absolutely instrumental. Pain fired down by the flames from his Livy. Now Zulon approaches from the left, but they need a stun or something to flush out this opposition. Second best completely focused down, but Pain still remains. He's very easy to push here. A stun, actually the clutch, no! Zulon falls to the poison, and Tyrant tries to sneak it through. No trick shot. Pioneers will take this first game versus Tribe Gaming.
Great start, fantastic from Pioneers, and keeping Tribe on the back foot early. It's going to do wonders for them. Looking pretty calm and collected as well there, for the most part. This Buzz is the problem for me. I think Tribe are going to play it a little bit better and work around the issue. Try to work more as a unit, because they just let second kind of have a lot of control on the map for the majority of things, and you just can't really do that against a team like them.
Brand new game, brand new pitch here for Tribe Gaming to try and do it again. So far, whole lot of nothing. Everyone's poking to get that first interaction. Tyrant in particular needs one shot to actually start going here as Stu and get those engines firing. Second best is, I think, getting a little impatient though, spamming the Zeta pins and the spins as well as the spray on the ground, because he is not having this. He's waiting for opponents to make the first move. This is quite interesting. This is absolutely a first for me, but Zulon is going to begin this charge. Pain is a total sitting duck. A free kill for Zulon as he advances to level 3, but only temporarily. Once his gadget wears off, he'll be down to level 2. But he now approaches from the bottom side for a pinch on the one Carlos that Tyrant can help him out with. Ball pass to second best, who needs to get this super. Has the gadget to get himself forward, but still no dice.
Zulon's in a better spot now. Good use of the power surge gadget as well to do so. Pain has also got the mind control, and we know what that can do when it comes to goals, scoring opportunities. If he passes forwards, he might even be able to do just that. He connects it. Zulon's going to be able to walk this in. Oh, but it's fallen on the line. That's disastrous. That should have been in.
Oh, and that is the struggle of aiming as Willow, is all you can see is the reticle one. Carlos might be able to get it. Needs the kill. There it is, a pass in. Oh, what a miracle that he even had the ammunition in reserve to pass that one through, because there is not a chance that he could have walked that in. Whoa. Going back to the difficulty of aiming a goal as Willow, though, you could only see the aiming of your opponent's projectile, not the actual one that appears when you are aiming a goal.
Great teamwork from Pioneers to ensure that goal, because if that hadn't have been Juan Carlos to the rescue, it would have been definitely a much different story. Now Tribe again find themselves in that same situation. Got to start to get a goal scoring opportunity at hand and really bring this game a bit closer together. So far it is all Pioneers that are leading the way in the driving seat. 25 seconds, not much time to do so either, but Zulon has full stacks now, pushing his way forwards as Pain will fall. Second though, it's got super yet again, and this is dangerous. He can get the stun off and just buy down the clock. Tyrant will be the one to concede to it, but now the pass through. 10 seconds, Tribe have got to go. Breakthrough from Tyrant, but he didn't get a shot. Juan Carlos dodged it. That's disastrous, because it would have been a shot on goal. Ball is safe to the left, and it's going to be Pioneers to take the first set.
Wow, in what a fashion in which they were able to accomplish that. Second best here on the Buzz. And it wasn't without some hijinks as well. I mean, second best, beginning of game 2 on that left lane, he was not buying it at all. As Livy was practically praying, like, please can you just push into my lane and give me free super? Can you just rush me down so I can do my job as Amber? And he said, no. You know, maybe you want to get inside my range and in charge of my super for free. Didn't even happen, by the way, when we inevitably saw him push forward. Aided, of course, by the fact that his right lane died and he was forced to push forward. He nearly got a goal off of that. He used a reserve buoy. He popped the green button in order to generate that. I want to talk about one of these moments where we saw a potential goal from Pain, where he had the mind control as Willow, but it banked off of the wall. That, I think, is just... I mean, is it fair to call it a skill issue? I think really it is, but it's not to say also that that is all the time. What a recovery as well for Pain. I mean, he certainly had his moments here.
I mean, those moments really Tribe should be capitalizing on and just not able to. As a fantastic defense, though, do not get me wrong. That was the bit of a fumble from second. We incidentally got 15 Protestos, 8 Zeta sprays. Apparently a Buzz pin as well, which is very unlike him. Not quite sure where that one came from. Despite the low DPS, so that round really was all second best for me on the side of Pioneers for the most part. I mean, Tribe were in a troublesome spot to really not feed into him. Zulon, obviously walking so incredibly slowly as well, is going to struggle to stay away from that radius a lot of the time as well. But you know, Tribe just really seemed to struggle, and this is my reservation coming in, was like, were they tested in that quarterfinal stage against Ninjas enough really? And it's so far proving to not be the case, and they need to really up their game now. Like, you know, it's quite clear that Pioneers are cooking. They've got to match that level of heat in the kitchen.
There's, well, that is a great call right there. Yes, and also I think that there's just some stuff in the draft that is causing difficulties with Draco being ever present. He was absent from the bans and he was absent from the picks, but don't let that fool you, anyone at home, because he is omniscient. He is everywhere, ever present, and influencing those selections. In the end, it was the Buzz that really made the math work for Pioneers. The Willow also snuck in somehow, and it also worked. So kudos to them. They need to replicate that success here as we head into set number 2. Pioneers get first pick once again, and they've used it on Colette.
Interesting, because Chuck is available. You know, 74% of a ban rate, so that's really bold from Pioneers. That's saying, like, you know, go for Chuck. We've got our plan ready to roll for it. Now, that really does put things back into the hands of Tribe. They risk, they go for it, they're going to feed into the trap, or the potential trap. Buzz is such a joy to watch now since the hypercharge. Honestly, I mean, you know, who would have thought really seeing prior to that, you know, so much Buzz on Heist, but it just absolutely works. But you know, is that just Tribe wanting to play it, or is that taking it away from second? Because you know he's going to snap it up if you don't. Rico coming in now as well. Always been a pretty safe pair of hands on this particular map. I just don't know whether it carries the same weight that it really used to, but it makes a lot of sense. The Edgar ban on the other side of things does make it a bit more of a safe option. And now Sam coming in. These are really dangerous ideas from Pioneers.
That's second best right there in the screen, and I do not even see a chance that it gets handed off to someone. Well, actually, maybe it goes to Pain, but Sam is such a second best brawler. Barley, final selection. So Barley's going to be good into the Rico. In order for Tribe Gaming to actually be effective into the Barley, they're going to have to either reliably get Buzz onto that brawler, or they're going to have to start breaking open some walls, which is going to diminish the value that Rico can offer, which I personally anticipate will be played by Livy, and I think this Buzz will get handed off to Zulon. So final selection coming in could be a Tyrant pick. Tyrant's going to be good on basically any lane. So this could be the one for him. Maybe they decide to fire back with a thrower of their own. It would be effective into Colette, maybe not so much into Sam, maybe something that benefits Cordelius, the ultimate defensive option. And Cordelius actually isn't bad into throwers, and I'm not even talking about the gadget that allows you to jump over a wall. I'm more talking about how over a wall, he's still able to auto-charge his super and put someone in the realm.
Yeah, replanting, is that gadget that you're referring to, and it can be quite good for evasion. It can be quite good to close the gap on throwers and stuff. But I just kind of feel like a bit wild. We didn't see Chuck, but both sides were expecting to have a backup plan for that eventuality. And to be honest, if Pioneers were faced into that Chuck, they're just going to go super on the aggressive. That's the best way to counteract the Chuck. And with the combo that they're running, it can be quite dangerous to do so. But let's see. The Colette, for me, that's the real danger. Now, if Juan Carlos can get hypercharged and just get on that safe, then it can whistle down very, very quickly. It's already stolen on both sides. Both sides going for the base race so far. As Livy clears up house, Pain still survives, though. Still Tribe that are placing damage, though, as Tyrant has made contact on the safe. Oh, he'll still be there as well. He is still there. There's Nevi coming in now with a beautiful angle. Lines up 2 seconds, nowhere to be seen now. And Tyrant on the safe. This is great from Tribe.
Bye-bye. Goodbye, safe. What up, Tribe Gaming? That is a lightning fast game for them. They must have known that was in the cards from the very beginning, that they were going to generate that kind of DPS. It actually looked possible for Pioneers off the beginning because they had that early game aggression there up the right side. Regrettably for them, the Colette was just not doing much for them. Now, that's not a Juan Carlos issue. That is more of a, hey, you're Colette, you're facing against a Rico who's going to diff you on this lane. Early kill for second best. It's only a trade, however. We'll see Zulon go for this aggression as Livy decides not to go for the pinch on the top side because Zulon's able to handle this all by himself like a big boy. And Tribe Gaming are getting huge on this safe. Already loads of damage coming in.
I mean, it was also a time issue. There was just no time to even obtain the super because Tribe just finished the round so quickly. Clearing up now is Pain. Now onto the safe also. Second then to clear up himself. It's all 3 members now. Pioneers do take control, full control of this mid. Second now just trying to time it. He's been spotted though. Trying to go for safe now and quickly into the round by Zulan like that from Tribe. Great defensive measures. A nice little jump over the walls, but Pain still survives it. And it's going to be a very quick round. We are speed running heist right now. All tied up, but what a dangerous position now for Tribe. They could go 2 sets under if they're not careful now.
I'm beginning to understand why Chuck was not selected here. When the base race is simply that fast, then Chuck is simply not going to be viable. Number 2 is that Cordelius was not banned, and he ended up getting picked in the end. Cordelius is like the kryptonite to Chuck. There's very little that Chuck can do into Cordelius. The only downside is, well, in the end, you're stuck with the Cordelius. But I honestly have to say Zulon is a great pilot to be put on this brawler. We'll see Pain getting some damage on the safe. Second best also rushing forward. No kill on his Livy, but in the end, it rings true for Juan Carlos. The jump forward for Zulon. 1-2 shots from Juan Carlos is still not enough to eliminate Zulon as he survives with 3 health, but the kill comes in from Pain, who is putting on a huge clinic here on the right lane.
Yeah, Pain is just not moving from his position ever. Like, Tribe have got to be paying more attention to him because he's just getting trickle damage time and time again, and each time it's 5%. You can't do that. You've really got to shut that down and just try to keep sure that your safe is pretty healthy in that regard. Second, just trying to work around this corner. And of course, the Knuckle Busters will be doing a good job of doing just that. Tyrant. Oh, what an interaction there. And second comes out on top with Pain there now as well. The last call. This is going to be looking like a really convincing set for me from Pioneers. But Tribe have got to start to defend these moments.
Okay, second best has the method. He has this super to keep on cycling the damage and the healing. Their safe only survives with 6,000 health left, and that's just over 6,000. That Colette super would put them just shy of a victory. One Carlos in with the gotcha gadget, trying to stay alive versus second, who gets his super, now second best, approaching the safe. It's an easy super here for Zulon for the defense. As we see this safe now down below 4,000 damage, but this is a much different position than we've seen for Pioneers throughout the duration of Game 2 and most of Game 3. It's getting reminiscent of what we saw in Game 1 when Tribe Gaming camped them in their own spawn.
It was a huge deficit, but now being close to one cause is the problem. Lands it on the save. Lovely start from Pioneers. And immense pressure now on the shoulders of Tribe as they go 2 sets down.
Pioneers, they could do it in set number 3. What a close one this was. What strategy did they find? We can only hope to gather that from the replays as we flip through them, roll back the tape. Tribe had to know that it was going to be this difficult, however. Reactions for them, they don't really look too glum. I would say they look more determined and accepting than anything else. They knew that this was a possible outcome versus the likes of Pioneers. They're only 1 point behind them in tournament standings.
Such an important match. You know, we cannot underestimate just like how much things can turn, though. You know, Tribe, if they start to get their act together and remember that that is how the scoreboard is, could start to make something of this. I mean, we saw it in the first game of Heist, but they're leaving players time and time again. You know, Payne, like I said, that round pretty much had free reign of everything in the first set. It was second best, you know. I mean, these are moments that, you know, for Tribe, when you look at their history this year and how really underwhelming it's been, for the most part, you know, 2 quarterfinals exits, not good for them. They can't really afford to have a semifinals exit here today because of how close-knit this leaderboard is. You know, you can slide off very, very quickly. I mean, looking at ST Entity, they're looking phenomenal as well. So, I mean, things could be lining up for them to be able to start to move forwards if Tribe starts to move down, and that's really quite concerning, isn't it?
That was a pretty good dap there. I want to point out, check out second best over here. 7 kills. A man, a plan, a Sam Panama. I think that sounded better in my head. This is the same guy who dropped 8 Protestos, 5 Zeta pins, 1 normal Sam pin, and 2 crying Sam pins throughout the set. We kept tally. That is the caliber of production you are watching right now, my friends. But on the opposing side, Tribe Gaming racked up some stats of their own. Check out Zulon over here, who I expected to be on the buzz, but he opted to go for that Cordelius instead. 12 kills. He is on Sam duty and also, in some regards, Barley duty. But one crucial thing that I think he missed the mark on is being ready for the Colette Hypercharge in. That is the ideal time to put her in the Shadow Realm. You can prevent roughly, I mean, how much does it even come out to you? 25% damage on the safe, and I think maybe that would be room for improvement for Tribe. It's crucial that they step up the game now. 82% of the audience is rallying with them, but the 18% seem to be in the right so far. 2-0 lead for Pioneers.
It's a tough one, though, isn't it? Because, you know, do you reserve the realm for Sam or the Colette? You know, you're going to struggle to really kind of be able to earn it back with the Colette because she's going to land away from you anyway. And it's a really tough position that Pioneers put Tribe in, but they did put them in that position. It was all strategy in that regard. Bans are in, then for Hot Potato, which is the previous map, so it won't be that, of course. But the Melody, the Kit, and the Max on the side of Tribe. First pick, Tick. I've seen a lot of Tick this weekend, a bit more than I'd like to see, to be honest. I'm not overly convinced. The Gene, the Melody, and the Angelo are very good bans for me on the side of Pioneers. But how do you feel about Tick in the current meta? I've kind of seen mixed reviews. Definitely a rise of seeing it. We've seen it a lot in EMEA as well today, or rather yesterday. I'm just not overly sold at the moment on Tick.
I think Tick's kind of busted personally. However, he's so counterable. If you can get in close range versus Tick, that's where he's going to lose his value. And I think that Meg could be a method to do that. I think this is just going to be a tough draft for Pioneers to play into that Tick. Tick, you have kind of like a turtle up strategy. They wouldn't be too far off for still going with the 8-bit here, because that's ultimately what I believe the Bell is for. And here comes the 8-bit anyway. Yep. I mean, everything going according to plan for Tribe Gaming, in spite of what Pioneers are trying to do to counter it. Now, Tribe Gaming could finish this out with a sharpshooter, which is ultimately what Meg is here to take care of, and RT is what they're going to be going with. So Meg is going to try and bob, juke, you know, weave around those shots. I think Pioneers may want to consider a thrower here, given that they can't max Larry and Laurie's their selection.
That's my preferred thrower, to be honest, over the Tick. I mean, it's very bold of Tribe to be picking the 8-bit into the Bell, though, I must say. Like, that's going to be one interaction where, you know, if Bell can just keep pinging those shots between the turret and the 8-bit, it's going to whistle down very, very quickly and do a lot of the work for them. So Tribe clearly feeling very confident with this 8-bit pick, and I think it's a great brawler, don't get me wrong, but I think into a Bell it's going to struggle somewhat a little bit, and being able to mark up the RT as well when needed, I think that, you know, is another great attribute to the Pioneers comp. I really do like this draft for Pioneers, and they haven't really skipped a beat so far. So Tribe are going to have to make this work, and you know, there's not much time left to do it. If they don't, I mean, they're going to be going home in the semi-final stages.
Oh, I feel for Juan Carlos here. This man was beaten up and battered around with knockback, but he still remains alive. The struggle now is that he's Little Meg. He's lost the shield. He's marked by RT. Like, a couple of shots from Tyrant would do it, especially with the use of hacks, the gadget that Tyrant can use for instant damage with RT. On the right side, we're seeing as Livy and Zulon combine forces to try and push forward. It's sort of tough for Zulon to push into a sharpshooter given that he's so slow. Now he has a super, and this is when we begin to see the strategy unfold, whereas Livy gets mad damage here with the Tick. It makes him almost unpushable for Pioneers. Why is Tyrant completely idle on the top left? Has he just lost interest in the game?
Yeah, he was doing some very wide shots as well. I'm not too sure. I think maybe if it was a disconnect, he's definitely back now. But yeah, certainly not looking his best at the moment. Meanwhile, second best has got 3 nicely placed nest eggs on that right-hand side. I mean, like, Zulan's got to be really tiptoeing carefully there, because if he does pop one, then you can see that Pain is ready to help. Here they come in now, but he might just be at the perfect, yeah, nice escape there with the cheek cartridge. I like that play. And it keeps then Pioneers still with 1 star, and that's where Tribe are going to have to struggle. I mean, 30 seconds left. We haven't seen a single kill yet.
Man, this minefield on the right side was seemingly innavigable at first. Then Zulan had to get the TP back. He has another one set up. He's not really in a position where he's an easy takedown for any member of Pioneers. Juan Carlos on the left side has been backed up big time. Second best looks for the free damage on Zulan, and here comes the Tick super in, as Livy is not going to have enough time to charge up another one, so that's all the push they're going to get, trying to trap things on the right side, where we see second best and Pain split apart. Zulan taking mad damage, same for second best. No kills, a no-hitter. This game, Pioneers advance to match point.
And that's it in a nutshell for me. You know, it's all Pioneers. They don't even have to get a kill at this rate, because Tribe are not bringing enough to the table. You know, that's the issue. They're not bringing the fight to Pioneers. They're just allowing Pioneers to have the map control and the brawlers that they want to be able to work with. They've got to bring the fight to them, and they just go a bit more on the aggressive. And Tribe are very good at doing that, very calculated in their approach, but they're just looking very sheepish, to be honest.
Pain's going mad aggro off the beginning here. What is he doing? Juan Carlos in second best, try to accent him on the right. Oh, he's going to get taken down by Tyrant. That's not good at all. Pioneers still have this blue star, which they were going to get anyway because of Juan Carlos. But they've opted to play so aggro. Now, they nearly did get a kill or two there, as Livy in particular was quite low on health. Pain's pushing up this left side into Zulon and his Livy. Now, if anything, he can take down the turret from over a wall. Has the Lari at his disposal as well. But Pioneers are playing much more aggressive. Obviously, they were not comfortable with winning only by that 1 blue star in the last round.
Nice heal from Pain. Juan Carlos finds his Livy as well, and that's going to increase the pressure. But Juan Carlos is still not out of the woods, and not a great spot. In the meanwhile, Pain on the left-hand side does find Zulan. That's definitely going to be able to cushion things somewhat. Second going to tap the legs here on the RT.
Oh.
Gets the takedown of Tyrant. That's a huge takedown. 8 stars now to the 2 only of Tribe. And Tribe just have not been in this series, let alone this set. They've really got to start to work things better, because this is just not working at the moment.
35 seconds for them to bring this one back. And they have this turret position so far in the rear. Pain can get the easy takedown onto it. Instead, he sets his sights on Zulon, who, without plugged in, is just a sitting duck. Oh, he's trying to be tricky, but he gets the TP onto the booster. Wow, Juan Carlos got a takedown too. Pioneers are vastly in the lead. 15 seconds remain for Tribe Gaming to preserve their chances here, lest they let the win go to Pioneers.
Well, the nest egg pop was brutal there for Tyrant. It's just as living as Zulan. Zulan cannot do a thing. He's too low HP, and the star deficit is just too much, I feel. 8 to 12, there might be a shot, there might be a moment, but it's not going to happen. Pioneers take down Tribe Gaming in a clean sweep and head to our grand final.
Absolutely stellar for Pioneers. What a match. Against number 2 in the region, now sentenced to be number 3 or lower. It all depends on the outcome of today. Being able to control your own fate is absolutely crucial here. And now, Tribe Gaming have let it slip through their fingers. Epic pose there from Juan Carlos. Thanks to the fans, thanks to everyone who supported Pioneers. They are going on to the grand finals.
And like you say, the leaderboards now, I mean, this is where things get really scary because Tribe are going to drop down. We got, Luminosity and STMN up next, and they're beneath that. And there could be some serious, or there will be some serious movement now, and it's already so closely knit together. I mean, where did it all go wrong for Tribe? They just didn't seem like they were even present in this series. And I thought, like, at the beginning of today, despite it being against a team which we said earlier on going in that Ninjas were definitely their underdog, matchup in that quarterfinal stages, and they looked much better though, regardless as to maybe the technicalities of the team and the coordination not being necessarily the greatest. But that was not what I expected to see from Tribe. I expected to see a lot more back and forth and a lot more feist. We got none of that today.
Oh, did you see that? The 3-0 from Juan Carlos there on the cams. I don't know if that's necessarily a callback, but I did see that one on the cams from Tribe Gaming in the past. And seeing that after you've been diffed by them in a match in a monthly final on cam where everyone can see, it's not a good feeling, a bit of revenge in there. This is not the last time they can potentially meet, however. Still got one more month of Brawl Stars this year, but we still have more monthly final to get through. All we know for certain now is that Pioneers will await the winner of Stamina versus Luminosity in the grand final.
Oh, what a day it has been for North America, and Juan Carlos is the MVP as voted by you on event.brawlstars.com. Could they make it 2 monthly finals? That's the question now for Pioneers. They've made it to the grand finals yet again, and very reminiscent of that monthly finals back in April. I mean, so far in NA, we've always had a different monthly final champion. Could this be the thing to break the mold? That's the question.
Well, I mean, we have our predictions to cast for the next one as well. Will it be a Stamina? Will it be Luminosity? In our next monthly in our next match here coming up for semifinal number 2, we got to find a worthy opponent for the Pioneers in the ultimate match of the day. We'll be back with that after a short break.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
All right, folks, our semi-final number 1 is done and dusted already. It was not a close affair as Pioneers rolled over the top of Tribe, and question marks remain on Tribe's prospects for the later part of the year. Their exit here in the semis, not the worst. It's still a bit of circuit points to play with, but nothing that would guarantee them for even LCQ at this rate. Dominant showing from Pioneers. Tribe looked nothing like the team we saw in the quarterfinals arc. It really felt like they went off the boil and Pioneers brought the heat.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. Let's be honest. Tribe they just weren't present. They weren't in the moment. They weren't taking the battle to Pioneers, and they just allowed themselves to get steamrolled. It was quite a shame because I thought that Tribe looked much better in their quarterfinal stages. I had reservations on whether that was the team that they faced off against, and the skill diff involved with that, and it turned out that that was indeed the case. But now for Luminosity and STMN, I mean, whoa. What a match. What a match. A grand finals worthy one to have in our semi-finals up next.
And I feel like we get this matchup all the time. It never gets any less special. That is for sure. I'm quite sure everybody at home is divided when it comes to their predictions. If you haven't got it in yet, your predictions, that is, head over to event.brawlstars.com. You can make those and, of course, get involved in plenty of other ways to earn yourself some star drops in-game. And it really is very easy. It's also where you can check out those B streams that we run alongside us, especially for those quarterfinals. Let's turn our attention to this match up here. Ready, set. Luminosity versus STMN renew the rivalry yet again. This time with some added stakes. As STMN have got to make a deep run today, ideally win the whole darn thing. The Luminosity have already felled them in this month's qualifier.
We started off the day with Luminosity versus Rival Esports NA on the B stream. It was a total sweep for Luminosity, not even close for Rival, and this is sort of what we expected to see out of Luminosity. It's a shame that we didn't get to see more from Rival Esports NA, this newly named org. Nonetheless, they looked so dominant, and folks, they have in previous months too. Just last month, they went to the grand final and got 2 set wins in a row. It looked so likely that they would shut down Motomami's now Elevate in that final match of the day. But everyone, they got reverse swept. It was an absolute tragedy. They're looking to reclaim the glory, but some things you can't do without revisiting history. This is a matchup, Luminosity versus Stamina, that we've seen all year long, going back to even the first qualifier that has set the stage for the point situation that we have today.
Luminosity came into this month arc with 200 circuit points only. So they were about 60-odd points behind the time Elevate, who were at the top of the standings. So yes, their LCQ chances are definitely on the line, but this is one of the teams that is most threatened by the prospect of STMN running through this bracket, getting max points, and positioning themselves for an LCQ berth. Let's have a look at this team. A team who is no stranger to fighting at LCQ. And they went there, honestly, pretty dominant. I think they qualified with a win over Reject at the time, another of those East Asian teams. And then they looked incredible. They peaked at the right time in those World Finals before falling, of course, to Zeta Division in a game that could have been a little bit closer if you were an NA fan. But these guys are, today, look like a different beast.
Yeah, STMN have never looked better for me so far, and if there's any team that know the importance of LCQ, it's STMN, coming second in the World Finals last year, just shy of lifting the trophy. I mean, they know, if anyone, exactly what you can achieve off the back of an LCQ spot, but they are lying just outside it at present at 5th. And in this region with 2 World Final spots and 2 LCQ spots, they've already got to move up the leaderboards. STMN know. They know full well how much pressure lies on their shoulders today. But that's why I was so impressed with their quarterfinals performance here today. And, we look back at our predictions. We sort of went with Tribe in the previous one. Ready, Set, differed, and Ready, Set was clearly the one who was right, let's be honest. With my predictions for this, I still feel confident based on how I saw STMN today performing that they could still win this one, but it's going to be a tough one. Luminosity are their long-term rivals and have gone back a long, long way historically with a lot of losses against this very team.
That's right. Ready, Set, we're going to let you take a break here. We'll see you for the final. But for now, you all at home voted STMN to be the victors here. But yeah, back when NA was split into 2 regions, right? This was the NA West El Clasico, I think it's safe to say. These guys always used to trade blows. Obviously, Luminosity were dog walkers for a time at the start of last year, got picked up by the org, and then they did feature at the World Finals and had a little bit of a lackluster showing, I think. People expected Luminosity as the top NA seed to do a heck of a lot more than they otherwise did. But here are the bans, and this is targeted. It's the Gold Arm Gulch Grom ban against STMN, and they're going to snap up RT with their first pick.
I hear you, but what I will say though about Luminosity in that World Finals was that they were one game away from knocking out Zeta Division in that early stage, right? That could have changed.
That is true,
of course, you know. But they it was their first, you know, big LAN event of that nature, and I think they did pretty well, all things considered. But this has been the team that STMN just couldn't topple last year at all. In qualifiers, you know, they're 2 for 2 at the moment this year, which is actually pretty decent on that side of things, considering that STMN just couldn't touch them last year. But in monthly finals, of course, that's where for me, you know, things differ. Luminosity have got the win over STMN last month in May, so you know they've only had one run-in though. That's the thing in monthly finals this year. Draco and Kit. Can we talk about this, because on the entire casting desk we're pretty united in the sense that it's pretty invincible.
Yeah, it might be one of the strongest combos that we have in the game right now. I mean, what do you do? Do you round this comp out with a Byron? It feels like already you've got an incredibly powerful core. Rico's still available, of course, pretty popular. We've seen Gene, we've seen Piper, Gene's banned here, but obviously those sharpshooters are still on the table if that's where Bobby wants to go. And Byron going to be taken away here for LG. I think denying that from the Draco comp seems like a good idea. Luminosity have a pretty well-rounded setup in their own right.
I think they were forced to take that Byron, because honestly, there's no way they could have let that happen. That is the final nail in the coffin, and chalk it up early before we even get into the game if that's in the hands of STMN. But I mean, that might have changed the game plan for Luminosity. You know, they might have been intending to bring that particular brawler in, but now they're forced to. Sprout will be the final pick for STMN. Always a pretty decent one. Definitely a challenging thing in knockout if you're left in those awkward scenarios alone when your teammates falter. So I think for the remaining 2 of STMN who are playing on that Draco and the Kit, survivability really is a must in that late game. They do not want to leave that Sprout vulnerable.
A couple of longer range brawlers here on Luminosity can be shut down by this Sprout pretty effectively, as that hedge can eat up some of those wide sight lines that would otherwise be pretty threatening to someone like Draco, who needs to walk up, who needs to advance. And normally he simply trades his health pool as a resource in order to gain that ground, but Sprout can let him get in less scathed than he otherwise would have. For the Kit though, going to be a little bit quiet for Bobby here. Will obviously generate that super naturally over time. Bobby looks to get into the middle of the map, sees Chino looking a little tasty, but does get revealed too early, and oh man, instant damage from Charles. Bye-bye, Bobby.
Disastrous start. You know, that is the worst possible outcome. And you know, to think that Luminosity allowed this Kit and Draco combo to actually even occur in the draft, this is exactly what STMN do not want to have happen. That you've been given a gift, you've got to use it to your advantage. But it's early days. Bobby overextended and will be punished for it, leaving the pressure now to Zara and Sands. Let's see if they can cook up. Who knows? I mean, if they can get just like one singular takedown, it becomes even.
Dahlia not able to build a super yet, so for the most part, STMN have been forced to play to the extremities of the map and can't get close because Patchy and Chino are vigilantly sending shots down these long lines. Charles also threatens Zar back here towards the gas, and this is where it gets a little ugly. Zar is going to have to walk into range of that Larry Lauren. It could be nasty. Patchy splits from the legs, and Bobby says, no guys, don't go for it. Sand says, yes boss, and walks into the smoke.
And knockout, you know, historically for STMN, not their best mode whatsoever. You know, this is where they faltered to Luminosity last month as well. Not this map, but nonetheless, it's going to bring back some memories of just how to go around it. All that wasn't the best wall from Zara. That will waste a lot of that super as well, but he's replaced it now. But yeah, that's not looking great.
Okay, a little bit of damage there for Zara. Another hedge at the ready. That's going to be thrown down now. Actually, awkwardly forces Chino to go around the long way here, but STMN haven't really done anything to advance their game plan yet, with Sands being unable to walk up that left lane. He's now returned to the rest of the team. And remember, Draco takes damage to build super. That's probably the best way he's going to be able to do it, but it looks like STMN don't want to fight until the late game, where they can have a hypercharge hedge go down and get Bobby in the back pocket of Sands.
Exactly it, you know, and the thing about Luminosity is they're not afraid to go on the aggressive. That's the strategy they need to employ here as well. Now, it's very low here. Gas coming in as well. Bobby then just going to combine with Sands. Gets the takedown as well, leaving just Patchy all alone, and that's going to be a nice round going the way of STMN.
Okay, so STMN, their game plan there looks like it plays out pretty well. The hypercharge hedge, is important to realize, doesn't actually get replaced by a second hedge that you throw down. So Sprout extremely powerful in that sense. And Dark covers up most of the map, which allows Sands to move up.
Well, Bobby's got his super ready to hand. Meanwhile, Zara would quite like to get hypercharge here, realistically speaking, but Sands as well. Can't do much. You know, this is where realistically Luminosity needs to go a bit on the aggressive and just force their hand somewhat, but It's a very crucial stage. You do not want to be dropping this first game in a mode like Knockout. They're just trying to exchange blows. In the meanwhile, Patchy having those legs to hand, definitely a good late game opportunity to explore as well. So survivability is a must. But realistically, they've got to get Sands on Super, and that's not going to happen to the late game. So, I mean, STMN are just buying their time. They want the gas to come in as quickly as possible, then they can start to make these plays. Zar's going to initiate it now as the gas coming far away. Now Sands and Bobby attached. Now the bomb starts to land down. Charles is low. Patchy's got the legs, but it's not going to be enough. Chino can't really do much to hit.
What damage?
Chino goes down, and STMN are finally been able to secure it. And the first game goes their way.
Not too shabby for a comeback there for STMN. This time, the game plan works out again, and it really centers all around that Sprout hedge. Throw that super out, lock the enemy team into the left corner of the map, move your Draco into position, and also use Kit to throw some of those yarn balls over the top of their hedges, which hits very hard as well. This draft is gross for STMN. It's so filthy.
Oh, it should be illegal. You know, honestly, I can't believe that Luminosity allowed it to come in. And this is the concern, really, for me, is that if STMN lose this set in any way, shape, or form, that can spell disaster for what's to follow, because you can't lose with this comp, you know. The mistakes that Bobby made in the first round cannot happen again. They've got to be very cautious now. We're very much different now with the way that things are laid out. Everyone from STMN on the left-hand side this time round, and now trying to come a bit more together as they were a bit bunched. Meanwhile, Luminosity are just that, very bunched together themselves. But look, Charles looking to get that super as early as possible. Having Laurie as well to come into the mix is going to help out considerably so. Force a hand somewhat. Connection from Chino to Sands will trickle him down, but nothing too much. We need to see Luminosity go a bit more aggressive still. They're being reluctant to do so.
The important supers, though, have been developed here for STMN. That's their late game plan now, ready to enact. Patchy's going to be forced off that line, and Sands is slowly, over the course of the round, crept up. Now, going to get that Kit support. Patchy, the first target there, has to gadget back over towards the legs, but still gets caught out now. And here come STMN. They do manage to pick Zar off, but it doesn't matter because that Kit and Draco combo is unbeatable.
Hey, look, say what you want about the comp. Is it cheesy? Yeah, absolutely so. Is it very, hard to deal with? It's probably the hardest thing to deal with, but Luminosity allowed it, and it's credit to STMN. They saw it was available, they picked it up, and that is the results of just that. It's a strong outdraft. Nothing more you can really add to the equation. As now Sands and Bobby do their thing yet again. Zar, though, with no super, has the hypercharge, but needs to get that wall down, and this could be a very quick set. It really could.
Relatively early time to go for the Kit super there. That will be generated quickly enough, and Zar will have hypercharge once that super is developed. So no harm that STMN couldn't derive an advantage from that Kit activation, but the game plan will remain the same. Luminosity look a little bit unsure about how they're supposed to overcome this. They poke for most of the round here. Bobby, I like the idea.
Thinking about it.
Could have been. Again, if you lock Charles up and Zar drops a space carrot on top of the Larry, yeah, it's curtains for that thrower for Luminosity. I like the idea. Here it is again, same plan, heads the map up. Charles goes pretty low here. Zar, of course, with the raw stat buff is going to go a long way towards pressuring Chino down the bottom part of the map. He's going to be caught behind a hedge. Sands and Bobby are going for it, and they get it done. STMN take the first set away with a draft that, again, should be outlawed by the Geneva Convention, man. That was disgusting.
I mean, it's been dominating, lad.
It's war crimes.
Ever since Draco came into the mix, everyone knows about it. We know that this comp is absolutely disgusting, and it could have come back around to that Byron pick, by the way. That might have been the very thing which, Luminosity had to pick up. If they didn't, it was just going to be an even faster set. I don't think that was part of their plan. I think that they got caught out, and as soon as they saw two brawlers together, they instantly regretted their existence.
Call the Human Rights Commission in now, immediately. This is a humanitarian crisis, what we just witnessed. Nice enough for STMN, but again, you saw what the bans were. Very reasonable bans, right? The fact that, you need to, especially if you're, first pick, but only get that one pick, you have to ban Grom. Which is obviously an odd one on this map. A lot of teams feel like they just can't. He's just oppressive, right? He's got long range, got really reasonable rate of fire, ton of damage, but the same game plan every single time. LG, you can't do anything about this. Look what Kit can do now that, Bobby or Sands rather, just walks up on the other side of this hedge. Also, those legs are taking damage from the hypercharge hedge that entire time. It's only a small issue, but it's definitely powerful. And I think, Ark, when, the hypercharge for Sprout was announced, people were a little overwhelmed. I think it wasn't like a shock and awe kind of ability, but then when you remember the fact that that's a free hedge and that you can also use another one, people started to come around on it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm still a bit underwhelmed, to be completely honest. I'd like to see a bit more from it, but I think for me, when you ask about what could they have done differently, I think Bobby was the key. They got Bobby taken care of in that very early outset, as we saw in the replay, and it was a completely different story. Without the kit, Draco is a bit of a wet flannel. You can't really do much with it. I mean, yeah, I don't think the Byron was the pick. They had to pick it up. STMN forced their hand, and I think the stats say that kind of same story. Probably not a brawler which they felt the most comfortable with, and they just were left with no choice.
I gotta know, do you think that draft actually works as well for STMN if it's a Byron instead of a Sprout? Because those hedges seemed kind of instrumental to the overall game plan of STMN. Did Luminosity read them wrong?
It's a valid point. I think the Sprout has always been good on this map. I think they just would have the options available. When you're combining Byron with the kit and the Draco, literally you've got to have the comp already set in stone as to how you're going to deal with it, because it just literally runs you down. There's so little you can do. I mean, we've run into it a lot playing Brawl over the last month or so, and realistically you've got to go in with a really strong counter idea from the get-go. We were running a lot of B and stuff like that to really kind of heavily hit the whole thing down. I mean, I just don't realistically see what else they could have done, to be completely honest. I think it's just really great drafting from STMN. They saw the opportunity, they grabbed it with both hands, and then they had options when it came to that third pick regardless, and Luminosity just knew it was game over before they even picked their third.
My goodness. Good start for STMN here. The Cinderella story, it's still in process, ladies and gentlemen. Still in progress, I should say. Everything on the table. But Brawl Ball, very much a different story. But we mentioned, though, that knockout in the past has been a little bit of an issue for STMN, or maybe where, at least against Luminosity, they have struggled.
Definitely.
So being able to sort of subvert that narrative here with another one of the demons of STMN's past standing in their way has to feel pretty good. Here on the center stage, obviously, Sandy, Rico, Jackie, highly contested here. We have seen Jackie available, and Rico's also been up. But Rico was available on the last map too, also very powerful on Gold Arm Gulch, and wasn't picked up. Angelo here, again, very powerful in their own right, and giving that to Bobby seems like a death sentence anyway. So STMN, without that very powerful sharpshooter here, but there are so many options. Ems is available on this map. She's been very powerful, typically, especially against some of those slower moving comps, and she can slow them right on down with that caustic charisma. The Jessie here has actually a 57% win rate, despite only having a 28% pick rate. So, often, rarely banned out, and always a strong brawler on this map. So whether this is a data-driven decision or not from STMN, generally Jessie has found success here.
We'll do this as well. I mean, that is for the Jackie. You were saying about taking Angelo away from Bobby. I was thinking that STMN have got to take the Jackie away from Patchy. He's just, oh no, every single month, every month I'm screaming at my monitors, you cannot give Patchy Jackie. You can't do it. He's too good with it. You can't even counter the guy. You just got to literally just either pick it or ban it. And STMN have done neither of those two things. And with the Crow as well, I mean, that's another brawler which is a phenomenal player with. And I think he's going to go with the Jackie, but I don't know, bro. I don't know.
So we saw Cordelius locked in. You said this is for the Jackie. What do you mean by that?
I mean, take it off Patchy. I think that he's always going to go Jackie in a map like this, and every month he gets amazing plays with it on this very map. So STMN have been burnt by this in the past. They're not, going to be unaware to this. So I'm surprised they didn't ban it. I hope they got a real strategy in mind to counter it. And it's amazing to me that it's actually going to be Chino on the Jackie.
Chino, yep, Jackie duty now. Nicely done by Zard. Takes Patchy to the Shadow Realm. Hang about. Wow! Straight off the back of an unfriendly bushes, STMN used the slow to their advantage and clamber all over LG.
That's a phenomenal start. A very quick early goal.
You're cooked, brother.
As well, and punished. Ball still in the middle though, and protected heavily by that Jessie turret. So I quite like where STMN are going with this. Nice slow from Bobby as well. We'll just connect with both players. Chino as well. We might get struggling. And this is looking a bit hairy, but Patchy gets the defense. Straight the
what?
Oh no! The screen disasters want to jump. Oh, but the fumble! They couldn't get it.
He let the ball go at the last moment there. The jump looked pretty good. But now we're running out of charges of the unfriendly bushes. Bobby runs it down, though. Chino blown to smithereens. Another turret thrown up. That's a hypercharged one as well. And Charles has no choice but to head for the heels. Devastating here as Bobby wanted to walk it in, but he throws it. Ball bounces off the side of the goals, and Chino interrupts with that super, strips the ball away. And Bobby knew that would be happening, so he has to go for a shot there. It just doesn't bounce the way he needs it to. Still strong position for STMN. But losing Zara in the middle part of the map now means that control might start to become an issue. The ball is cornered. You can't see it because of the logo there in the bottom left of the screen. That's about to be scooped up here by Patchy.
Sans didn't want to gadget that either, which is a bit of a head scratcher for me, but STMN is still looking very good. Charles will fall now, just Patchy again on defense, and it's going to be 1 versus 3. It's going to be a short walking goal. Oh my God. Almost eat my words here. Some definite signs of nerves here from STMN.
Well, they know how much is on the line. They've been struggling all year. They basically had the worst bracket draw possible every single month. This time they knew they'd have to run a gauntlet of incredible competitors. And so far, so good against LG. They're setting themselves up here for a potential second set win. The comp is powerful. Even against the Jackie, they're finding success.
I wonder whether Luminosity will regret not putting Patchy on the Jackie or the Crow, because both, I think both of this Brawl, oh yeah, that's defended, but oh, maybe not into the realm. It's just Shino now as well. There's a lot of mistakes happening on either side of the field, but STMN are looking strong. They could score from this opportunity.
Don't walk it!
Yes, it!
Unreal, but 28 HP left. Bobby's able to walk the ball in. This game is bonkers, man. STMN have that goal lead now. Still 2 minutes to play here, but Unfriendly Bushes is used once more for info. Chino comes up, Hardy hard hat, dishing damage back out as Jackie takes it. But Charles is far too low to confidently take possession of the ball.
Another nice jump there from Zara. We'll get poisoned for it, but STMN have got time on their side for now. Turret down in a good spot as well. Chino low, and now instantly taken care of. Sounds of the hypercharged, additional speed coming in. Turret as well, finding shots onto Patchy.
They've done it.
Now is Bobby.
They've done it.
Behind as well, the ball pass in. STMN have just got 2 sets up.
What are we seeing? STMN already ran into Luminosity recently. It was in the qualifiers. In the upper bracket, they lost 2-1 to LG. With LG advancing to the monthly finals and STMN having to drop down to fight harder for it again. They say they give what, the toughest soldiers the hardest battles? Yeah, my God. Bobby looking like a private first class clambering out of the trenches here. But it's working. They've taken the beachhead arc. That's 2-0 here for STMN. Brawl ball going in their favor. After single comp, they featured Angelo, Crow, Jackie. That's a very strong composition. Cordelius on their map actually has a really low win rate. It's like only like 42%, right? But it's still very commonly picked. We saw it really find value here. A lot of time, those supers just taking someone out of the game. It's always important. The Jackie pick for Sans as well. We can see why it's so effective on this map. It's never a all-star. It's never a, in the spotlight kind of pick, but that hypercharged Scrappy getting thrown down demands respect. And having a virtual 4th player on your team while your opponent has virtually 2 because you've taken one of them out of the game, I'll take those odds any day of the week.
That was almost a lovely trick shot from Bobby, it really was. It was a necessary one as well, to be honest. He was too low HP otherwise, but I mean, just the way that STMN played it, they were definitely nervous because, again, they know how much this means to get 2 sets up against a team like Luminosity, to make the grand finals against all odds in the, the bracket of death, which is literally what they've had today so far. They can sense it, and it's feeling like the wind is in the right direction. Patchy looking very defeated as well here today. You got to be honest, like the player camps for Luminosity not looking great, not looking very energetic. They've got to dig deeper between themselves to really find that positive mentality, which they're going to have to bring in here because they are faltering quickly. STMN, though, they know how it feels to be reverse swept. They can't get overconfident here. Strong stats for both sides, but honestly, when you look at the gameplay and the objective that we saw, that game was just all STMN.
That was astonishing. STMN have actually made it look pretty easy, all things considered so far, Ark.
Yeah.
Slight stumble at the start of knockout, but really they look to be the better team today, which is something that we have not really said of them all year. Now they have to keep this momentum up, find a way to land the planes. We know the Pioneers will be waiting for them in that final. A first pick, Colette here on Heist. Really, Zara hoping for the ability to get that free safe damage. That hypercharge super from Colette is a pretty ridiculous amount of damage to throw down without any real chance of retaliation. But we are going to have the Amber picked here, and I want to point out that Gale is open.
Well, I love, nice, good spot as well. I think that, although I'm not really all for the Gale pick myself, I mean, I much prefer the Colette first pick. I think that's a better one than Chuck almost, to be honest, because you can handle the Chuck, you can kind of prepare for it. Now STMN are going to be thinking about this a little bit in terms of actually going to double down. Oh, that's so dirty, but I love it for STMN. Oh my word, that's nice. I mean, especially on a map like this, you know, with Kaboom Canyon being one of those maps where you're really forced to maneuver around the whole thing to get to the other side. Chuck just bypasses that entire thing. Jesse as well. I mean, this is looking like a winning comp if I ever saw one. Luminosity must have a trick up their sleeve here for this third and final pick. Tara?
How do you answer this?
Bro,
What are you gonna...
I don't know.
I mean, you are
Get
just...
it?
Okay, so
But,
look, you have some tools to answer the Chuck. They're not great, right? We've seen teams like in the past, they go for like hard CC to answer the Chuck, or Cordelius, right? Drag him into the Shadow Realm and make it impossible for him to do any safe damage down. But you have Colette and Chuck who can basically, to some degree, ignore the opposing team and get good safe damage. That's good. The Jackie also allows you to control the middle part of the map here. Your opponents have Gale, so they can always get into the fight with it. Wait, what?
Oh, no!
Oh, he has the wrong gadget! He has Twister!
What just happened?
You cannot be serious!
You can't. What?
All right.
Mistake?
All right, well, they're in the middle part of the map anyway. The point is, STMN's team isn't the strongest at fighting for that part of the map, but once they get a Jesse turret set up there and Chuck can start pushing safe, it's curtains. Already some free damage here for Sands as he and Patchy will duel, and he'll likely go down to Patchy, but choo-choo, baby. Back to mid, eventually picked off by the help from beyond.
I'm going to bring it back around to explain what's going on here. So Charles has got the wrong gadget. He's brought in Twister instead of the jump pad, and that's very, very apparent. You know, in terms of the Tara, support from beyond combined with the pet power gear, I get it. It does a lot of damage. If you're able to do that, get everything landing on the safe, that's not going to be the easiest of things to do, and STMN are going to be very much aware to it. Zars can play really nicely into those pets as well, by the way. But, I mean, not the greatest of starts for LG. I mean, you can't make mistakes like that, not at this stage in the competition.
Does he have a chance to change that gadget within this series? Is that possible?
No.
Okay.
Stuck with it.
No jump pad at all for Gale. Full stop. You can get some value out of Twister here in some moments, but it's really not what you want to work with. The devastating mistake to be made here in STMN. Their comp is so much better. And yeah, Bobby's like, they messed up, boys. We got this in the bag. There's a discussion here about it now, I'm sure, for Luminosity. What has happened? They have not... Again, so... Now they have to fight for me the old-fashioned way, like sort of go around the edges. And again, like Chuck is not that strong in a head-to-head fight. His strength comes from running over you with the train tracks and just ignoring you and going for the safe. So you do have Gale, Tara, and Emma. These are very strong, like mid-range brawlers. But dealing with the Jesse is a pain in the neck.
I still can't get over this gadget fumble. I mean, with one monthly final left, with the leaderboard being so closely knit together, with STMN being in 5th outside of LCQ, I mean, of all the times to make a mistake like this, it's just disastrous. But maybe Luminosity can do something about it. Oh my word,
still winnable.
Tore through the support from beyond there as well. Grey Valley gets taken care of now, but already though, it's got to be said that Luminosity have got the lead.
Yeah, still winnable here. I think Luminosity realized they can't do too much about the Chuck and instead want to send the Tara, who hits like... She hits incredibly hard up close, right, to the safe. And all those cards are sort of hitting the same target. They will nuke the turret down. But you see Sands here gets 3.5k damage rather for running over the safe. So just getting in and out gives you a huge amount of percentage. Bobby, though, is not favored against any of these brawlers. Bobby wants to be using his super to get free safe damage here, but he's been forced to duke it out at mid-range. It's awkward for STMN, but Sands can get in here and do the dirty work and hope that his team can defend adequately. But Bobby's gone down. Sands might have to double back here because he needs to generate super to make another dive for the safe, but he's out of range of all of Luminosity right now, and yep, they just race the Chuck. That's one of the weaknesses of this comp for STMN, and yeah, I mean, I get it. It's Stress City. Luminosity now have to play with a handicap, but so far, they've handled it.
Yeah, STMN cannot allow that to happen. They've got to defend better. It's not easy to defend when you got the Chuck, which is, you know, it's designed by its nature to go on the aggressive, leaving you in a like 2 versus 3 potential scenario on the other side of things. But the Tara is where they can get that value. And like, you know, getting on the safe is normally hard in a 3 versus 3 where there is no Chuck. But in that scenario, they can do it. I mean, that's going to be the best way that Luminosity can survive this, because honestly, I'm not sure otherwise they could. Let's see though, STMN needs to get set up quick. Sands is there, but we're not sure about the placement on that pole. I think he's not either as well. I think they might delay a bit of time for him. As soon as he comes back in, but LG back in the spot they want to be in, up aggressive. Chino's using a lot of gadgets though, and you want them on the safe really.
Patchy wants to move up here, get some extra gadget damage on the safe, but Sands actually wins that out and says, yo, I've got health. I have 40 more health than I need. I'm going to go for the safe here. Gets that 3.5k damage for coming on in. But now Luminosity control the middle part of the map on the virtue of just having better brawlers for the job. Bobby does have super up here. Sands says, yep, peace. I don't care about y'all. I'm going in. Luminosity have to reciprocate. They do the same thing and try and create a 3 versus 2 in the enemy base. Sands returns to the fray, gets picked off here, but that hypercharged turret is going to go to work. Apache is riddled with bullets. That'll be healed up by Zar. Handy little star power to have there. Jesse makes this position now much more fortified. Sands comes up on a timing where Apache and Charles aren't fully committed to the middle, so they can actually turn and deal with him, but STMN are so far ahead.
It's an incredible start for STMN. I think Bobby used the super to actually evade one of the Tara supers earlier in the game, but now it's hypercharged, but he's got to get forwards to the map. If he lands that hypercharge on the safe, it could be all over so quickly. Sam's going in again for another dive. It's 95% only for Luminosity.
They're too far ahead.
80% of Tribe for STMN. STMN now really could be going to the grand finals if they play this right.
Yeah, it's good look so far. Bobby up to Chino, gets him down. Turret has to be dealt with by Apache when he could otherwise be working on the safe, but that is exactly what Sands is going to do. It's the Italian job, baby, the heist of the century, and STMN will be advancing to the grand finals. It's been painful. They've worked hard this year, and they've been offered the hardest challenges, and they're still not done. The Kansas City Pioneers await them in the final, but now, finally, STMN's destiny rests in their own hands.
It's the Cinderella story that we've all been wanting. Let's be honest. We're unbiased here on the desk, but a story, a great story, is a great story. And I put it on event.brawlstars.com today, all the way through. I want STMN to win today. They've earned it, in my opinion. They deserve to. They always get the roughest, toughest years. And it might just be that the stars are aligning this time around. I spoke to Bobby as well earlier in the month, and we talked about what they're going to be doing to move forwards from this, and they are making those changes. It's very apparent today that they've never looked better. Definitely getting a little bit of luck along the way, but you need a little bit of luck in Brawl, to be completely honest. Luminosity just made mistakes, disastrous mistakes that they just cannot make at this stage of the competition. You know, the draft with allowing the kit and the Draco to happen, bringing in the Rongale gadget on Kaboom Canyon, they're unforgivable things, and they deserve to lose in that regard.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's just not a mistake that you can afford to make at this stage, and for a team that is just barely sitting in 4th place and is by no means guaranteed for any of our post-season competition, Luminosity are going to be absolutely kicking themselves for this. At the end of the day, it's not a huge deal to not have that jump pad, right? It's what it represents here. Just the general jitters that Luminosity came into this game with. It felt like STMN were destined to win this matchup. Let's talk stats here, because honestly, Bobby and Zar have a bit of a tough ask. Apache, Chino, and Charles are on brawlers that are really high damage, mid-range. Like they're just strong. They're very powerful, with supers that also can be game-breaking. They end up having to fight 2 versus 3 against that cohort of strong brawlers and have to hope that Sands goes in and does enough damage to win that race, which is never a guarantee. It is a very viable strategy to race the Chuck on the other side of the map and just use that numbers advantage to try and win. That's what we saw in that second round on Heist. But the third time around, Sands was too good, basically untouched. Also, getting some damage on the players in mid by running over them with that Chuck is a small thing. Most of the time, you just think, I need to go to the safe, need to go to the safe. If you can get that big damage on the way through by connecting with your super, you're helping out your other 2 teammates who are trying to defend. That is big, and yeah, Sands absolutely deserves MVP of this game. Chuck is very powerful on this map, but it's not guaranteed. You have to execute well on that strategy, even if it seems a little simple and one-dimensional from the outside.
For me, anyone could be MVP from STMN today. Like, really, I think Bobby as well is just a shining star, but they're all doing their bit, and that's what we've been lacking from STMN in the past few months, is them all coming together in the way that they do. I think if there's any team that do have that family essence, it is STMN. And in terms of the leaderboards now, Luminosity, where are they going to be by the end of today? It's a really dangerous time for them to be dropping down.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's all about STMN right now. All eyes are on them. Pioneers don't care about a Cinderella story. They don't care if they have to be the villains here. They'll do what needs to be done to secure their fortunes here and get towards those grand finals. Great stuff so far from STMN. Let's see if they can go all the way. We're going to find out after the break in our grand finals.
Unbelievable scenes here.
It's live.
He finds it in the final seconds.
It's legendary.
Oh my word.
It's the last chance qualifier. And this year we're going bigger than ever at the biggest game conference in the world, Gamescom. It all goes down in Cologne, Germany, August 24th and 25th. 12 teams from around the world will battle for the last 4 tickets to the Brawl Stars World Finals.
And it's done! They do it! They are going to the World Finals!
For a chance to lift the championship trophy and cement their legacy in Brawl Stars history, watch the action, interact, earn rewards. Watch live August 24th and 25th so you don't miss a minute of the last chance qualifier. Let the brawling begin.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Welcome back, folks, to the Brawl Stars Championship powered by the Snapdragon Pro Series. North America is about to crown their champion for June's monthly finals, and it may well be a new one here, as many regions have also seen a different winner every single month. And for STMN, it's the most important match of the year, because if they don't win this, if they don't qualify for at least LCQ, they're going to be spending anywhere from 6 to 8 months watching from the sidelines while we're in the off-season, and of course during our finals rush at the end of the year. Ready, set, welcome back. Let's talk Pioneers once more. Let's reset the stage, because this team has just washed over Mystic Esports and Tribe Gaming respectively, and you better believe they're not going to be respecting STMN either.
No doubt at all, though I have to wonder whether they foresaw a grand final in the cards for them. I think that the final boss of this monthly final for them absolutely had to be Tribe Gaming. Eclipsing Tribe Gaming in tournament points means that they could lock themselves for World Finals next month, sort of riding Tribe Gaming out of the competition as strong as of a competitor. Now, when we look at how they performed versus Mystic and Tribe Gaming, it was a little bit shaky in one set versus Mystic. The drafts look so good for Mystic, but we get into Tribe Gaming, the main event for Pioneers, they take it 3-0. Now, those sets were not like very dominant for Pioneers, however. So it was a 3-0 where we got to see all the fun stuff from both sides, but the score still stands.
Arc, STMN, I think it's a story we've sort of stuck on for quite a while here. We predicted them to go all the way here. I didn't give my credit. Yeah, well, I didn't give my credit. I think I didn't check Discord.
You've been slacking, mate. Come on.
I did it on the event. Let me just get that in there. Okay, yes. I do think STMN are going to go all the way. I mean, I did predict them, of course, to win that quarterfinal 4, which I think was the most harebrained call that we could have made here. And any reasonable soul probably wants to see them go all the way. Here we go. Give it a little S there. Yes, I'm on board with you guys.
Not because you went on time, you know.
Oh, look, it's half a point, but you know, it's still enough for me. We've seen great drafts from STMN. We've seen them also sneak that Draco into a lot of their comps when they've been able to. Arc, it seems like they're really ready to deal with even the most powerful brawlers and the strongest teams in the game so far. Yeah, I know what you've predicted. I know what your heart says. But what does your mind say? Do you think that they also, from a more academic standpoint, have this game?
So for me, Pioneers really are a team to not be underestimated. We can't forget that. As much as we are wrapped up in this storyline for STMN, like, Pioneers mean business. Like, they had an unfortunate month last month, no doubt about that, leaving in the quarterfinals. No one wants to see it. But they were the monthly final champions prior to that, and we cannot forget that. I mean, STMN have never looked better, though, in my opinion, in all honesty, and they've got that momentum behind them today. This is honestly feeling like it's the right time for them to really come out here on top, but they cannot let the prior performances of today get inside their heads to make them feel like they've already earned it. They're going to have to go through a great deal, and we've had a lot of 3-0s today. I don't think this is going to be one of them.
No, and really, let's look back over the journey here for STMN, because that Elevate game, we all knew we were predicting with our hearts and not our heads, but they impressed us, surprised us, and even shocked us a little bit with their victories over Elevate and Luminosity, respectively.
This is the second month in a row that Stamina had to face a top 4 team in the quarterfinals and then face Luminosity in the semifinals. This time they managed to do it. Last time it was very, very close. Went all the way to a final round of knockout in set number 5. And this time they took him down 3-0. Perhaps even a blunder being made by Luminosity in the selection of gadgets there in set number 3. So very unfortunate for Luminosity, but looks like Stamina just had it in the bag nonetheless. They've looked so good this month, but across the way, Pioneers await them. They already managed to down their Goliath, so really this would be a cherry on top, not as much as a necessity for qualification as it is for STMN.
Great point. Making it to the grand finals earns you 70 circuit points, which puts Pioneers in pretty good stead considering they were third place by only 1 point. So this will allow them to leapfrog over Tribe, who've absolutely dropped the ball. And yeah, they're in a decent spot here for World Finals. They just need to sort of be consistent for the rest of the year because they suffered that New York curse, right? They won in April. And then when we went to May, they got crushed by Motomami's FA in the quarterfinals. I think they won 1 set. It was an inauspicious exit. So they need to prove here that like this pickup is justified, that they're the kind of team that could be a little bit more than just a flash in the pan and actually can come and deliver. But again, I look very confident. Tribe had a very squeaky clean game, but it was against an opponent that maybe didn't really test them that far. But these guys, yeah, they do not care for that Cinderella story. They're here to dominate. And once again, they're on camera for us here. Did someone knock that tuba off center? What is that? That's not a trumpet. It's bigger.
It's 3 keys right there.
Is that a French horn? It's quite big.
I would say it's a euphonium, but it doesn't have 4.
Euphonium? Goodness
but
me.
It doesn't have the 4 keys.
Ah, it's my brass knowledge.
A mystery that will plague us for the entire match.
Well, here's me thinking that I was the musician here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
with some brass there, ready, set?
Nope, I don't know anything about anything.
Okay,
I'm a trumpet player.
I'm a woodwind guy myself as a sax player, soprano and alto for quite some time. But I don't know nothing about that.
What a flex!
Yeah. Well, how is that a flex? Mister was in a band, basically national hero in Southeast Asia for multiple years. Oh man, you guys should look this guy up. It's crazy. Anyway, we are going to say goodbye to Ark right now as he tries to scrub his existence from the internet before you discover it. We're headed over to last stop. It will be Gem Grab. And this truly is our last stop for the day, folks. Our grand final here between Kansas City Pioneers and STMN, the latter who must win this game. It is a non-negotiable if they want any chance of featuring in our postseason.
It's getting real dicey. Both of these teams have a horse in this race. I would say that STMN probably have focused more attention here than Pioneers. I think that Pioneers really have their focus on their qualification condition, which sure does kind of involve making a grand finals and also winning that grand finals. That's a huge buff for them. However, really they just needed to beat Tribe to keep themselves safe here. For STMN, it is absolutely a requirement that they make it here, so they should have prepared for the grand finals. We'll see this draft unfold. A first selection of Byron and a counter of Crow. Crow being here for the anti-heal and also the control. The hypercharge is a massive asset. And we see Draco sneak through once again.
All right, what is the last pick here? I want you to predict STMN's last pick real quick while Pioneers are picking. What do you match with this now that Byron's off the table?
Honestly, I wanna say the kit. If they could just make it happen there, Crow mid, have the kit combined with that Draco, but it's a little bit tough because you don't want to have, you know, all of your eggs in one basket where you have 2 brawlers that effectively combine into one. Buzz actually has a good matchup versus the Draco here, so maybe something that can fare decently into the Buzz. We see the Max here for the speed, and that actually can play mid as well. The pick of Crow also ensured them that they could get a pretty free Max here. It'll be effective for dodging the shots from Byron as well.
Okay, so Crow likely to be a side laner here, a real nuisance, and does have all-in potential to combine with the Draco should it be required. And yeah, a safe mid in the form of Max. Slowing Toxin Fizar, something worth keeping an eye on here. You know, Surge's mobility, not what he used to be now that he doesn't have a blink gadget, but still very, very powerful. Whether it's shield gadget or the ability to sort of rank up for a short window, if the game goes on, that Surge will become more of a nuisance. And Byron is, well, safe as a house here in the middle part of the map.
Still trying to line up these shots and clear out that left side. It's attempting to assist Juan Carlos in getting that first level. Meanwhile, on the right side, Sands is attempting to get his super off of second best, who undoubtedly wants to stay close in range with the use of Eyes Sharp to charge up his super for free. But Juan Carlos has been denied hard here over on the left side. We need to see what gadget he's making use of. Okay, on the right side, already some action.
Super.
Second best looking for the kill. Sands falls to the ticking damage of pain. But Juan Carlos is now encroached on the territory from the top. A nice phase shifter there from Czar, staying away from the second best.
The slowing toxin almost kept second best off Bobby. He'll still go down to the ticking poison damage of Crow anyway. And now, here we go. Dragon solo for Draco. Able to bully up the map here. Second best though, just gonna super in, stun up. Now with that hypercharge available, can cover the map pretty comfortably. But Zar's already gotten 8 gems in hand and Bobby's sitting on that super, so it's tough to chase into a Crow comp. See that slowing toxin making it difficult for Juan Carlos and Pain. And here's Sands, stunned up briefly, has the gadget here, but it doesn't feel great. Second best should survive here. Yeah, Pain gonna heal him up through that ticking poison damage. And it's 8 gems that STMN has stalled out on.
Sans has the super, however. He's trying to approach Pain, knows that it wouldn't be a good idea, gets hit with that super anyway. Second best closes in for the kill.
Who wins
Sans,
it?
with his last gadget use, falls. Now Stamina are only 2 gems away from starting a countdown of their own, but Sans is missing this crucial ability that makes Draco especially good. An attempt at a stun from Juan Carlos, but he's going to be now spawning without his super, and here comes the grapple in from Second Best. He gets all the gems.
He
has a reserve buoy to get out of there. He hasn't used it until now. He has to protect Pain. 10 seconds remain, and a takedown on the side of STMN now ensures the safety of the Pioneers.
Even a slowing Toxin couldn't keep Second Best within arm's reach for Sans and Co. And he's going to run up now. Impressive amount of damage, of course, but he should be looking at Buzz. And it was a matter of time. Buzz builds a hypercharge, goes in, stuns the Max up, takes the gems, and gets out for free. That's the game plan for Pioneers, and they play it to perfection.
That hypercharge from Buzz could not have come in at a more perfect time. You're able to snag the kill onto someone all the way deeply planted within enemy backlines, just by the fact that you have basically infinite mobility. You can grapple off of any wall, something Spider-Man is adjacently involved here. We'll see same interaction over here on the right side, where Second is just waiting for Sans to get in range. Sans is pretty much forced to fight here if he wants to make any impact, and it has the unfortunate side effect of feeding the super for Second. Now Zar at mid is practically unhittable for Pain, so the sooner that Second Best can diff this lane on the right, the faster they can start winning this mid.
Sans, yeah, gets caught again. The stun component of Second Best super is so powerful against Draco in general. Here's the speed boost from Zar. 5 gems, of course, for STMN now. It's a decent amount of play with it. Oh, the damage is good. The assistance, I think, from Zar, they're crucial. That's 2 down already. Sans gets to pick up those 2 gems. And now STMN are in a powerful position. Juan Carlos can't do anything. The Surge feels so outmatched on this map.
Once he starts getting those levels, though, it's going to start adding up. We'll see Juan Carlos approach this left lane once again with only level 1. It is imperative that you do not feed Surge at all. And maybe Juan Carlos is starting to kick himself for not bringing the gadget that upgrades your level to level 2, getting you in closer range, giving you additional speed to secure it. Safe and sound over here on the right side. Second's going to try his best, but he's too little too late. When I said last game that the hypercharge Buzz could not have come in at a more perfect time, it was because that was the time for Stamina to win when he got it. This time, he got the hypercharge too late in the game to make an impact.
Yeah, it just came up, I think, as he dove in there. Too little, too late. We did finally get to see why Draco was so oppressive, pushing up that right-hand side. Able to get the gems out of Pain's hands. Juan Carlos has to find a way into this game. It's been the Second Best show.
Second Best also going to be changing up the script here on the left side for the show. Early kill on a Bobby, who did not have eyes on Buzz on the right side, so had to know he was there, but clearly was still not anticipating that. Juan Carlos looking for the victory versus Sans. One more shot would get him closer to his super. Looks like Second actually secures the kill, but he did not get the gems on the opposing side. A little Zeta spray down from the guy. I wonder if we're keeping tally this time like we were in previous games.
Yeah, mocking STMN perhaps for the team that felled them in that grand final. Always looking to get in their heads. Big map control here though. Pain actually uses that super here and eventually takes Sans down. It's a real pain for Draco to have that sort of ticking damage on him as he wants to engage. Pain with another super up now. Bobby is, yeah, so much of that poison damage being a problem here. Second Best stun up. Protesto and the kill. Man, the guy's APM's off the charts.
Second Best is tapping over here on the left side. He also has his hypercharge. Let's note that. Zar's been forced to stay in this position, but also Sans continues to push forward. Here comes the hypercharge in from Second Best, but he's going to fall. In the midst of it, Sans remains alive. He does get ticked down by the damage from Pain, but now mid-control is beginning to be surrendered to STMN. We also see the slowing Toxin coming in from Bobby. Good dodge. Hypercharge ready to go. The hypercharge in on Pain, the kill, but still destruction for every member of Pioneers as Stamina heist all of these gems and run to their own side.
Now how do Pioneers get these gems off them? Second Best doesn't have super, let alone a hypercharge to work with, and Bobby's more than happy to give up his life to stop the Buzz. Well, he barely calls Second Best to take a break in stride, and now they're going to move up, looking for those gems, but Bobby holds on to them. And SCMN, one more step, 1 foot in front of the other is the game plan for these guys, and they've taken the first set in our grand final.
Even set, though. Okay, that was even neck and neck the entire way through. Now, what I will say, however, for second best, I think that hypercharge was a bit premature. He went for the hypercharge and got actually taken down in the midst of it. You have a lot of health to chew through when you are supering onto a Draco as Buzz, and that's really the drawback, is that Buzz, like, he's got good damage, but you're not going to always reliably get that kill once you have stunned an enemy.
Safe gem carrier in this max. Definitely a problem when it came to second best trying to reach them. This is the one time it really paid off. That hypercharge came in and Bobby just pulled up short on that super dive in. Zan's here in second best, trading blows a lot of the time. This is where Zard, though, and Bobby get involved. And when it's 3 versus 1 against the Buzz, that's when Sands can not only win out that matchup, but then collapse onto the gem carrier of Pain. That's how that second round went. And this fight here was pretty crazy. The dive in for Bobby, man, that hypercharge jump means you are guaranteed to get that kill. And then they were home free. Great stuff from STMN. Seeing them in the grand finals, one thing. Seeing them take the first set, it's another entirely.
Look at these stats, though. Pain, second best, racking up the kills. Sands, in his own right, doing quite a bit of work. However, I think for Pioneers, it looked like the control belonged to them most of the time. Now, with all of that said, set 1 was won off of second best getting a hypercharge super in. And honestly, it looked like he was supering the max, missed, and by sheer luck, hit an obstacle that he was then able to chain his super off of and then get to Zar as a result. Zar couldn't phase shift away, he had just used it. Though Stamina also got sort of the same thing there at the end of game number 3. It looked amazing for Pioneers until we saw second best kind of screw up his Buzz hypercharge, and then the lanes died. Mid died to Bobby. We saw the left lane die as well. It was just Juan Carlos with 2k HP left to defend, and versus a 1v3 that is absolutely unwinnable. Everything snowballed in a matter of seconds to generate that game 3 win for Stamina.
Spirits are still high in the Pioneers camp, though. Sure, plenty of discussion will be had later about how that draft went down. But again, this is a team that's playing without pressure, really. Managing to beat Tribe to lock up that second spot, at least for the time being, has got to make them feel pretty good. And going up against a team that feels like they have plot armor in STMN, it's good to at least not have to worry about your prospects coming out of this monthly final. There is, of course, still one more to play, so Pioneers doing just fine. STMN, though, they're the ones that really have to go to work. They have to shoulder this pickaxe and clock in, because there's still a whole series to be played. Heading over to Knockout here. Mentioned earlier is a map that maybe STMN have less success on. It'll be New Horizons, and you best believe that Angelo will be hotly contested, either in picks or the bans.
It would be certainly wise for Pioneers to ban this one here. They have Juan Carlos, who is a completely amazing Angelo, as we have observed earlier today. And the same goes for Stamina. They have a sharpshooter in Bobby that is simply one of the best the world round. So I think that this is a must ban. We'll get our bans in shortly and see if that comes true. Angelo banned out by Pioneers as Stamina have that first selection. I see Gina also has been banned out by Pioneers, but there's so many different strategies you can go with here. Kit is one of those that I look and wow, yeah, here it is for the first selection from Stamina. Now, it's not often that you see the Kit first picked, because then that gives your enemy time to deal with what can be quite a cheesy brawler, but at this level of play, Stamina are clearly first picking this because they know that they can accent it well.
Yeah, they have to pick Draco now. There's no other choice for KCP. They locked that one in here. We saw the strategy from STMN already. The Sprout, Kit, and Draco combination was very powerful. Are there other brawlers, though, that you can sort of, pair Kit up with and still have that same level of impact?
I mean, I have to wonder. They will be able to combine the Kit with something quite useful here, but these are some of the greatest brawlers that you can have in your arsenal when you have Kit on your team already being selected by Pioneers. Blue is what they're going to go for. Wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Didn't we see them steal this from their very first match of the day? They faced this on parallel plays. The Kit and the Lu combo. You get the stun, and then you have Lu farm his super off of it so easily. Lu never stopped cycling his super quickly.
You can also freeze them as well.
Yes,
if you have the right gadget as well, you
can. When the poison closes in, you throw down the super, and there's nowhere to go.
And Melody here gives you a bit of deterministic, opportunity to win a round. I feel like at the end of, Melody's able to come in with 3 notes. She's basically unkillable here. So really powerful composition. Definitely, does require Bobby at length to hit shots, build that super up. But honestly, like a team that mid-range is decently. I would say, though, that having the Charlie here to round it out is pretty powerful. Charlie, Max, and Draco, that is... I like the gimmick for STMN, but I think that, like, in terms of just pound-for-pound raw brawler impact, Pioneers have a strong, strong draft.
No doubt, they have something to deal with the Melody. The ban of Cordelius, who didn't scream like, yo, what's up, we're gonna pick Melody. It's also just straight up good. You can charge super off of someone that's hiding in these bushes, and you can do it for free. We'll see Pioneers, though, attempt to set up a stronghold over here on the right side. Now, Bobby is going to charge his super for free as well, just by virtue of playing this brawler, by being Kit. Zara also is trying to get his super. The earlier they can flush things out of here on the right side, the better. But Bobby doesn't really have a play unless someone gets too aggro. Maybe second best peeks out and Zara gets something off of that for free. Second best doesn't really have anyone defending him effectively, so either he's baiting or Stamina could have a big play here on the bottom side.
I mean, just imagine how different this game looks if there's a thrower. Just one thrower. And no one is doing this, but yeah, that's not available. Hang on. Now, that's dangerous, Bobby. No one can follow up on that. Yeah, Zar cannot see Bobby there. Oh, buddy. That's a stinker from STMN. Now, of course, the Spiders are pretty troublesome for these single-shot brawls to deal with, and Pioneers say, right, well, time to get our hands dirty then. We're going to punish you guys for that mistake you made. Sands, though, can still 1v2, if not more than that. But that was an awkward engagement that forced him to have to get out. And so that'll be that. Zar falls, and Pioneers take that first little round.
It was all an illusion. It so looked like there was a play for Kit on the bottom side, and there was nothing at all. Second best was ready with the peel. He was ready to punish Zar if he started focusing the bottom side. And hey, maybe if Zar had decided to focus that, he still could have remained alive, but he would have died to second best in the end. The result after all of this has been Pioneers taking that first round. Now, though, we have the combo. It's Kit and Melody. Melody's basically unkillable here. Juan Carlos is trying to do something about it. The most they can do is dodge the Kit projectiles for now, and that's tough. Juan Carlos is only barely alive.
Okay, gadget there for Juan Carlos, though, so construct that off. Shield did come up. But yeah, having a thrower, of course, with that Kit super makes a big difference. So that's always an option for STMN. If they don't have a clear engage, they can just Kit super to a teammate and move up to the wall. Pioneers realize, oh, okay, so that strategy of hiding isn't really viable for us anymore. We might need to be a bit more proactive. So Bobby, with one fell swoop, deals with all of those spiderlings. And here's the hypercharge now for second best. Gonna be forced away. Carlos is frozen up. Dangerous now. The Draco just able to walk away. Now in Dragon form, but the gas is closing in. And here comes the Melody once more. Unkillable.
Ugh.
That is gross. Sands untouched, basically, jumping in with that Kit.
That was pretty disgusting. I don't want to see it again, but it is a win condition for Stamina, so they're going to have to run it again. Now, Zar has this hypercharge and a super combined. He was able to get a stun in combination with Bobby in round 1. It didn't exactly work, thanks to Pioneers positioning themselves prudently. However, he does have a win condition for the late game. Pain can get some value for his teammates if everyone groups up for the splash of the hypercharged max super. But the question is, when are they going to actually do that? Because Zara has such great defensive capabilities with the use of his hypercharge and super, they might try and bait it out now.
Okay, here it comes. That does allow, of course, second best to build their super. So Cocoon, pretty powerful, especially if it's a target that Kit has attached themselves to. I think they'll just be ejected and forced to stand out in the open. Hypercharge here, though, for Lou. First time this has really been relevant now. That's an insta-freeze on anybody unlucky enough to be caught inside of it, and as the smoke closes, it's going to be an easy connection. Cocoon straight away on his arm, but he's going to be alive. The double stun comes up. Here's the Melody diving on in, and she's unkillable, as per usual. Juan Carlos, though, wins this out, has to walk now inside that slow field, and Bobby's just going to bide his time. Juan Carlos is stuck in the smoke, and Bobby, twinkle toes, stays outside of the gas, and just lets the Draco succumb to it.
Not just that, but he didn't even have a choice. He was trying his best to run away. But it's like when Tom and Jerry start running in a cartoon. They're running, but they're slipping away. That ice sent him straight into the poison, a one-way journey to destiny. It's a game secured for Stamina here in set number 2. And they look to replicate that same strategy that they had previously. It's worth noting that some over-aggression in round number 1 of game 1 actually earned the round for Pioneers. This time Stamina are also switching it up once again. They're gonna have Bobby jump on his Zar and try and get some thrower action there. Because, Uber, you said in game 1 how different it would be if there were a thrower here. Well, you have the ability to generate a thrower, but you lose your ability to stun and then all in on an over-aggressive enemy.
All right. Super back up for kits soon. So I would love to build a hypercharge here again. It feels like that's almost a guarantee once the gas starts to close in. So many Zeta sprays. An extra hand here for second best, allowing him to do this. Must be something cybernetic even. Okay, there's the super from Zar. Very good for space creation. Lets you take this map controls. The gas starts to close in here. And here comes the damage. It's hitting pretty hard. This kit is lobbing those balls in the Melody now. Just being careful not to get too close to one. Carlos Payne is low. He's one shot. But it's a 1v2. The Cocoon comes in. Bobby comes on out and swings. And there it is. STMN get that round. One away from a second set win.
We saw the crucial moment that we've been needing to see from Pioneers this entire round, which has been second best has to get his Cocoon onto Melody when she has that kit on top of her. Charlie is here specifically to deal with the Melody, and yet we just haven't seen it do its job, really. And he did, however, he was still fighting a 1v2. Oh, second best is impatient over here as he's waiting for them to play aggro. He's having enough of playing footsies. He's waiting for them to play aggro.
He is so bad. I love it. Okay, here's the dive though. What an opportunity taken there by Bobby. Finds Payne overextended, shuts them down with that kid super, and now Pioneers on the verge of losing this one too. Second best pretty much accepts his fate by the looks of things. Some starter stepping here, but Zara has a hypercharged super up. The odds of KCP being able to win from here are so low. They are infinitesimally small. Second best, the one Carlos looked to wait it out here. STMN in zero hurry. They have the catch potential, of course, of the kit here. There's the hypercharge one. Carlos not going to be able to get out, and second best says, okay, boys, chalk it up. STMN on the road to a clean sweep of this grand final.
Man, straight up disconnected. He got next to that poison, and I thought, well, okay, he's clearly thinking about what play he's going to make. Nope, didn't even move, didn't even touch that movement control at all. He had already accepted his fate and shifted his mindset to getting ready for set number 3, which is now absolutely do or die. No second chances, no third chances, because this is kind of the third chance that we're heading into.
Yeah, I guess, if you want to put it that way. This is, of course, a single elimination tournament. We're in the grand final of it, so it is now or never for Pioneers. Full of confidence, full of vim and vigor coming out of that last match, downing Tribe, walking into the brick wall that is STMN. And again, I can feel it. There's a bit of magic in the air, a sense of destiny here for this STMN roster. Getting 100 points from this monthly final would be, I mean, it cannot be overstated just how crucial that would be for this team. It'll take them to like 290 odd points there. So yeah, put them definitely within LCQ contention. Let's talk about the draft a little bit here. The Hypercharge Lou feels like, yeah, when that was online towards the end of the game, there was really no answer for Pioneers. And then you have the kit and Melody. That is a disgusting late game setup.
I'm just not sure how they managed to snag it. I think Pioneers, maybe my sort of postulation prior to this game was correct, that Pioneers did their prep not at all for grand finals, really. They just wanted to take down Tribe in that semifinal. That was what they needed. And for Stamina, we've really driven into the ground at this point, but they have to win this grand final. So I think it's a difference in requirement and a difference in preparation. Nonetheless, we can't take this win away from Stamina. They've looked remarkable so far.
How good have their drafts been all day? I mean, it's easy to say the draft is good when they win all their sets, right? Because we've definitely had times where we've been like, oh, this draft kind of sucks, and they win and we're like, oh, their draft was amazing. But I think like straight away, like we noticed that the first pick kit you recognize was a little risky, but STMN forced Pioneers, at least as far as we're concerned, into picking the Draco. The Draco that never really has much impact for Pioneers.
I think also note that look at Pioneers and ask yourself what counters Kit. Can you really counter the guy? What am I going to do? Not get stunned by a brawler jumping at me? Am I going to have to look for the DPS to deal with a Kit that's also equipped with a tank? Well, they had the Charlie for that, but that's really all they have, and a one brawler solution to a two brawler combo simply isn't the math. Even if it were 1v1, it simply doesn't work like that in these days of banishes, the ability to put someone in Cocoon in the Shadow Realm, and I do anticipate some of that action to be considered as we head into set number 3 for some Sneaky Fields.
All right, Sneaky Fields, man, what a map to finish up on here. Yeah, Nita band expected. Sandy, of course, highly contested. I want to point out that Jackie has once again slipped through the pick and ban phase, though. That is something that we saw Luminosity try and make use of, and still they weren't able to find success. But it's a Bobby special. Angelo is on the menu, straight away snapped up by STMN.
So the math here with playing Angelo on Sneaky Fields is that you have to open up the map somehow. And you can also bait your enemy into playing something overly aggressive. We're going to see the... Whoa, hold up. Okay, so Shelly's not unusual to play on this map.
Is it anti-Jack?
Unusual is to play it so early.
It feels like anti-tank, right? Pick that one up
but
here.
It also breaks open the walls, which is beneficial for Angelo. So Pioneers may just be securing it for themselves to enable them a sharpshooter and also prevent tanks from STMN. Now, it's not a 100% solution, but this is going to make this draft go way differently from a Sneaky Fields draft typically goes.
Okay. Yeah, now STMN definitely dissuaded from picking a tank at all. So how about guys that do tons of damage and also break up the map a little bit there? Griff, of course, with the piggy bank gadget can bust open those walls. Also does a pretty terrifying amount of damage just in general. A brawler that is very, very powerful at that mid to long range here. So, I mean, this is the kind of draft that I've been expecting from Pioneers over the course of this series. No gimmick, but just very strong brawlers in their own right.
Final selection from Stamina. They have the wall break to enable the Angelo. Now they have the Cordelius as a final selection. So this will be good into tanks, which Pioneers, at this point, probably don't want to pick and they just want to go for something long range. I just worry how this is going to fare for them into the Angelo. All of their brawlers so far are outranged by him. He would be considered by some to be objectively the best brawler in the game. He's a sharpshooter with fast speed, with the most damage, who can deal up to like 7,000 damage when he gets his super, which heals him, and he jumps away or shoots through walls. Buster is
pretty good pick to be going with here. 56% win rate on this map, and only picked in 14% of occasions. So a little bit overlooked sometimes, but against this team, this STMN roster that are very projectile heavy, you can evaluate a montage against every single one of these targets. Cordelius here, probably no surprise to see him on Brawl Ball in general. Griff also is often really overlooked. 54% win rate, 20% pick rate, so not really seeing him all that frequently on this map. But when we do, of course, even that super, cashback, very, very powerful, short-range, high-damage nuke. The kind of thing that you need to respect on a map like this.
Another respectable thing about Griff is business resilience. He's going to be constantly healing. Look at Czar. I mean, he's still shooting, but he's still healing. We'll see another wall break here around the left side. I think he'll diminish much of the value of Pain, because Pain at long range is only going to be hitting a few pellets unless he pops clay pigeons, which he probably wants to save for cycling his super later on in combination with Shell Shock. We're going to see Pain go for it anyway. Does he get the kill? Yes, in fact, on a Czar. Bobby's quite low, but he's damage gear boosted. Sands can't reach the ball in time. Kill for second best, and a goal for Pioneers.
I mean, Buster, pretty darn good here. Moving up that right lane and collapsing onto it. Czar actually swapping out of the Shelly matchup, oddly enough. Sands really wants to try and come forward here if they can, but Czar will be traded out for second best now. Bobby going to be sat inside that super to heal up, and Sands, the Cordelius has struggled on this map.
With a lack of bushes, especially, it's going to be hurting. A lack of tanks to counter. I mean, you have second best over here that he can fare pretty well into, but as long as second best just keeps his distance, and there's not much value for Sands. We'll see second best still go for the kill. He was actually shut up with the ball, and Bobby and Sands secured a pinch on him. Some more wall break here on the right side further diminishes the value that Pain has to offer. We'll see second best respawning now. Pain looking for the kill with clay pigeons. If he hits another, he can cycle the super. Needs it. Bobby dodges. Pain still has a hypercharge that he can use to get a super.
Here it is, second best, those staving off Sands inside the Shadow Realm and dealing with Bobby. Yeah, this Buster is brutal. Griff returns to the fray here. Czar's back on the map, who has struggled, frankly, and actually got swapped into by the Shelly, but eventually she's not going to have clay pigeons available. That hypercharge, though, the raw boost in stats, and now the widening of the cone of her super makes her a scary prospect. Czar's able to force second best away with that cashback, and now in the 3v1, there's a chance to move up and get this ball out of the corner.
Second best is banished. Juan Carlos managed to secure this ball, actually runs into the goal, and Pain picks it up instead. Second best emerges from the Shadow Realm. We'll see a low health Griff on the right side and a very pinchable Sands on the left. Taken down, now focus on the right. Pain needs this kill on Czar, but 2 versus 1 always produces results for the parties with 2 strong. 15 seconds remain for Stamina to somehow uncorner this ball and then get a goal. They have Sands to put the valuable brawler, second best, in the Shadow Realm, which is exactly what he does. 5 seconds left. Czar taken down. Bobby shrugged off, and Sands is no issue at all. It's It's a win for Pioneers.
Yeah, feels like a little bit of a lackluster composition for STMN, right? The Shelly ended up finding a decent amount of value. She didn't have to go hog wild at any point. The Buster, though, really seems to have unraveled STMN a little bit. The montage timing's been really good. I don't even know if he has slow-mo replay or not. He hasn't actually had to use that. But just being able to take so much map control behind that super been frustrating for STMN as they've got no choice but to give that ground up.
A brawler that I haven't seen much from that maybe I want to focus on now is actually Jessie. Where does Jessie come into all of this? Well, she does have the range to deal with Bobby, unlike Pain or Second Best. Though Pain does... Oh, here's the combo! What? How did Bobby snag that? Oh, and Sands with the defense of Pain on the left. Second Best is still going to go for it, though. He has the montage to shove things over to the left side. And he's going to super over Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos with the pass to the right, in the back right pocket, around Czar for a first goal for Pioneers.
This might be a quick set responded by Pioneers. This setup looks very, very good. And this slow-mo replay, of course, for Second Best here. Nicely done by Sands, actually able to trade up 1 for 2 there. But Second Best corners the boil and says, okay, now what are you going to do about this? The Griff, okay, I do like opening this part of the map up, to be fair, but the Griff has not really been able to find value. Has been struggling against brawlers that they should outrange. Sands, they're going wild in the last couple of moments. Another dive there into Pain. Jump away from Second Best, who's definitely threatening. Slow-mo replay used. He gets past them. No chance to capitalize any further now. It is an advantage for STMN, at least in terms of map control, but Pain will seek to move up, put some pressure down on Czar.
Oh, Czar's sneaking up on Pain. He's on quite low health now. Second Best needs this montage pretty badly. They have 1 minute and 10, so it's not really that close to the time where we'd be considering, do they just play defense? Big play in from Sands on the left side. Juan Carlos with the defense, and
oh, the turret
versus Bobby. But can he actually sit all the way inside this hypercharged turret? Well, he's certainly going to try his best to heal it, and Bobby's just on turret duty, man. One more will do it. There's the super down from Bobby as well. They almost have a clean shot into the goal, but they cannot reach the ball. It is imperative that Pioneers hold this position on the back left.
They'll be okay, I think. It's going to be tough to break this. Sands jumps in straight away. Second Best whips around on him. Pain has a super. Bobby's going to be knocked back here and slowed down. It's easy pickings for the Shelly. In their squad busters a tire. Pain will now set up in the middle part of the map, and there is a bit of an issue for STMN. Chronologically speaking, they're running out of time. 23 seconds left in the round. Sands again always has impact coming back in off the spawn, but even going 2 for 1 has not been enough to give STMN a goal.
Oh, Blanco stuck in the realm, but he diffed. Sands in the realm. Pain looking for the kill as well. Czar, the last remaining bastion of STMN's defense, and it's not going to work. Pioneers will take the set. STMN robbed of an opportunity to pitch a no-hitter. They won every single set in this monthly final up until set number 3 of the grand finals. Their streak now disrupted.
Yeah, the 9-0 dream is over for STMN, but their greatest aspirations are still on the table here. A victory in this grand final, a championship for the month, something to really salve the wounds of the disappointments they've been served up month after month in this season. And the draft looked good, right? We said there's no gimmick here, but they're all universally fairly strong brawlers. The Cordelias for Sands, I think, was a high impact factor there for them. But the Buster really answered a lot of the threat that STMN offered. The montage made so much space. You don't have a choice. You have to give that ground up here. And Pain also pretty deadly. Again, those clay pigeons sort of make Shelly very relevant, even at those sort of longer ranges. And you see everyone just turns away from the Buster. Problem is, Buster walks up on you and then just cancels the montage to do damage or suck you in here with the gadget. And then you really have to pay him that attention.
Oh, look at this. Oh, such a masterclass here from the two. The synergy was on point, and the mechanics of it all as well. Juan Carlos secured that goal. Just the faith that you have to have in your teammate to sacrifice in a valuable super like Busters to get what only might be a goal is insane from these guys. Look how Pain diffs this as well. Bobby, he wasn't even holding down his shot to aim it. He was just trying to stay alive there versus Pain. Oh, that's a cool handshake right there.
Okay, all right, respect it.
Victory, that is one of, hey, what's up? We just took set 3 off of stamina. We could actually go further in this grand final.
You got to, if you're averting the sweep, you got to dap a brother up. You know what I mean? You can't let that one pass by without, letting the morale start to flow a little bit. Let's talk stats here. Sands had a great game. I mean, there's no doubt about that. In general, STMN, their comp did what it was designed to do, was do a lot of damage, but not so great at really staking their claim to the real estate the map offers, getting pushed off time and time again. Also, Juan Carlos super hypercharged turret, very troll. Very strong defensively here, and it made it impossible for STMN to uncorner the ball when they had a goal disadvantage.
It's kind of unconventional how the Jessie was played here. And maybe the mentality of Stamina was like, okay, well, they're playing Jessie, so we can't play a tank. And actually, wait, maybe we have a chance in the Jessie because we aren't playing a tank. That's what she's here for. But no, Juan Carlos played her in a different way than we are used to seeing her in competitive. Still similar turret positioning. We saw the use also of the gadget to slow people down. It didn't get the value that it usually does, but he did the thing that a sharpshooter is supposed to do. Hit your shots, damage to the enemies, win the game. No complaints.
So, STMN back to the drawing board here. Probably the first time that they, sort of look a little bit shaky. Again, Brawl Ball, it's a tough map, and sometimes you can sort of, get out-drafted and have to sit through an entire match realizing, wait a minute, we shouldn't have let some of these picks through. Now we see what Jessie was designed to do. I think that was like a question you had, right? Like, what's her role here? But even as the map started to get broken up, there was always some, terrain for the Shelly to hide behind. And yeah, once Jessie's able to throw the hypercharged turret, that's really annoying. It's something else that sort of demands your attention. I think we're heading on to our safe zone coming up next here, which is going to be a really interesting map and one again where STMN have an opportunity to close out the series here. Getting reverse swept, that would be very not good. STMN to suffer that kind of fate would be really heartbreaking for them here. So they will deliberate, I think, on their draft as we are moments away from diving in.
Tell you what, though, of any map for Stamina, Safe Zone is one that they absolutely love. I recall a few months back when our map pool was truncated, since there was an update just a few days before monthly finals, that Safe Zone was like the only heist map in rotation, and Bobby tweeted out a retweet of that saying, I used to pray for days like these, because Safe Zone is just that map for Stamina. But then, in the monthly final, they promptly lost on that map. They lost the first time that they played Safe Zone. So it was quite unusual. Maybe they feel a little bit vulnerable. They're not quite invulnerable on that map anymore. So this is a good map for them. Now, in scrims, I've seen some of the unusual stuff. We talk about like the Gale Draco, and we saw that previously actually do kind of decent. I wonder if that's going to come out here. I feel like at this point it's kind of predictable since it has been played in scrims, and the method to deal with it is basically have something play defense.
All right, so we likely, folks, will be jumping hot into the game here. Just having a minor tech issue when it comes to our draft tool. So we are, probably moments away from getting into the game properly, and we'll quickly rattle off the draft for you once we get in there. But again, both these teams will be looking to hit the ground running just as we do. I mean, this map, some things that you can sort of expect to see. Like, obviously, Chuck is often banned, as are Melody and Angelo, just very powerful brawlers in general. Some of the most common bans also, like Colette, we know why she's often sort of dealt with. Colt also can break up the map with Silver Bullet and generally can harass a turret from outside of the defender's effective ranges. So, pretty strong brawler to bring in here as well. And then there's sharpshooters, right? Piper's good here. You can bring them in. Eve, of course, because of the water, has a lot of flexibility on a map like this. We've seen other sharpshooters alongside Piper, like Bell, for example. What I think that, if the data here is in the hands of the coaches, ready, set, Buzz actually has an 86% win rate on this map. Ooh. And, Ruffs has an 88% win rate. Both have 5% pick rates. So those are two sneaky strong brawlers that can really blow out a draft.
I can see these brawlers being played by either team. I see Czar as completely picking up a Colonel Ruffs. I see a Buzz as an option. Let's see. Well, it's the Chuck that you wanted. And Stamina present here with the 8-bit, the Jessie, and the Cordelius.
Okay. So they have an answer to Chuck, at least a plug-and-play response to the dive-in here. I mean, Czar needs to build that super and likely will just destroy Chuck inside the Shadow Realm. He already has a massive advantage as it is. Czar builds super, fine, but Chuck still slips through. But the damage that Pioneer is safely taken here just in the first exchanges, STMN got to be feeling good about that. And now with a super ready to deal with the next Chuck dive, they can kind of focus on taking the control of the map back.
It's going to come down to whether Cordelius hits the supers. There it is on a Juan Carlos and the kill. And as long as he can keep this cycle going, then he's going to be eating well. Ooh. Second best diffs this lane on the left and starts to get contributing some damage on the safe. Also hitting those crucial shots onto a vulnerable turret from Sands. Now, it doesn't really matter that Juan Carlos is frequently filtering in here, as long as his absence isn't the key to Sands locking damage on the safe. Juan Carlos is still going to try and defend this, but ultimately he just needs to hit the super. Oh! Takes down Bobby. Wow, he's completely out of position. This is totally an offense for Pioneers, but Stamina are still close behind.
Yeah, one Carlos again. Zar doesn't bother to use the Shadow Realm there. Actually pops it a little bit later on. Payno's still threatening the safe link. Zar actually hit the bell with it. Second best pops out of that as they threaten to take the Cordelius down. This is not good for STMN. They haven't been able to answer the Chuck threat here because Zar's been busy fighting in the middle part of the map, and I know you just can't dedicate your entire existence to answering Chuck here, but Zar dying before Chuck even dives in is a really bad sign for STMN if they're trying to counter that brawler.
Oh, only 2 more Chuck Supers. Oh, only 1 more Chuck Super. Or a final bullet from second best to shut down Stamina with the use of Chuck. The defense just wasn't what they needed. I'll tell you what the key to success is here for Stamina, is getting Sands on the safe. If they can simply get 8-Bit into position, they absolutely can. The only problem is that they don't have a firm line of defense, not horizontally, more vertically, as they have Cordelius hanging all the way in the back. So there's no one to actually aid 8-Bit in getting up. Now, there is also the other effect, which is that, you know, 8-Bit is still facing a 2v2, but he's such a vulnerable brawler that he's going to get focused whenever it's an option.
Okay, so Zar going solo here to try and do some damage. So we are racing the Chuck composition a little bit here. One Carlos has to get pretty close to damage the safe at all, so Zar is spiraling. Okay, Zar managed to deal with that now and can continue to pressure somewhat. Good damage, and it does put STMN at a lead, but it doesn't answer the question of who kills this Chuck. And STMN now fall behind as KCP really start to lean into their turret.
Well, it seems like he's not that much of an issue for them. He's getting good damage on the safe. He's all the way down to 632 health. Does not have that damage gear active.
Go, little mushroom man, go!
Leading, but that's fastly vanishing as Pioneers begin to eclipse this 3% differential. One Carlos damage boosted in on the safe, and second best follows up with a few of his own. We're down to 14% remaining on this safe. Just a couple of chunks in should really get this.
See, Cordelius, yeah, you draft him as an answer to Chuck, and then you get absolutely dominated by everybody else on the enemy composition. Charlie and Bell really give Cordelius a tough time. Nicely done for Pioneers. That is a crucial set to be taken here. We are 2-2 going all the way, and STMN are on the verge of being reverse swept. This is it. They have to knuckle down, and they need to dig deep. A flawless day up until now, and Pioneers have been a thorn in their side that they've not been able to extract.
This is honestly an amazing situation for Pioneers. However, not particularly going to set number 5, okay? But having the opportunity to secure a monthly final with just 1 set to go. Now, all of that considered, where do the points stand after this? Pioneers honestly stand the chance to take number 1. And Stamina will be in a position where the only teams that they can really beat out to go to LCQ are Luminosity and Tribe. This is just bad for the bottom 3 out of our top 5.
Yeah, very much so. Anytime like, you know, a team in first or second is able to win another final and widen that gap between those that are still fighting for their chance to be featured, we will see. We'll see the leaderboard at the end of this game. But suffice to say, Pioneers are going to be feeling very comfortable if they get a win here. I want to point out, though, there's only 30 circuit points difference between winning and losing this particular game. You already get like 35 for making it into the quarterfinals. So to put that in perspective, 70 points is good for STMN, but even 100 doesn't guarantee anything for them. So they obviously need to get max points, and that means then they need to turn around next month and obviously have a great time. But so far, looks like they've found another element. You know what I mean? Another gear to go up to. Pioneers just happen to have met them at that particular breakneck speed here. And second best, yeah, pretty dirty game there. Tough for Zara, I think, to step up, against that Bell. We saw a lot of like the hypercharge mark usage there, making it difficult for Sands. Every time that the 8-Bit gets marked, it's just, it's a nightmare. 8-Bit does have to take some damage because they're slow to sort of swing out and take these shots. And again, your health pool is supposed to sort of help you remediate that, but the damage amplification after getting hit by the Bell super means that this is much more of a risky proposition.
I think this is a great draft for Pioneers. I think Stamina thought that they could deal with the Chuck with the Cordelius alone. The problem is that 8-Bit, while being good on this map, only works if you can get him to the enemy side, which they did a couple of times in game number 1, but that was really all we saw. Come game number 2, Stamina actually put 8-Bit on defense, where he was doomed to take damage from Chuck, and then they put Zar on the Cordelius on the enemy safe, and honestly, it got kind of close at times, but in the end, Chuck brought it all home. We're headed to Bounty, but a shooting star to finish us all off. And a first pick coming in from Stamina. Note the bans as well. High mobility brawlers banned by Stamina. No Carl. They don't even want to think about it. Byron is a very solid first selection for them. Byron's going to be a great brawler to play with basically anything in existence.
Yeah, really commonly picked on this map. Almost, yeah, every other time we see Shooting Star, someone locks a Byron in. He's also, yeah, attracts, he's not the kind of brawler that attracts those bans necessarily, so always a factor here. 8-bit comes out, yeah, also we commonly see this one here. Melody, Piper, all both banned away by both sides, rather. And yeah, no Carl, because of course just giving away that blue star at the beginning is a pain, but STMN actually played around that strategy. We saw that sort of earlier on today. Nani coming there for Pioneers. That is pretty powerful. So definitely trying to take supremacy in terms of sharpshooters. And of course, with Angelo taken away, there isn't necessarily a sharpshooter that outright counters the Nani. So we're going to take the up close and personal approach. Draco picked here in the last set of the series. It's audacious, but combined with the Byron, it is very powerful. But is that enough?
Kid Draco? No, Charlie Draco. Okay. Remove an option for the enemy to deal with the Draco seems to be the play here. So what do Pioneers go with for their last selection? Amber to prevent things from running it down. This brawler snuck through those bans, and she's here to play for the last one. And Amber's also going to be quite solid into Charlie. So I wonder if STMN really had this on their radar as a brawler that would be picked here, considering that it's usually banned or picked earlier on, so probably wasn't necessarily fresh in their minds. Nonetheless, I think that they do have play here, but consider that Amber basically does the same thing as Draco, except with longer range. So I sort of think that Amber wins it, as long as Sands is, of course, out of gadgets. We'll see Payne look for the damage early on. Second best firing down this diagonal at mid, trying to get a kill on Sands, who's taking a boatload of damage. And we'll see Zar fall on the right side, giving the early game lead to Pioneers.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby spending his entire time healing Sands up meant that he couldn't do anything about Juan Carlos audaciously pressing onto the right side. So, set up here with the damage booster. Sands will have to wait for an opportunity to get in there. And the emotes, the pins, the sprays, they never stop for second best. Now they're going to move up though. Sands with that large health pool. And again, you know, those spiderlings against Amber, not nearly so powerful. And you can't really take map control behind them. Bobby has low health here, able to get topped up. Yeah, and I think they realize with the peep, they can't kill the Byron outright there. So they send it in the direction of Sands either way. Still a star lead for Pioneers. They lack the blue star, but getting that elimination on Zar put them ahead.
I think that, honestly, this is kind of unpushable for Sands. He's going to try his best, and Bobby's going to give it his all in healing him, but Payne consistently has the damage. Sands pops his gadget kind of early. Now he's forced to retreat and wait for it to return. We even see that this boosted booster is not all the way taken down. Sands is getting desperate. Ooh, nice lineup for Sands as he gets that one from around the wall, but Juan Carlos is able to place this even more defensively. Only 35 seconds remain. We'll see this Nanny Peep go all the way around the back for a kill, maybe? I think this one might explode in transit. Yep, blowing up some of the bushes. Second best is not super pleased about that, but Nanny 8-bit is such a strong combo here that I don't think it's much of an issue.
I don't think he minds. They already got that huge pick off earlier on. Sands hold that blue star. The estimator behind by 5. They need it all in, and it needs to work beautifully. Zara is not built super here. Bobby is able to find Payne, and here comes the push from Draco. It's looking a little bit ugly. Sands forced back here. Gadget pops second best. He's low and eventually brought down. Zara, though, has the damage booster in his way, and he couldn't hit Juan Carlos. Now in the first round, going over to Pioneers. Nani 8-bit, still terrifying in the current year.
It's getting close. Pioneers could finish it all out here. They're on their first match point of this match. Not only that, but this could be the finish of a reverse sweep for Pioneers. I love their composition. Now, from Stamina, they also have something strong in its own right, but they kind of fumbled the bag there off the beginning of the game. So now they've started up exactly how they needed to. Get that blue start immediately off the beginning. But last time we saw either Zara or Bobby, one of the brawlers on lane, falter quite early on. So this will be our first taste of seeing what the Pioneers offense looks like with this composition. Nice use of the spiders on the right side. It's basically the most value you're going to get out of them when you have Amber on the opposing side. Still, Pioneers just need one star. They're pushing back Sands and Bobby quite effectively. They have a lot of firepower to work with, but I would say that their comp leans itself more to defense than offense.
At least the blue star to work with here, but STMN have had to give up so much map control, and being forced back here makes you really susceptible to the Nani. The sightlines are so good for that sharpshooter. Sands feeling the burn as Payne press us down a bit more on that left-hand side. And now Sands has got nowhere to hide. He has nowhere to be. And Bobby falls. It's all coming apart at the seams for STMN. Pioneers say we take 3 gems plus the blue gem advantage, blue star rather. They're very happy to fall back and play around this damage booster. I think STMN are chalked.
Oh, it's not looking good. 45 seconds going all the way for Bobby. He can't dodge it. 8-1 on the scoreline now with Pioneers in the lead. Czar has this super available as well. Sands on the right side falls. Czar has got to do something with this. I mean, it's a good defensive option. The Pioneers aren't playing defense, or rather offense anymore. They're playing defense. All they have to do is back up and ensure their safety in the final moments of the game.
I mean, this gem lead is, you basically need a clean 3-0. You need to wash them away, and that's not going to happen. Dar realizes it too. Falls back, hits Cocoon a long range, and there's 0 follow-up. It is over for STMN. Bobby's going to sit there and wait. The spins are coming out from Pioneers. 0 respect, as per usual, from this roster. And STMN must bow their heads and admit defeat. It's a great run up to the grand final, but they fall short. Pioneers take away another monthly final.
Number 2 for Pioneers. The record in North America. Much love from Juan Carlos. Whoa, did they think of that ahead of time? Or
No,
did he manifest the hearts themselves?
It's a VMix thing, I think. Like it actually, like if you put thumbs up, it also kind of shows up there. I don't know what the I don't know what the program is, but yeah, it works. Why are we? Okay, all good. Never mind. Yeah, obviously Pioneers got to be feeling pretty incredible about the result, and you can see the look on STMN's face now. They realize we may not have done enough here to salvage our season. 70 points is great, but we really need everything that we can get. It might put them in a position where they have to turn around and win another monthly final outright. It is heartbreaking. Even the prospect of having to fight through another LCQ for this team, while not guaranteed, is also a worrying prospect. And the problem is that with Luminosity making it to a semi-final here, STMN might be 4th. They might end up in like 4th or something like that. Like they can't break into the top 2, let alone top 3 after a result here. But Pioneers have a reverse sweep. We've seen plenty of them here at the Brawl Stars Championship. That one was probably the most stunning. Look at that scoreline. After going down 2 sets, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. STMN just vaporize.
We got outer dafted, I think is really the deal here. Pioneers just had it on lock. And we saw Stamina kind of fall for traps, I almost want to say. Okay, Pioneers leave that Angelo open. And what do? They go for the Angelo. It doesn't work. We leave the Draco open. What do? Go for the go for the Draco. I mean, Pioneers did not select these brawlers. They did not ban these brawlers, clearly for a good reason. I think we have to be ready to praise Pioneers for their drafting prowess here. They got great combinations deep into the bracket.
Look on there, Bobby's face. Yeah, obviously pretty stressful. And I don't know if they've done the math, but I can tell you with some confidence that Pioneers now will be the #1 team in this region. Managing to win 2 monthly finals is it's no mean feat. Many regions have had different winners each and every month. But here is our DPS looking back. This was actually our heist game, so it wasn't our last set here. We obviously did see like a very strong 8-bit Nani composition from Pioneers. I'd say that there'd be a pretty fearsome amount of damage from that. And the Amber picked up. Very, very, very strong. This is obviously just set 4 is results. And STMN, well, we've seen it so many times that Draco sometimes picking that Brawler can be an absolute trap. It looks great, but usually in a more gimmicky setup that involves kit to facilitate you getting up close and playing around maybe like some hedges from the Sprout or something similar, just picking it on its own. It's too easy to exploit tanks right now in Brawl Stars.
Insane. Honestly, absolutely incredible here for Pioneers. Going 3-2 here versus STMN to win their 2nd monthly final. Just remarkable stuff for them. They managed to bring it home. After winning and then going out in the quarterfinals, they managed to bounce back for a victory.
Yeah, I mean, Juan Carlos here, no surprise to see him come away with it. I think we had 70% protestos, by the way, in that match from second best, for those that like to keep track of those stats. But yeah, Juan Carlos here, really the centerpiece of this team and someone that, has taken them all the way now in 2 separate monthly finals. really impressive stuff. And bear in mind, like, this was a team that we were wondering if they were just a one-hit wonder, right? Coming in April champions and then getting rolled by Elevate. Absolutely smoked last month in the quarters. And we're like, okay, well, guess that was fun. A fun storyline while it lasted. But these guys, they reacted to that disappointment by turning around, putting in the work, and grinding. They did have a lot to prove this month. Now they've shown that they actually have that consistency, befitting of a team at the very top here in this North American region. And you've got your STMN, your Luminosities, your Tribes looking on and going, man, that used to be us. What happened? We need to get back there. There's one more month to gain those circuit points. One more opportunity to unseat a team like this. But for now, Pioneers will be walking away your June champions.
Amazing stuff here for Pioneers. What a month it has been for them as they now advance actually with this win to first place on the leaderboards, leading the charge, overtaking Elevate as #1 in the region. All Elevate needed to do was win their quarterfinals match to basically lock in an LCQ spot. Now they're going to have to try for it next month. For the time being, however, Pioneers are so far ahead that they actually find themselves in a similar position where Elevate started the day.
Yeah, I mean, they, for all intents and purposes, mathematically probably have that LCQ spot locked up at this point. Ark, talk us through this journey, mate. It's been quite a ridiculous day. The story of Pioneers is something we didn't get to catch them in that first game, but they overcame Mystic Esports, and then the flattening of Tribe Gaming was when we started to realize, hang on, these guys are back with a vengeance.
Yeah, exactly. And going into the matchup, I said, didn't I? Like, we had a lot of 3-0s up until then, and I wasn't expecting it to be a 3-0 in the grand final, and it was a 3-2. And the match that we wanted to have, we wanted to see it go all the way. And to be fair, I think that STMN will look back on that draft and Bounty and just feel like they just missed it a little bit there. I mean, and all credit to Pioneers. Absolutely so. To be 2 sets down and then come back to really bring things full force into your favor, that takes a great amount of guts and a great amount of mental, and they did just that. So breaking the trend in North America, we've had a different monthly finalist every single step of the way, a different monthly final champion. This time round, Pioneers are the first team to do it twice.
Here is your regional leaderboard for North America. Pioneers get to the top of the standings, a position that, if they have a good performance next month, will be basically unassailable. STMN, by 1 solitary point, have snuck into the top 4. That is absolutely ridiculous. And they had to beat Luminosity in order to do so. We have a changing of guard in the top 4, and right now, STMN and Tribe are both live for LCQ. I cannot believe we're sending STMN and Tribe to an LCQ if things go this way. That is just, God, that is so mental. Anyway, Elevate and Pioneers stand at the top there, and Pioneers have a nice, healthy little buffer to work with. Ready, set. You're on deck for an interview here with Coach of Pioneers, so we will let you take that one away and get some insights from our winning team this month.
Well, thank you very much, Uber. I'm here with Philip. What's up, dude? I was not prepared for this at all, but it's so amazing to have you here. So everyone, for context, I'll let you speak in a moment, Philip, but Philip coached BC Gaming at Worlds last year, bringing a mainland China team into the forefront of Brawl Esports. Now that you've partnered up with once Juan Carlos' team, now the Pioneers, you have done the same again, a team that, when I spoke with Second Best himself, did not expect to make it this far. It is insane to him, at least, that they are now in the running for a World Finals. But you're a remarkably storied coach. You obviously have your strategies. I'm not going to ask you to reveal your hand, but please tell me, what is it like to coach these guys from a coach's perspective?
Oh, it's an absolutely... Honestly, I have worked with in some aspects, right? But it's super, super good. They welcomed me super well. They didn't have crazy high expectations, but they trust me a lot. And that's super, super important. That has allowed me to work a lot, to do what I know the best and in my way. And also we have adapted super, super, super easy with each other. But again, that trust just from the get-go, it really allowed me and them to starting super, super fast. Obviously, that does take some time, but the beginning was super important. So in that aspect, the team was super, super welcoming, again, super communicative. So it's very easy to approach them. It's very easy to figure things out, to adapt, to improve, for anything. So in that aspect, it was super good. That's how things got rolling from the beginning.
So as it stands now, you found yourself pretty deep into the season now. And with this win, all you guys actually need to do is play in the monthly qualifiers and get around 10 points next month in order to lock LCQ. Is this something that you were aware of, that you had calculated coming into the day? And how does that feel to be in this position now?
No, 100%. 100% we didn't calculate. Obviously, our job is to do our best, to perform, to be prepared, and then whatever happens, happens. Again, a lot of things are in our hands, right? In this situation, it's everything in our hands on how we do and etc. etc. So that's gonna affect the points based on how we perform. And what was the second half of the question?
Well, how does it feel now that you are in this position, right?
Right.
Coming into this year.
Yeah,
is that the
correct. Yeah, I mean, it feels great. It does feel great, 100%. Like, how can it not be? But since we're in this position, like, we're working 10 times harder going into our next monthly qualifier and monthly final already. Like, right now, we're super, even more strict than we did before. Like, right now, once we're in this position, there is no moving left, right, or anywhere, just forward, and that's it.
It's tough work to make it here as well. Obviously, you've been grinding super hard just to make it into this position. Do you see yourself as sustaining this into the next month? Does it look sustainable, the rate at which you have been moving as a team, the amount of grinding, the amount of practice that you have gotten in?
All right. Well, every single month, with an exception of the previous one, we have went step forward in both gameplay, draft, and results. In every single one of those three aspects, we have every single month moving forward. In this one, this is definitely a step forward, even from the month where we won. Why? Because we were down 2-0. We're down 2-0 versus super strong, versus super consistent and well-rounded team. And we managed to reverse sweep them. So every single time we have been like just improving just a little bit, but consistent. So definitely feeling good on what the question. Yeah, like we're definitely continuing with the same tempo. As I said, maybe even higher, but yeah, I'm just super confident overall.
Well, it's a very special thing to be able to get your insight here, Philip. But now you've earned the moment. You, as an instrumental component of this team, the mic is yours. Is there anything you want to say before we let you go?
Oh, of course, obviously, I want to shout out to all of my teammates. Second best, Juan Carlos Spain. Also want to shout out our analyst, Lucas. He's insane, one of the best analysts in the world. Want to shout out Ink, again, huge, one of the best managers in the world, individual person. He connects us with one of the best orgs in the world, Pioneers. Also, huge shout out to Brawl Esports. Again, they organized a fantastic monthly qualifier, fantastic multi final. Again, when there are issues, we're the first to complain, but when things are good, we don't give them credit for. So, huge shout out to them, huge shout out to you guys again for amazing cast. I'm sure it was amazing. Can't wait to watch it back, honestly. Maybe a few times, but that's about it.
It was wonderful to watch, man. And I'll also extend a thank you to Pioneers for elevating the Brawl esports scene with their presence here in North America. Thanks for hopping on the mic with us, Philip. See you later, man.
It was my pleasure. Bye-bye.
Well, great to hear from Philip there. A guy who, man, I mean, the amount of, I'm thinking back to like VN Esports. He coached them really successfully over in Europe. He's coached so many different teams here. Really puts his heart and soul into it. So great to hear some words from him and a very well-deserved result with this Pioneers roster. It does a lot for your stonks, I think, as a coach to be able to go from team to team and have instant impact there. So congratulations, team, and the rest of the team. Let's have a look back, I guess, or rather sort of look forward, I would imagine, as we go into the next couple of months, because we've seen the leaderboard now. We have one more monthly final left to go. Pioneers, only have to win a monthly qualifier. Like, they basically just need to qualify for the July monthly final itself to guarantee themselves an LCQ spot, get like those 12 points or whatever it takes here. So that puts them in good stead. But it's clear to see already that I don't think Philip is going to be slowing down on that tempo, as you put it.
This man is on a grind unlike something that we've seen from any other coach, really. If he manages to finish out this one super strong, then I think that we can start to rank him among historical Brawl Stars coaches, because what I will say is, honestly, the player perspective sometimes is that coaches don't do much, but I think Philip is a special case where he has really assisted this team so much from what I've spoken with Second Best about in conversations, where he's able to really tailor his assistance to a player's specific needs. His work with Luke as an analyst, I think, needs to be the example that we see followed by other coaches in the scene.
Ark, what a day it's been, mate. NA again delivering, this time finally a double monthly champion here in Pioneers, and we all hoped that STMN would go all the way. Bobby has already expressed his frustration on Twitter, of course, as it's not a result that they're looking for. But STMN are still in it. They've now snuck into the top 4, so that Cinderella story might still have some legs.
Yeah, North America, honestly, the gift that always gives. Great to see Philip as well. Didn't recognize him at first. He's grown some hair. But one of the nicest guys. Spent a lot of time with him at events, and he's really, really articulated.
He's a legend.
He's so good, man. Honestly, his outlook and everything, his approach, his professionalism. I could go on for hours talking about how great Philip is. But, honestly, this is what North America for me is all about. And next month, the bracket. All eyes are going to be waiting to see who plays who, because it literally comes down to that. It's so close now on the leaderboards. And God forbid if someone doesn't make a qualifier through to the monthly finals. That there could be some serious storylines to come in North America. Yeah, those qualifiers are going to be important. All of those top 4 teams basically need to make it through there. So that's something worth keeping an eye on. And that'll be next month. For now, of course, folks, tune in July 20th for our APAC monthly finals, where the story keeps developing in that region, which has always been volatile, as we get positioned to send our teams to Worlds and, of course, LCQ respectively. So great to have you here, of course, folks. Have a great day, great night, wherever you are in the world. And, folks, keep rolling. I wasn't sure he was going to be able to pull that off, walking came from Tyrant, but the controller's all lost, and now Ninjas are able to gain back some control here. I'm sorry, they're going to town! Zula just ceased to exist twice in a row!
Here's the Arc highlight reel.
And this is looking a bit hairy, but Pachi gets the defense. Show the what? Oh no! Let's go Disaster's one jump! Oh, but the fumble! They couldn't get it! They couldn't get it! Bobby up to Chino, gets him down. Turret has to be dealt with by Pachi when he can otherwise be working on the safe, but that is exactly what Sands is going to do. It's the Italian job, baby, the heist of the century, and STMN will be advancing to the grand finals. Bobby's going to sit there and wait. The spins are coming out from Pioneers. Zero respect, as per usual, from this roster. And STMN must bow their heads and admit defeat. It's a great run up to the grand final, but they fall short. Pioneers take away another monthly final.